Are you trying your hand on DJ?
Yeah, I was trying. I need to add some more tunes to the list. I need to drop
Yeah, you have
put
to.
some Beanie Man
Uh,
and some Bounty on it, and like really jazz it up, get
yeah,
it a
yeah,
bit more. You know what I mean? But
yeah. You needed to put something more. How should I say this? More energetic. Like today was a good day for us, so
yeah,
why not play
I need
something
to speak to
different?
Elon Musk, man, because they need to add some more tunes to it.
Yeah, the guy is just picking up all the blue check marks. I was checking the New York Times this morning. The blue check mark is no longer there. I'm like, how am I
Mm.
supposed to know who what I'm reading? But then again,
That's
it's
why
just crazy.
just you just look at the name,
It's
you probably can tell if the real person or not. So
Yes, yeah, exactly. So at least for legacy checkmark, for example, like news organization, credible ones, you can say, okay, keep yours. Or maybe you can ask government to also keep theirs, but maybe individual celebrity, they will always pay for that. I don't know. That's just my opinion. But the idea that I'm reading an article, I don't even know if it's from the New York Times or Washington Post, for example, it's crazy. I don't know.
Elon Musk is an eccentric billionaire who's just basically
It's
a
just
part-time
yeah.
crackhead. He's just a part-time
If
crackhead,
he
man.
really, I can understand if he feels that Twitter is not making money, so he
Yeah,
wants to
but Twitter is
generate.
not making money because of his stupidity. So, you know what I mean?
Yes,
He has no one else to blame for
first of
that.
all, he overvalued the company, and he bought it.
44 billion and now it's worth what,
And then
20 billion?
last week he wrote an internal memo to his staff and said, "Look, this company is basically worth 20 billion. Wait, in 6 months, the company is now worth 20 billion. The company you
From
bought for
44
44
billion. I
billion.
mean,
That is
the
that is
people who
crazy,
sold it to
man.
him are the ones smile laughing right now because they're like, you just gave
Exactly.
me
They just
44
sold him
billion
something.
for something that
Although
was probably worth 10.
it was, I think there was an estimation for it was, I think it was the JP Morgan that said it was even less than that actually. But
Yeah,
they kind
Twitter
of
wasn't
built it
worth
up
that.
for him,
Twitter
and then
wasn't worth
he
that
bought
sort of
it.
money. That's just nonsense.
Yeah,
44 billion.
it's crazy.
But hey, when you have money, you tend to do stupid things. You don't really.
And not Warren Buffett doesn't do stupid things, for
Yeah,
example.
well, yeah,
I don't think he's ugly
Warren
enough.
Buffett isn't a part-time crackhead, dude. So you don't expect Warren Buffett to do that. Warren Buffett is
Eh,
like Warren Buffett is on the verge of becoming dust. So what's he
yeah,
gonna do?
but that's the point. He has all his life. Well, you don't tell a billionaire what to do with this money. But I just my problem is not even buying the trader. My problem is how do you take out the only thing that make us understand, okay, we're actually dealing with a credible news organization,
He's not gonna do.
and you
He's
take
not. I
it
don't think
out.
he's gonna do it because once he does that, he's gonna realize that
Have you checked I just said that the New York Times, the blue check is no longer there. Check it. If you have just Google
for
New York
who.
Times
Let me check
on
LeBron
Twitter, it's
James
not there.
because
Yeah,
LeBron
LeBron James
James
said
still has his
he would not pay.
blue tick.
Yeah, yeah.
Bron,
I don't know.
that's what I'm saying. He's not going to go through with it because a lot of these, I saw interaction is based on a lot of these celebrities who have huge followings.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
rely on that
yeah.
interaction. So
Yes, to generate advert. Yeah.
if you're gonna remove it, a lot of these celebrities are just gonna like, oh well, cool, we'll just deactivate our account. Then what? Then what? So I don't.
Yeah.
Oh
Although
shit. Oh,
I
anyway,
don't think
Kingsley,
he's a
we're
fan of
moving on from
New
crackhead
York
Elon
Times.
Musk. We're gonna talk about Formula One. We have Anik in the house. Anik, the part-time Ferrari, part-time Mercedes, now full-time Red Bull supporter. What's up?
Yeah, himself and
What's up,
I'm all
what's
Anik?
good.
that guy's name?
I'm all
What's
good,
happening? What's
Thanos.
going
How
on
are
with
you?
Ferrari, man? What's up with Ferrari?
Listen,
Your
what?
team,
No, you know
your
what, Thanos?
team.
Thanos,
What?
Thanos. Let me ask you one question. Ferrari's not my team. Red
Oh,
Bull is
since
my
when?
team.
So when did Red Bull? I mean, you're like you just can't decide, can you? You're like a
No,
chameleon.
no. It's all logged. It's all logged.
No, you're
There's
like a
an audit. No,
chameleon,
no,
man.
no. Listen to me.
You just
No,
adapt to any
no,
environment. You
bro.
don't
There's
have
an audit trail. I
of
made my
what.
assessments throughout the back end of the 2022 season. I knew which team was going to dominate, and it was Red Bull. Can I ask you a question though, Thanos? Thanos, can I
so
ask you
you
one
don't have a
question?
team. So you just pick the
No,
team that who you think's gonna dominate, and then you roll with them. I
bro.
mean, it was kind of.
The
I mean,
thing
it
is,
was such a
Thanos.
tough
I don't miss.
decision.
Thanos. I don't miss. I don't miss. I knew
I
Red Bull were
mean,
going to
it was
dominate
an
this year.
easy decision to make. You pick Red Bull. Red Bull won the championship last year. They won the double last year.
I mean, anyone can switch. It's not, there's no
Yeah, but
loyalty in F1. But by the way, Thanos,
yeah,
what I
there
want to
is.
know at the end of lap one, there was a Mercedes P1, P2, and you didn't convert that into a win. What is happening over at Mercedes? Talk to me.
What's to talk to you about?
That's a disingenuous argument. I don't want to have this
No?
type
What
of
we're gonna talk
argument.
about?
You were P1, P2 at the end of lap
Yeah,
one,
but what we're gonna
and
talk
what happened?
about
We'll talk about why didn't
is the
you
Mercedes.
convert that into a win?
Well, at the end of the
Red Bull
safety
don't
car.
let that happen. If Red Bull are P1 and P2, they don't let it slip.
Well, I mean,
They don't let
are
it
you gonna?
slip.
How could they let it slip if they have a car that's like, I don't know, almost a second a lap faster than
So
everybody else's?
in the words of my team principal, change your car, change it
That doesn't
in your
make any
car.
sense.
No, because
Doesn't make any sense.
if you guys are not quick enough, you got to change your car, mate.
Yeah, but
I
Red
don't
Bull
get it.
weren't quick enough for 8 years. They didn't, and even when they changed the car, they still wasn't. They still
No,
weren't
they
quick
did.
enough.
They changed their
And
engine,
they were.
and look what happened.
What happened?
Come on, Thanos. They
What
started
happened?
winning races in
Yeah,
2020, and
but
they
they
won a
didn't win the
championship in
championship. But
2021.
they were winning races with a Renault engine. So what's the point?
In under these new
They
regulations,
were winning
when all
races
the
with a Renault
shackles,
engine. What are you talking
so
about?
so so so
They were
so
winning
in
races with a
now,
Renault engine. What are you talking about?
but now once
They
all
were
the
winning
shackles are
races with a
removed,
Renault engine. What are you
and
talking about?
yeah, okay, when you come into an aerodynamic era, when
But
all the shackles are removed,
aerodynamics played a part in every era. So what are you talking about?
no, more right now. And you know what?
No,
This is another thing
aerodynamics
I
played a
don't get.
part in every era.
I
What are you
don't.
talking about?
Why did Toto Wolff start complaining last year about the ride height, and that actually
why
made
did Christian Horner
Red Bull quicker?
why did Christian Horner complain for 8 years?
Because you guys had a complete dominance, and you know what? You had an
No, 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 no,
unlimited
no, no,
spend.
no,
You
no,
had an
no.
unlimited budget. We're doing it
So
the
hold
proper
on.
way.
So hold on.
We're doing it the proper way.
Wait, hold on. Did you just say for Mercedes had unlimited budget?
Yeah, you did.
So what did Red Bull have?
We had unlimited budget as well.
So then what's your argument? So there was no excuse for them, right?
Yeah, but right
Okay.
now, the
So
moment,
there was
hold
no
on,
excuse. There was no
hold
excuse
on,
for Red Bull when they had unlimited budget. So
bro.
what's the argument?
You're comparing Red Bull to an established car
No,
manufacturer,
but Red
Mercedes.
Bull is
Come on.
Red Bull is worth almost 30 billion. So what's your point?
No, it's not.
You don't have a point.
Red Bull is not worth 30 billion. No way.
Check how much Red Bull holding company is worth.
But they're not going to put all of that into the car, are
Check
they?
up
Come on.
Red Bull just are building a complete power unit factory, their own power unit,
And
which is which.
and
Anik, you don't have an
how
Anik,
many motorsport classes do they
Anik,
compete in?
Anik, you don't have an argument. You cannot argue with me because you deal with subjective content. I'm factual statements. You have nothing factual to speak about.
Okay, the fact is we
You're
got
out your
3 out of
depth.
3.
You're
You know,
out
the
your
fact
depth.
is we got 3 out of 3.
But Anik, it's easy to
No,
pick Red Bull.
hold on.
It was
You're
easy
at
to
your
pick.
depth.
No, I'm not. It's
Yes, you
easy.
are.
It was easy for you to
You
pick.
haven't got
Anik,
a
you
race
picked
winning car.
Red Bull. You picked Red Bull to win this year. I mean, a blind man could have picked Red Bull to win this year.
No,
It's not a
a
hard
lot. No,
decision. It's not a
a lot of
difficult. It
people
wasn't a
were.
diff,
A lot of
it wasn't a
Mercedes fans were
decision that
telling me they're
required
going to
you
do well.
to do a deep dive analysis. You look at them, you go, okay, they won. How many races they won last year?
No, you know what? And
How many races
you
did
know
they
what,
win
Thanos?
I mean, they won 17 races last year, right?
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
Is it 17 or
but
Max won what?
you know what? But
So they won 17 out of what? 21 races last year, right?
yeah, we did. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, so the decision to say, okay, you're gonna pick Red Bull this year, wasn't that hard, was it?
No, but Thanos,
But
come
what?
on, man. Look at what we've been hit with a fine. We've got
Oh,
compromised
oh,
CFD time. Come on,
okay.
man.
Oh,
The
but
fact that we are still winning races after all of this that has been thrown at us is
you finished the
absolutely
season with
amazing.
a car that was
You know,
significantly faster than
it's
everybody
actually,
else's.
you know
It's a
what?
carryover.
What we're doing in F1 right now is a proper success story.
No, it's
Proper
not.
success
How?
story.
How is it a
It
proper
is.
success story?
It is because we've got compromised CFD time. We were hit with a fine.
Yeah,
A
but
fine.
the fine does not affect your budget.
Of course,
No, it
it does.
doesn't. No, it doesn't. The fine is separate. The fine is not allocated towards your budget. What are you talking about?
Okay.
The fine is a separate penalty. They pay the 7 million. It doesn't come out their budget. What are you talking
It comes
about?
out of somewhere though.
It doesn't come
Someone's
out.
got to pay that.
It doesn't come out
Someone's
their
got to pay.
budget.
So who's paying that then?
It
Who's
doesn't
paying
come
that?
out their budget. So it
Who
doesn't
pays
affect
it,
them.
Thanos? Of course it does.
How can it affect them if it's not coming out their budget, Anik?
Okay, so where does it come from then? Who's paying that
They're
money,
paying the
Thanos?
fine, but it doesn't come out their
Okay,
budget. Which
okay,
part don't you understand? The
okay,
budget part or
okay,
the
okay.
fine part?
Both of it. It's
Well,
still
it's
Red Bull still
obviously
have to
clear
pay that money, don't they?
you're
You
struggling to
no, hold on.
figure it
You
out.
just said you just said it's a 30 billion. So if you're going to brand Red Bull as one, it's a 30 billion pound company. The fine has to be taken by someone or somewhere in that Red Bull enterprise, right?
Red Bull went from spending $500 million a year, right, to now having to only spend 140 million. So if you go by the numbers, they have they've got a wiggle room of 360 million, right? So they have 360 million burning a hole in their pocket. 7 million out of that 360 million leaves them with 353 million burning a hole in their pocket. What's your argument?
Every little helps, man. Anyway, we've got
7 million to an organization that's worth 30 billion. The percentage is less than 1% of their valuation.
By the way, you know what? I'm expecting to see a much better car from you by the end of the season because you've got almost 40%. Mercedes have almost 40% more wind tunnel time than we do.
No, they don't. You're also turbulent. You're also turbulent, Max. They don't. You don't have no expectations about my team. Worry about your team. You're a Red Bull supporter.
No.
Worry about Red Bull. Don't worry about Mercedes.
No. Because you know what happened this weekend? Mercedes are pulling the wool over your eyes. You think this concept's going to work? You actually think this concept's going to work? So now I know what's going on over at Black Team. You guys are thinking.
What do you know?
No, I know a lot. You guys are thinking, do we go with this concept or do we go with the B spec? You're torn. You're now torn between the two. You don't know what to do.
Because they got a P2.
Because you got P2, yeah.
Okay, that doesn't make any sense.
So what's going to happen now? Are you going to continue with the current car, or are you going to go to the B spec and then develop that? Or you know what? The thing is, Thanos, this year belongs to Red Bull, and you know what? I'm focusing on the three-peat.
Who didn't? Oh, I didn't know that. I'm actually shocked. Are you for real? It's actually Red Bull.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You know what, Thanos? I'm already thinking of 2025.
I'm actually tired of listening to this, Thanos.
Yeah, I'm just humoring him because we know Anik.
Yeah, just humoring him.
I'm just humoring him because Anik doesn't really have any coherent argument. He's just talking because he likes to talk. I think that's what Anik does. Anik just talks because he likes to talk.
Bro, when you're at the top, you can talk. Well, that's what it is. We got 3 out of 3. We got 3 out of 3. That's what I'm going to say. And we will be going 23 for 23 this year. I promise you that.
Yeah. You should. Anything less is failure.
And I'm telling you one thing,
23 wins is a failure, Anik. Remember I said that.
Yeah. And you know what? Our dominance, will blow any dominance Mercedes.
I mean, win 8 in a row.
You'll be made irrelevant.
Win 8 in a row, and then we can talk.
In terms of one season dominance, you won't ever see what we're going to see.
Win 8 in a row, then we can talk.
We've won it under like 3 different regulations. We won it under V6. We've won it under the turbo hybrid era. Now we've won it under these new 22 regulations. We're doing it across.
The turbo hybrid era is the V6. That's not 3 different regulations. Okay, what are you talking about?
Before 2014.
Anik. Stop. We're moving on. You're embarrassing yourself. You even let Sarah drop out because of your nonsense. Goodbye, Anik.
You called me out. You called me out.
Goodbye. Drop out, Anik. Goodbye. We need sensible people. We need to have sensible conversations, not this.
I just wasted 8
Okay, all right. Okay, Thanos. Let's have a proper conversation, yeah. What actually happened this morning? Because I've not been able to sleep since. That's probably why.
What do you mean?
This race was all over the place.
It was a farce. The ending of the race was nonsense. The ending of the race was what they were trying to, was what should have happened in Abu Dhabi, which they were trying to prevent. Yeah. But it's exactly what happened. They didn't want the race to end on the safety car, but that's exactly how it ended.
Yeah, so that people don't point to, you see, the race can actually end on the safety car, and then actually end on the safety car.
A race ended on the safety car last year. I can't remember where it was.
Exactly.
So
the argument
it was Monza.
And that safety car was just.
Sarah, where are you? Why you drop out? There was.
Sarah was tired of listening to Anik talks about.
Yeah, but that was just my introduction. Now I want to talk proper F1.
All right, go on.
Thanos, you know what I don't get though is after that second restart when Gasly went out and when Ocon went out, if their cars weren't damaged, and they were able to still cruise around the racetrack, they would have got points, right?
Yeah, they would have started back. They would
Yeah,
have reverted back to
they
their
would
original
start.
grid
They would
position.
have fixed their car and then start. Yeah.
So literally, the fact that they got taken out put them at a disadvantage, right? That's so unfair.
That was the point I was making earlier. So, which means they would have rather just voided all that lap and then the lap before the crash and then take the points from there because
I
those
tell you,
guys were actually in the points before. But for the restart, their cars will still be on the grid when that before that incident happened.
t-
I, I
Alonso
think
is one lucky boy. Yeah,
the
Alonso is
restart is
one
just
lucky
crazy.
boy.
It was never going to work. People were going to run into others just trying to get position. You've run what, 54, 55 laps already? So
Hmm.
what's just 2 laps
The
to it?
restart was
The
it was
race is already
absolute nonsense.
finished.
Again,
It was nonsense. Yeah, it was nonsense.
to be seen as okay. We want to go racing. No. I mean,
Aha,
there's
yeah.
nothing. Again, there's nothing that says you can't end the race under a safety car. If it ends under a
This
safety
is
car,
a
it is what
sport.
it is. That's how the race
Yeah,
ended.
this is a sport. If you complete 3/4 of the race, they give you full marks, for example, full points.
I mean,
So we already covered more than 3/4 of
I
the
watch,
race. What exactly are you
I
looking
watch
for?
World Superbike, right? And I've seen
Mhm.
World Superbike races where it's like a 20 lap race, and by lap 17, something happens, red flag, race is over. They
Over,
don't go,
yes,
oh,
because you've
we need
covered
to
3/4
restart the
already. Yes,
race to complete the
35%.
remaining three laps. Once you
No,
get to 75, more than 75% of the race, if it red flags,
it's a
race
full race.
over. It's a full
Yeah,
race. It's only
over.
Formula One that contrives this nonsense. I think in and what we saw today was what they're trying to bring in what happens in NASCAR. Because in NASCAR, if there's a red flag, if there's an incident, they'll red flag the race. So even if there's 2 laps left, they're gonna run the remaining two
Yeah.
laps. There was
Mhm.
nothing that needed to be done today. Just they didn't need. They could have covered the whole K-Mag thing
The
under a
remaining
safety
laps
car,
under safety car.
and that was
Yeah,
it.
of course. They could have done that. And the race is over. Nobody will even complain about it. It's nonsense, honestly, what they did today. It's
And the
just
thing is,
nonsense.
it's they're trying so badly not to screw things up and to be seen as yeah we've actually moved on from the farce that we saw in Abu Dhabi, but they keep going doing things that proves that what we saw it's just contrived nonsense. It's again
You, you,
it's this argument
you know what
about
it is, yeah?
the show entertainment over the
The show
sport.
was useless. That's a huge bill that is going to a pin at the end of the day that the FI will not take care of. This was show. The show is useless. You have
You
two
know what I
cars
find
broken
crazy is
completely. And you cannot fix
every year they keep introducing new regulations and they say they're going to tighten up on this and clamp down on this, and it's like they can keep doing that and doing that and doing that, but they still don't know what they're doing. We were stood around uh, before the restart, not knowing what the hell was happening. I didn't even know what's happened. I have to do a pod on this later. I don't know how
I
the hell
saw
I'm going to
Jordan put
unpack it.
out a tweet that the red flag came out at 8 a.m. The race didn't finish with
Yeah,
that, and that was what with 2 laps left. The race didn't finish until 8. The race started back at 8:55 or something like
it's
the race
crazy.
finished at 8:55, just 2 laps. It took almost an hour just for 2 laps.
And then even after, like we saw it last time out, Alonso, there was all like the grey area there about him getting the 5 seconds. Hulkenberg was complaining. We should have seen Logan Sargent probably get the same penalty. Like it's just,
Like I don't know.
it's so many grey areas at the
It's not
moment.
gray areas. It's just people. I find it that people are trying to put entertainment over the credibility. Well, the sport doesn't have any credibility anymore, but they're trying to put
it. Doesn't have
entertainment as the main selling point rather than the sport itself.
Did Sainz deserve five
No,
seconds?
No.
I believe he deserves
why?
it.
What did he do wrong?
Yeah, I mean that was his fault. If you can't control your
Yeah,
car to
but
the
he
point that
didn't.
you run
But
another opponent out of the
did
race,
he
that's his fault.
swerve? Did he turn into
He
Alonso?
was he was aware somebody was in front of him. He would have braked earlier to avoid it. He
Yeah,
had
but
every
I
reason,
don't. I
every
don't. But
advantage
if
to
you
do
look at the
that.
contact,
It wasn't a
but
wet
if you look at
track.
the
It wasn't a
contact,
clear
but
track.
Kings, look at the contact. It
Mhm.
was Alonso's right rear against
Mhm.
Sainz's front left.
That's because he didn't brake enough. For Alonso.
What did he
Alonso was
need to
already
brake for?
in
What did
that
he need
corner
to
before
brake
he
No, I
for?
came.
don't think so.
They already exited turn
No,
one.
Alonso was. I don't like Alonso. Alonso was already in that corner before Sainz came
No,
from wherever he came from and took him out. So that is a penalty
but
every
Kingsley,
day of the
I thought
week. There
that
is
the
nothing.
incident happened on the exit of turn 2, going down to turn 3. So I don't understand what Sainz did wrong.
Sainz basically came in, had no control of his car, took another car that was already in the middle of that corner from his rear. There is no
So
way to.
who did
I
Sainz
understand.
hit before he hit the Alonso incident?
He didn't hit anyone. He just ran into
He didn't
Alonso.
run into
And
Alonso,
you see,
Kingsley. If you watch
oh
Kingsley,
God,
he ran into
I
Alonso. He
have
ran
the
into Alonso after Alonso's right rear hit his left front, which then spun him. So there was nowhere Sainz could have gone.
the way he could have gone was control his car better, not to do what he did. If everybody do what Alonso did, what Sainz did, he would be running
but
everybody out
but Kingsley,
of that corner. Nobody would be braking anymore.
we've already established that the incident between Alonso and Sainz was no different to Tsunoda and Ocon.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
Say,
If you want to be
so
consistent across the board.
okay,
I
so
agree with that.
if
But
we've established that both incidents are the exact same, why does Sainz deserve a penalty?
But that's the point I'm making. You can argue if they have to be consistent, but that was not.
But that's
I mean,
that's the thing.
it
If
should it should be.
no, but
It should
Sainz
have
didn't
been.
do anything, and you have to remember
Oh no, science did
they
something.
also
No, no, no.
said first
I
lap
look at it.
incidents are viewed differently compared to
It,
further on into the race.
you can't actually call this a first lap incident. It wasn't the first race. It was the restart
It's
of a
still a
race.
first lap. It's still a
What
first
Science
lap.
was trying to do.
It's still
Science
a
had
It's
first
no
still a
lap.
first lap,
control.
Kingsley. It doesn't matter.
Well, you can argue, but I don't believe it's the first lap. Science
What?
has no control
But
over his car at
I
that
don't
point.
see
That
how
was
you
why
say
he
Sainz
took
had no
Alonso out.
control over his car, because Sainz didn't swerve into Alonso. He didn't make any rash moves. He didn't suddenly brake or turn left or turn right. He was going straight. Alonso was going straight, and there was a collision. It's not faced. It's all the tires made contact. It's similar to what happened with the Tsunoda Ocon incident, right? And by going over the front wheel and he landed, his car then turned. There was no way Sainz could have gone.
Sainz was seeing Alonso in his front all the time. There was never a
Yeah, but
timeline
Sainz
Sainz
didn't
was not
drive.
seeing Alonso.
Sainz,
It wasn't like he was coming from his blind side or anywhere. It was seeing him. So a reasonable thing to do would be maybe stop earlier, brake earlier, so that you
but
don't run
Kingsley,
into the
how
way
can
of
he
your
brake earlier when they
opponent.
were on the straight? The incident.
Can I add my 2 pence for what it's
Huh?
worth? Can I add my
Yeah,
2
go
pence
on,
in
Paddy.
this for what it's worth? Okay, right. So I'm not a Ferrari fan or supporter, but I think it's out of order. I'll tell you why. So things that I think the stewards should have considered, and I don't think they did. So that was the restart under new tyres for everybody, as in not brand new, but obviously fresh tyres, used tyres. Track temperature dropped by about 10 degrees. The lap by the safety car in terms of to do the start procedure was seriously slow. So all of a sudden, every car on the grid is now in a position where nobody knows what kind of like car they have beneath them because the race has been neutralized. So cars are lighter, tire track is cooler. The temps and the pressures in the tires are a lot worse than what they were when they're under racing conditions.
Brakes are
And
cold.
it's, let's say,
Brakes are cold as well.
exactly. Right, so it's a restart. So what we're saying is, yes, it's like lap 56 or 57, 56, sorry, out of 58, but it's still a restart procedure. So as we've said before, normally what they do is they kind of, when it's first lap incidences, they kind of look at things a little bit different. I think they were too eager to give them a 5-second penalty. But the bit that I don't quite understand is if they then have negated what happened in lap 57 and they've gone back a lap and reinstated everyone, why not just reinstate everyone and forget about the penalty? It's like, why have they given the guy a penalty? Because it's not like it affected Alonso's race. He still started third and finished third.
Exactly. So that's
The
a
So
good
like,
point.
if you're
penalties are
negating what
not
happened
given
the lap
because
before,
of your
why are you giving
finishing
the guy the
position.
penalty?
Penalties are not given because of your finishing position. Is
Yeah, but
given because
Alonso
of the
wasn't
incident.
affected by the
They don't
incident.
have to consider where you
Yeah,
finished.
but what
It's
you're
just
saying, Kingsley, because they went back and they
Mhm.
reestablished the grid based on the previous
Mhm.
lap. on their previous position. Alonso was back into third position, so he didn't lose anything. So why give him a penalty?
And on
because
top of
you are
that,
not giving penalty based
that,
on where you're finishing. On the incident, it didn't matter whether Alonso was taking the place back or not. Sainz was in the wrong, and he was punished.
And it's like Sainz actions also didn't. It's not like Sainz contributed to what happened to the Alpines as well.
No, he
it's
didn't.
Like Sainz's action didn't actually screw anybody's race. And that's the bit. It's like, okay, he had a knock, and had they finished that way,
he
you turn around and say fair enough. But the moment you then restart the race, and then I just found it odd.
I don't think
odd.
the penalty was fair. I think the penalty was unfair.
Oh,
no,
I agree. I believe it was fair.
No, but Kingsley, you can't say if you agree that the Ocon Tsunoda incident was a racing incident. How can you say this one was not a racing incident?
I didn't say that. I said I would have. The only thing I said was I would appreciate if there was consistency from the FIA across the board. I didn't say it wasn't.
So you think? Tsunoda should have been given a penalty?
I can't even remember what incident was. To be honest, so I don't even know.
Should Tsunoda have been penalized?
I don't. That's what I said. I don't remember the incident. How it happened.
It's the exact same incident as what happened with Alonso and Sainz.
If it's the same, then he gets a penalty because you actually affected and look. What race was that? Was it not Hungary that Bottas ran into everybody and he got a penalty for it? What was different from that? And
because
on that condition, it was even a wet race. It was a wet race, and he didn't even have his temperature.
But in that situation, multiple cars were affected by his.
It didn't matter whether it was 1 or 15. The one matter was the person you are running into is in front of you.
Yeah,
it's not behind you.
I don't know, Kings. I don't know how to say this because Sainz didn't drive into Alonso. Alonso basically.
Oh, he did.
He didn't.
If you run into somebody's rear,
he didn't. But that's not what happened, Kingsley. He didn't drive into the.
What happened? How did he spin Alonso around?
Oh my God! So you didn't see what happened then?
I watched it. I saw it in real time. What happened?
I just said it to you. Alonso's right rear hit Sainz's left front, and it threw him up in the air. And when he landed, that's when Sainz then made a second contact and spun him around. Sainz had nowhere else to go.
Good. So by your own definitions, Alonso's left rear,
Sainz front. Alonso's right rear hit Sainz's.
Okay, right rear.
Okay, fine.
Left. Alonso's right rear and Sainz's front left.
Made contact.
Yeah. If you just draw that on a piece of paper, Alonso is ahead, Sainz is behind him.
Okay, so that's the point I'm trying to make. So Alonso is accelerating. They're both accelerating. Alonso obviously accelerated before Sainz. So that's how his tires came into contact with Sainz. And it threw him up in the air. He landed. It's similar to Spa. You remember the incident with Lewis and Alonso at Spa last year? How the tires made contact? It's the exact same thing, right? And he spun, and when he came back down, he spun in front of Sainz. There was nowhere for Sainz to go. Sainz didn't drive into Alonso.
If you're making contact with somebody's rear, you are already at fault. That's how I say it.
No, I don't. Yeah. I think that was nothing more than a racing incident that should have just been left as at that. The stewards, I think the penalty was unfair.
They were too eager to give the penalty before the race even started. I mean, Sainz even himself said, "Look, guys, this isn't right. They should at least." At the end let the session play out. Once the checkered flag drops, if he's under investigation, fine. At least give them the opportunity to go to the stewards and then say, okay, what are you guys giving me the 5-second penalty for? And then he can say, from my point of view, these are my mitigating circumstances, X, Y, and Z. And if they then disagree with him, fine, you give him the penalty. But it's as though they were judge and jury and gave him the penalty straight away without even finding out.
Was Sargent given a penalty?
Penalty point of view.
Was Logan Sargent penalized?
I'm sorry. I don't think Sargent was. No.
So the issue now. If you didn't penalize Sargent for what he did, why did you penalize Sainz?
That's a question you ask the receivers. Them. That's not me. I was one making the decision. But any day of the week, I think that was it was a racing incident. It was a penalty for
I think
Saints.
it.
That's what
I think from a penalty. So from the restart, the penalty that I think at the moment I haven't seen what's happened, but sorry, I've seen what's happened, but I don't know what the verdict is. So out of the two Alpines, who went off? Gasly went off when he drove into he collected Ocon, right?
I
So I think what they're looking at is penalising Gasly for the next race for coming back onto the track unsafe, pinching his teammate and causing a collision. So even though they both had a DNF, I think Gasly may take a grid penalty for the next race for causing a collision. That I understand, but
It's the same thing.
the
That's the
same
same
thing.
thing
I
here. It
don't
doesn't
think
matter where they finish. Whoever caused a collision or causing a collision, he gets the penalty. It doesn't matter whether he was finishing the race or not. It doesn't work like that
I don't
here.
know. I think the penalties to Sainz was a bit harsh, to be honest. I felt that was a genuine racing incident. They've always maintained that first lap incidents are viewed in a different. Oh God, washing machine making a lot of noise. It's viewed in a differently. So
Like,
why now? But so in what you're saying, Kingsley, you want consistency across the board.
yeah, consistency across the board. Just be consistent. If you're going to give, I agree there should be penalty there. That's not, I don't disagree with that. But you have to be consistent in giving it out so that people don't start to question why did you not do here and then you did it
But
here
I
and you
mean,
want to
people are
take
going to
it.
question irrespective, aren't they? Because we're questioning why they gave one. So you can't. They're not. They won't. They won't
Yeah,
avoid. They
but at
would
least
not
you
avoid that.
can. Yeah, yeah. Of course, there's no way they can avoid it. But in my sense, I think it was a fair, quick decision for
I
them
was
to
just a
make,
bit
and
annoyed that
they make
Alonso was able to return to the race. I wanted to see his car up in smoke, in fires, actually, in
what
flames.
was impressive for Alonso was he actually remember Silverstone. They did it before. They should go back to the. I'm
I
like,
mean,
this
I
dude
mean,
actually had time on his hand to remember
I
this
mean, he
race.
hasn't won a race in what since 2013. So yeah, that's a lot of time to
Yeah, yeah.
memorize
You're not trying
incidents
to.
because what else did he have to do at that time? It's not like he was racing for anything. He was just driving around because he's there. So, but
So the George Russell's radio. How do you say it?
George needs to look, man. I'm not a George defender or apologist or whatever, but dude needs to calm himself down and stop thinking like like he's
Is
somehow
the second coming
exact.
of
You know what I mean, dude? You're not the top dog in Mercedes.
unproven.
You
You're still
can't.
unproven. Yeah.
And it didn't make any sense for him to even say that because Lewis has Max behind him in with an engine that runs at warp 10. So what
Yeah.
was Lewis supposed to do? Slow down and like let George build a gap? It was never going to happen. It was never going to because
Yeah.
Max was always going to
I think what
push
was.
Lewis. Max
Yeah.
was just sitting there waiting for DRS. That's all Max was doing.
Yes, he was just exactly. That was, he
exactly.
wanted to do it before DRS
He
comes in, but he couldn't, and then
he
he just
just
said, "Okay,
sat
let
there
me
and
not
wait
burn
for
my tires."
DRS,
Let's
and
just
because
wait.
he
Yeah.
knows once the
Yeah.
DRS comes in, that's it.
He's going to
He
blow
put
past.
it this
Yeah.
way. This is how quick Max was with DRS. Even if there was two Mercedes in front of him, he probably would have passed
He
both
will
of
blow
them
past both of
on
them.
this on
Yeah, both
on
of them.
that on that back straight going into turn 10, 11 with DRS.
Yes, I agree with you. If that was Baku in that
Oh,
final turn, he would
dude!
pass both
If
of
that
them the
was
same straight. Yeah.
Baku, he would have been 2 seconds ahead of George by the time he got to turn one.
By the time they get to the, yeah, exactly. I agree
It,
with you.
it
That's true.
it's
Because
it's I don't know. Look, I
I was
understand.
following. I followed George's on board at some point in that
Mhm.
race before that red flag came in. It wasn't as if they were asking him to manage the tire. His race engineer, I think Marcos was his name, was telling him the gap to Lewis. In fact, he told him Lewis was behind him, and Max was in third position, and then he was telling him the gap to Lewis was under a tenth, or under 1 second at some point. That
It never got
first
above a second.
two laps. No, he never went to. So when he was asked, he was always asking, what's the gap? He would say 0.9 seconds, 9 tenths, 8 tenths. And then when he came out from the final turn, he now told him 1 second. And then said, it is turn 5 and 6 that you should keep an eye on your right, I think left front tire. That was what he said. Left front tire. And then he asked, what's the gap? He said, Lewis has the DRS on you. And that was it. The next thing, he just went apoplectic. So I think when the red flag came, that was when he said, look, Marcus, don't tell me not to push. I mean, Lewis is on my. I'm fighting both Lewis and Max. Don't tell me not
But
to
didn't
push.
he said that before the
What is
red?
Lewis
He said
supposed
that
to
on lap
do?
7, wasn't it? I mean, I know the radio message is delayed, so it could have been lap
Yes, no,
6.
no, that conversation was after the red flag. If you get with somebody, you see, he actually said, Marcus, I'm happy to push, no problem, but don't tell me to manage if Lewis is pushing. I'm fighting both Lewis and Max. That was his exact quote. So he said it when the red flag came.
That was
But
before the
my
red
problem
flag.
was no, they actually, I don't know when they played
It was before
there
that was
was one
before
he
the red
said
flag.
before there was one he said before the
Before the
red
red
flag.
flag,
It was
before.
before the red flag.
Yes, there was one he said before the red flag. I can't remember what he
No,
actually
that's
said
what
there.
he said.
The one after the red flag is the one I was quoting
The
now.
one
Yeah.
before the red flag was him saying, "How are you telling me to manage, and then my teammate behind me isn't basically doing it the same?" As you was like saying, "You need to tell Lewis to do the same."
Yes, no, yes, Lewis is pushing it.
Lewis couldn't sit there and say, "Okay, I'm gonna manage my pace now." I mean, it's lap 7 of the race. It just started.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
don't have a gap. You have Max behind you. It was inevitable that Lewis would need to push up on George to
I
push him.
actually thought at first they asked him. I was thinking they were asking him to give Lewis DRS so that Max does it. Even Lewis, I think even if Lewis had DRS, Max would have still
Still
passed him
passed
with
him.
DRS.
He would have passed
Yeah.
both
Yes,
of
that's
them.
how fast that car works.
He
Yeah,
would have,
he would have passed
because
him.
I saw something. Max did what, 341 or something like that. I think I saw someone shared a tweet with the top speed. I mean, Jesus! By the
Yeah,
end of the first sector, after Max passed Lewis,
he
it was
passed
two
Lewis.
seconds in
Half a
half a
lap,
lap.
in
Two
half a
seconds.
lap. Yeah,
What
2 seconds. In
what
fact, 2.01
like
seconds actually. He was
what?
like
And
gone.
I saw something where George said, "Oh, they had the pace to win the race." Which race? Which race?
Exactly. Which no, I think George doesn't know what
Which
he's
race
talking
was
about.
he?
He
Which
didn't have the
race
pace
was
to
he
win that
in
race.
that he thought he had the pace to win?
No, I think because he felt he jumped as mass from the start, then he can get control. There was nothing. Mercedes could have had 3 cars today. Mass would still beat up
Man,
because that
Mercedes
car
could
was just
have
fine.
10 cars that still lose the race, because there's no way you're gonna
Yeah,
beat that
yeah.
Red Bull right now.
That there's
There's
no way you're
something.
beating that
There's
mass car.
there's something about that Red Bull that it's just. And the thing is, it's just that efficiency where it gets, once it gets into your slipstream, it's so damn efficient. You're basically a sitting duck.
Yeah, it was. It was that slot in the DRS opens. That car is incredibly balanced and is efficient in its speed. And then they touch the brake and the car just settled down. It doesn't even
Because
wobble or anything. There's something they found with that DRS arrangement that I think every other team has not been able
I
to.
read something where they
I don't know
said
if it's.
the Red Bull
Yeah.
front suspension. It said it's called, what they call it, anti-dive, so the nose doesn't dip
Okay.
on the braking, so it
Ah,
stays basically level.
it stays where it is.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Unlike
it's. I
most of
don't
the
know.
other
Yeah,
cars,
most
it
of the
will
other
dip.
cars.
It doesn't really dip, so it keeps
That probably
a
makes
steady
sense. There's a
platform.
reason why. Yeah,
But
they make that's good. That
yeah,
guy's just
but
too good, man. That
I
guy's
don't know. At least I think right now they're at the point whereby I think for them, performance gains going forward, is going to be
yeah,
minimal.
yes, it's diminishing return. They've mastered
I
on
think
it.
the
Yeah,
teams behind them, because if what, Aston gained what, 2 seconds over the winter. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
Mercedes only need at current pace, Red Bull pace. What Mercedes would need to find a second and a half.
It's second and let's say second plus because Max was doing it at some point 1.3 seconds faster at some point.
Was
So
he?
I don't know if that was his
When?
true pace or he was
I don't
slowing
think
it.
there was ever a
No,
point
there
he
was
was over a lap quicker than Lewis.
no, there was a point he did 1.3. What was that? It was after he passed Lewis. Yes, I'll go back and check. Yes, 1.3. The difference between him and Lewis was 1.3 seconds on a particular lap. I can't remember what lap it
I
was.
think that lap he passed him was the only time he's ever, you saw that big of a margin.
When he built that gap to 10 seconds, there was a point in that gap where he actually did 1.3 seconds. I remember
Okay,
vividly. It
I've
was
got
flashed
a
on the screen.
website that
1.3
will
seconds.
give me the lap time comparisons,
Yeah,
so I'll
check it
check
out. It
it.
was
But they
there.
won't
Yeah.
have it up until probably tomorrow. But either way, all right. The next one, Max complaining about Lewis's pass on him. I'm a bit confused because
That was the funniest thing
I'm
I
like,
heard on the radio
he's
today.
saying
Yeah.
Lewis didn't abide by the rules. There's a rules for someone on the outside, right?
Yeah.
No, here's my thing. In Brazil last year, he was on the inside, right?
Yeah.
Lewis was first to the apex, right? But his
Mm-hmm.
argument was that Lewis didn't give him room, and Lewis closed the door on him. But he was never
Yeah.
sufficiently far enough up on the inside of Lewis, nor did he make the apex. So why this series he complaining? I mean, Lewis did exactly what he does to people.
You're going too far. Remember Brazil last
That's
year
what I
when
just
he
said.
ran
Brazil.
Lewis out
That's what
from.
I just said. Brazil.
Yes. Then in Jeddah, he got a penalty for similarity, and he said, "Look, I did this in Brazil. I didn't get a penalty. How come they're giving me penalty now in just a week?" So how do you expect somebody like that to remember what happened in Brazil this year? I think of all the drivers on the grid that will be complaining about being run out of a racetrack, Max should not be one of them
Yeah,
because that is exactly what he does every time. I don't know. He did similar thing to who? Was it not? You was it? It was Schumacher, right? A Silverstone.
no, yeah, he did that at Silverstone, and they also did it to Schumacher. Make it at
It was Mick,
2021. He
yes,
did
Mick
to make in
Silverstone.
Hungary as well.
Yeah, I remember Silverstone. Drove him out of the track completely, and then he said, "No, he ran me out of the pitch. I don't know what is."
I
It
find
was
it.
just
I
crazy.
found that whole statement from him complaining about it, saying he pushed me off, and I'm like, no, you didn't get pushed off.
It's
You
not.
had
It's not.
enough
It's
room
not safe
on
for
your outside. You had a choice. You
Yeah,
could have. I mean, your brake pedal works just the same. You could have
exactly.
braked to back out of it, knowing you've already lost the corner. He lost the corner.
There was a there was a meme I saw where he said, I think somebody was trying to describe it. He would say he pushed me out of the track, and the track is saying, "But you are on the track." Like he didn't go out of the track; he was still on the track, and he's saying he pushed him out of the
Okay,
track.
but
It was funny.
that's Max. All right, hold on, Kingsley. Crystal, what's happening? First time, long time listener, first time talker, I think. What's up?
Sorry, clearly you speak to you listen to James O'Brien.
Who?
Okay, never mind.
Oh, LBC, Jim. Oh, I know what you mean. Sorry.
LBC. I was just going to say, I actually think Red Bull have been working on this DRS trick since 2021 when they had no answer to Mercedes. And it goes right back to Brazil when Max was touching underneath the DRS flap
Mm-hmm.
and saying that he could feel something. So it's been a trick they've been working on. It's not happened overnight. And that's probably where they were getting the shaky rear wing from that season. So it's probably going to be hard for anybody to catch up if they've taken 2 seasons to master it.
But given that the wings are has to be a standardized um
Part.
no, it's not standardized part. I mean standardized in terms of
It's uniform across
yes, there's
board.
The
certain things
top
you
flap is, but not the beam wing.
so you talk so well. This is the first time they brought back beam wings in Formula One
Yes.
since
So maybe
gone.
they've just adapted the design that they've been working on to work with this set of regulations.
I mean, whatever they've done, then we need Ross Brawn to live up to his statement that if someone found a loophole that gave them such a performance advantage, they've got the metrics to rein them in because this shit needs to be reined in, man. I mean, as pissed off as I am, you have to take your hats off to them in some ways.
Exactly.
Like you know what they
Absolutely.
built a good car. It's granted
It's very
granted
good
we
car.
know it's built outside of the car's cab. It was built outside of the car's cab, but
It was money well
It was built
used.
out, yeah, it was well deserved.
I
They managed
mean,
to get away with it.
exactly. They got a slap on the wrist and they've got a built-in advantage. For how long will it be?
Yeah.
I don't know. I saw Lewis did an interview where he's saying, they're a bit far from the Red Bull, but he can see where it can close. I just hope it doesn't take 2 seasons for it to close because Max winning this year and the next 2 years won't do my
That's
soul
true.
any good.
It's
It hurts me.
yeah,
I do
me
not
too.
like to see him
Yeah.
celebrate. I despise every fiber of his being. I don't want. I wish him bad every day. Sorry,
Oh,
I'm a hater,
No, his car.
and I wear
I
it with
wish
pride.
his car
Yeah, I want
bad.
this car
I
to
was
blow
just
up
praying,
every
oh God,
goddamn.
let this car
Do
explode,
Kingsley,
please,
do you
please.
know how happy I was when I saw him on the street weaving, and I'm thinking,
Yeah,
oh
when he
shit,
went off track.
something's broken. I
Yeah.
was praying,
I thought
I
something
was
is
praying,
broken.
I was
Yes.
gonna see smoke come, smoke, the whole thing just explode,
Oh God.
like
The entire, do you know the entire fans in that last sector, they were screaming like everyone seemed
Man,
happy. I thought
I
he
was
has lost something.
praying that something would have happened,
Yeah,
something detrimental happened to him at that point in time,
yeah.
because I was like, please, just I can't do 23 races of this. Mercedes have to
And
pull the
they
fingers
just
up, because Ferrari's not going to do it. We already pretty much
that's the
established
painful
that
part.
Ferrari's
Yeah,
now. You could probably say they're the fourth fastest team right now.
yeah, fifth. I
I
don't
wouldn't go
know,
fifth.
whatever the number is.
Who would you put ahead of
Yeah,
them? I wouldn't go fifth. So they're pretty much. I'd say they're probably right now fourth fastest team. But I don't want to. I don't want to say that, because this what we saw from Mercedes today needs to be replicated in two other races. But then again, this is consecutive races where Mercedes has outperformed Red Bull.
Red Bull,
No, sorry, Ferrari. What
Ferrari.
am I saying? You see what I mean? I hate them
Yeah,
so much.
right.
I can't get them. Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
know.
So if Mercedes doesn't find something with this upgrade package that they're bringing to Imola, then it could be a complete whitewash. Barring reliability,
Yeah,
I can't see anybody
yeah,
beating Red Bull.
I agree.
I
Actually,
cannot
I
see,
agree.
and and I can't see anybody beating Max, because Perez is not going
That's
to do it.
it's Mass. The only person that can beat Mass is Mass himself, or maybe reliability if he just make mistake.
That's
Because the car in that guy's hand is just they are both in sync with each other.
because look at
The
Perez.
way he
Perez
drives.
came out and said, "Oh, I think I can win the championship." They just hit the self destruct
No,
button.
Perez always say. I think I could just say that message he plays. There's a message he records and keep every year. So when they ask him, he just plays it because what else is he going to say? I cannot win a
Yeah,
championship.
well, I mean,
I mean, he
I'd
has
be
to say that.
concerned if he said that. So I can understand the
Yeah,
statement, but he himself knows that's not reality. He cannot
it's
do it.
not
He's not
possible.
going to
Yeah,
do it.
they cannot.
So
Even if they give them equal equipment, he cannot beat Mass.
because he just doesn't have it. He's not. He's
He
not.
doesn't have it. He doesn't have it. Let's be realistic. He doesn't have it.
Because I mean, if you're going to get all qualified by half a second, and in
What is half a
that's
second?
just
I mean, tenths of
in
a
the
second,
same
eight
car.
tenths of a second. You're not close, man.
That's just
They're
not
not in the same.
acceptable, and it's not good enough. But you know, what I mean, I just need.
Well,
I need something to happen. I need I need Mercedes to find
the only
something.
team we are expecting something from is Mercedes. We are not relying on Ferrari at this point. We're not relying on Aston Martin because we don't trust their ability to
Oh, no,
develop
Aston
over a
Martin
season.
can't win a race, which is kind of odd. Which
Exactly.
is kind
So
of odd when
no,
Alonso
they
said,
can't. They can't. You can't say that. They may be able to win a
"No, I don't
race. You
think
can't
so."
say they can
On
win a
what?
race.
Again, it would rely on Red Bull again having a DNF for them to win a race.
Exactly. So they screw up, and then Aston Martin. But the point I was making was the only team that can actually put something onto the Red Bull right now is if Mercedes gets their ass together. Ferrari's not going to do that. Aston Martin is not close, so
And I mean, and this is
it's
why
going to be a walk
you
in the park for
listen.
them.
Helmut Marko in the week said, you know, he knows Mercedes will get back to where they get their shit together and be
Yeah, get back.
back where they
Yeah,
need. He's not even talking about Ferrari, because
the Ferrari is out
they've
of the
never
question. Yeah,
seen
yeah.
Ferrari as a serious threat to them, and
I thought you,
it's so dismissive. It tells you
yeah,
what people
yeah,
think of
yeah.
Ferrari as a
And
team.
Ferrari had the fastest car over a single lap last year, and yet Red Bull weren't worried about them. They were worried about when Mercedes gets the W13 right. So they were basically looking beyond Ferrari because obviously they just
For
felt this team
you
can't
know what
even walk
Ferrari
over a season.
remind me of last year Ferrari, the 2013 Mercedes. You remember that car? That was quick over a lap, but once it got into the race, it
The
was absolutely rubbish.
2013
Yeah,
Mercedes. That was
yeah.
Lewis'
First,
first
that
year, right?
that
Yeah, first
was
season
that
in
the
Mercedes. Yeah.
W03 or W4. I can't remember, whichever
I,
one it is. But that
yeah.
Mercedes was quick over a lap. Not
And
not
then
right,
they
outrightly
just
the quickest, but it was very quick over a lap. They could threaten for poles more on
yeah.
on somewhat consistent basis. But then once it got into the race, you realize, yeah, there's still
Yeah.
issues there. So
Tire.
and I
The
think
tire
that's
just
what look for. We've talked about this. Ferrari's problem is they don't have anyone in that team that has that winning mentality. There's not a strong spine within the team because they keep changing people. That team is run by fear. It needs some diversity, and I mean not in terms of gender or race,
yeah.
diversity in terms of nation. It's too Italian.
Yeah. The team is too insular.
It's just
Like
too
we said.
Italian, and it's not
Yeah.
going to work.
Yeah.
The thing is, but the problem they also have is it's to attract talent into Italy.
It's based in Italy. Yeah, you can't be bringing people from the UK, for example. How many people want to go to Italy or resettle completely?
And most
No,
of them
it's
who go to Italy, then probably after a while say, "Look, I want to go back home," and they go back home.
yeah, and then the language barrier too is there. So
Exactly, it's a different culture, different language,
different cultures,
everything
culture
you have
shock.
to
Yeah,
adapt to. Whereby majority was it only two teams aren't based in the UK, AlphaTauri and Ferrari. Am I right? And
Haas,
no, Haas is based in the UK, and no, Alfa Romeo is based in Switzerland,
Switzerland. Yeah,
Ferrari,
yeah,
and AlphaTauri. So of the 10 teams, three of them are, you know what I mean? So seven, and the seven
yeah.
that are here are based within a
Certain
certain
radius. Yeah,
radius. So it's
yeah.
easy for people to
The
just
concentration of
exactly.
talents, the pool is in certain
Exactly,
radius.
it's
That's it.
within this whatever 7 team
Yeah,
radius. So that's what the talent is. So nobody, so to attract people, yes, I think they've gotten some people from Red Bull recently, but how much of it are you going to get? The real talents. Not many people are going to
yeah.
want
The
to
real
do that.
talent that will make a change.
Not people want to do.
Yeah,
Are thinking, oh, we're going to just move. No, and I don't know. Ferrari, and you knew it was kind of Ferrari was on the demise once the likes of Luca, what's his name? Luca got replaced as the big boss at Ferrari. Once Marchione came in, and it just seems like it was a hatchet job. If you don't do,
yeah. To
if you
just
don't
fire
succeed,
people
you're
out of
fired.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like
You're good
it's
enough.
like
Yeah,
so it's a fear culture because people are scared.
yeah.
You because when you work under such environment, no matter you're trying your best not to fail, and that tends to be the moment when you fail the most because you're trying so
That's
hard
true.
not to fail. You
Not
end
to
up actually
fail, and
failing.
then you're actually failing.
You're
Yeah,
not working within an environment whereby the culture is allows you to express yourself. It allows
yeah.
you to, even if
I
you
agree.
make a mistake, not thinking, oh shit, this mistake is going to cost me my job.
Yeah, yeah. That's why actually the firing of Binotto was a bit
I think
premature
he
for
should have
me
been fired anyway.
because I don't think so. That's where I differ. I think they should have allowed him remain. He at least for one more season if they want to fire him. Yeah, because that car last year was decent to an extent, but on race pace they were failing most
Yeah,
of
it
the
was
time
decent
because the engine was doing.
until they said, okay, you have to
Yeah,
stiffen up your floor,
yeah, the engine too was blowing up at some point, so they actually had reliability
and they still have
issues. I was
reliability
thinking
issues
maybe
now.
exactly that was why. Okay, if he was still there, maybe that's where he would have focused his attention on because they have reliability issue now one, and they're still chewing their tires in the race. So the two things that were happening to them last year, they didn't even fix it, and then on top of that, they added new problems to it. Now the car is not even fast anymore. So anyway, you're bringing in somebody
Oh
else
fuck!
who doesn't even know much about the team, and then everything is just unraveling for them.
Look,
If Mercedes was not on pace with Red Bull, I genuinely wished the Ferrari were at least to slow them down. At
yeah,
this rate,
but
nobody's gonna do that.
Kingsley, you're just setting yourself for punishment. You like punishment, right? Because why in the name of God would you expect Ferrari to? I mean, we how many times you doing that is the definition of insanity. Because how many times
You
of
can,
people banter?
one can dream.
No,
You can dream. After
wake up
all,
all your
the
dreams.
Ferrari of 2018 at 19, they at least they pushed Mercedes to an extent.
You know
So
what I'm gonna
I
do
think,
for your dream. I'm gonna send Freddy Krueger into your dream because you need to wake your ass up, dude. Because that just no, don't find a different dream. Don't, don't. But Ferrari, look, Ferrari's a joke, man. And for a
yeah,
team with its resources,
that has that level of
it's
resources. Was not Martin that said it? That you go to Maranello and you're wondering how on earth is this team not winning every race?
exactly
Because they have the resources, they have everything. But somehow you're not able to
because
put them together. It's
I
something
just
else.
think there's no one there. It doesn't have a strong leadership. Look at the time when they were successful in the 90s, early 2000s. Look who they had in power.
Yeah,
Luca dealt with all of the bullshit from Bernie. Yeah, Todd. He deal with all of the FIA BS. You had Braun. He basically ran the technical director. Then you had Rory Byrne. He was the designer. So they had a strong spine within that team that basically, okay, these...
Wasn't Todd there too?
Yeah.
Todd.
John Todd was the team principal. Ross Braun team that technical director, and Rory Byrne was the designer. Yeah. So they had a strong spine. They don't have that no more. And I don't think Fred Vasseur is the man for that job. It's too big. It's too big for him. It's too big.
He would not be given. I don't want to say it's too big. I don't think he will be given the room to do the things he wants.
But what does he want to do?
That's just my. For example, if he wants to make personal changes.
Well, he has made some personal changes.
And then he was already being called out for it by the chairman.
see.
So that, exactly.
He's not. The job is too big for him. I think it's too big of a job for him. Because historically, I mean, it's one thing him managing, having success because I think in GP2, wasn't he Lewis team boss in GP2? I'm trying to.
Was it Lewis or
Charles? No, yeah, but was it Art Grand Prix? Because if it's Art Grand Prix, isn't that Lewis drove for Art Grand Prix in 2006? I need to check that, but I think it was Art. But either way, I just think this is too big. It's not. It's one thing to manage Sauber, where was he? Sauber or whatever team.
It's not team,
to then go and manage Ferrari, because Ferrari isn't just a Formula One team. It's an institution. It's a nation. Yeah. He's managing. He's managing the expectations of a nation, not just some fans. It's the nation. Absolutely. Ferrari is Italy. It's like being the Italian team football manager. It's not the easiest job in the world. And
he's better than Bonotto.
What?
Agreed.
He's better than Bonotto as a leader.
Based on what?
He comes across like he knows what he's kind of not to say I know.
But Bonotto was at Ferrari when Schumacher was winning titles. So you can say he's better. So Bonotto is not he doesn't know his thing.
But he doesn't look like a leader, innit? He doesn't look like someone you follow, like.
What do you mean? Doesn't he look like?
Okay, let me say a leader, like someone who's like a Total Wolf. Like you can tell he tells people what to do. Yeah, you can just tell they have authority. You can just tell.
Everybody have different.
I know, Kingsley, but like when it comes to sport and when it comes to look, I'll give you a good example now. Like if you look at Graham Potter, like he doesn't look like a leader. That's why he needs to get out. Like if you look at a Klopp, if you look at a Pep, they look like men that know what they're doing. They have respect in their team. Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? You need someone who's they kind of look up and say, look, I can listen to him type thing. But if you looks like a Bonotto, like he's obviously a good engineer, but he's not a leader. It just shows you a good example of it's a good example of corporate world. They make people that are not people managers. Like it makes no sense.
I think that it's a bit disingenuous if we're thinking that way. I don't think he's not a leader. Otherwise, there is no way he could have probably got.
No, he's a leader. He's definitely a leader, but yes. I just think this job is too big for him.
The way the organization is set up, the structure, whoever is taking that job is set up to fail.
Yeah.
That's what I agree with that. Yeah, you're set up to fail. So but just try your best. Because if you really want to change, we're just saying it, if you want to change that thing, you have to change a whole lot of things, not just changing the figurehead at the top.
You have to change the culture.
A whole lot of things.
You have to change the culture,
the structure. You have to change it. Yeah, you see, yeah. So whoever is taking that job is just set up to fail at the end of the day. I wouldn't be surprised by the end of the season they ask Verstappen to move on.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. That job, the Ferrari job, needs someone who is, hard as steel. Needs to be.
And then if you're coming with a pedigree, for example, say for example a Honor coming to Ferrari, for example, or a Toto Wolff coming to Ferrari. If he's saying this is what I want, you will listen to them because they have a track record of winning. But when you bring in somebody like a Versailles, what are you coming with? What do you
Show me your resume.
Show me your resume. You have to come with stature. Yeah, what show me exactly what have you done? I think that's where at the end of the day they will either make it or not, and who's going to go to Ferrari with other culture around it? I don't think the top brass at the moment will not even go there at all.
It's like you said, it's a job you set up to fail. You pretty much set up to fail because to turn around Ferrari, it's like when you remember that shit that got stuck in the Panama, is it Panama Canal
Oh, yeah, was it Panama?
or
No,
the
yeah, the
Suez
canal, the
Canal, or which
canal.
one of them?
Yeah, Swiss Canal.
That's how
Yeah.
difficult it is to turn around the Ferrari, or probably more difficult than that. But they
It is more
did
difficult.
get the ship out of the canal. I think Ferrari in
Yeah,
itself is a much bigger task because you have to go in and you have to change the culture. If you don't
the
change the culture,
culture. Yeah,
because you can change all the people at the top all you want, but if the culture still remains the same, you're not going to get
nothing is
any.
changing.
Have you really changed
The
anything?
result. Yeah,
You
yeah.
just changed the face, but the same. It's like you have a house. You paint the front beautiful, but when you go inside, it's a dump. And no matter
It's a
how
sepulcher.
much you change the paint color outside, it's still a dump inside. So
Yeah,
you have
yeah.
to go. You have to start change from within, and then you start once you fix up the outside, then you get inside. Then you say, okay, let's paint the outside to match what we have
Let's
inside.
turn the outside.
I can't. I don't. I just look. I don't like Ferrari, and I take pleasure in seeing them succeed. But at the same time, they're an establishment. They should be doing better.
They should be doing better. Yes,
You said
agreed.
you take pleasure seeing them
No,
succeed.
Hey
sorry.
man, what's up?
Surely not.
I take pleasure in
Right,
seeing
I
them
thought so.
not succeed.
I
Yeah,
would
yeah.
rather them succeeding now than Red Bull.
What's that?
Whoa! Calm down, Gilly.
What was that,
Thanos, are
Kingsley?
you watching the race?
Which race?
Yeah,
The
they're
the
all spinning
MotoGP
around
race.
and falling.
Oh no, no,
It's raining
I'm not gonna.
badly.
It's raining in Argentina. I'm not gonna sit down and watch Fabio Quartararo embarrass me anymore.
Quartararo is at
Dude,
the back
that's
of
he's
the
doing so bad.
grid.
Like, there's no chance. He got tagged out by somebody, but he's still 16th now. Like, he's dropped like 6 to 7 positions by now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right now, Fabio's situation right now Lynn Jarvis want me to come and find him because this shit is not
Oh, that's
acceptable.
dude. You have to watch the race, but it's exciting. Like, apart from like Yamaha's being crap, it's really rather nice.
Yeah, I'm not watching it today because I saw it and realized, yeah, it's raining. Fabio in the rain that's like oil and water. Them things just don't go
Oil and
together,
water, yeah.
man.
They
So
don't mix together.
I'm skipping it. But anyway, we're talking about Ferrari and the what is a
Oh,
team
Ferrari
that's a
had
bit,
fun today, didn't they?
huh?
Ferrari had fun today.
But everything that could go wrong
Go
did
wrong.
go wrong for them, and probably more.
Yeah.
I
More, yeah.
oh, I was meant to Kingsley. Who you think was
Yeah.
responsible for the Charles incident?
Oh, that was Charles himself.
Charles.
No,
That was
100% it was.
Charles. Somebody
No, but
touched
why is he
him.
no,
turning in like
His,
that?
uh,
No, but
no.
didn't Stroll touch No, Charles? Stroll did, but Stroll couldn't go anywhere else though. Why is he turning in
Yeah,
like that? So obviously, outbreak Stroll into the corner.
okay, yeah,
But why is he
but
acting like there's no one there?
What was the trigger point for that the whole entire incident?
Was that Alonso being out of place?
No, Max.
What just?
If you go and watch it again, Max braked for turn 3 like he was the only person on track. He
Early.
braked
Too
so
early.
early. What I mean, so early, right?
It wasn't
It's
nice
like
for this though.
that's what triggered the whole entire incident.
it doesn't matter if Max
I
stop in
don't.
the middle of the track.
Yes, it does matter.
What are you
Yeah,
It
gonna
I'm
does
not
do?
matter
like
if
it.
he stops in the middle of the track. What do you
No,
mean?
Yeah,
I'm all
you
right.
have to.
Thanos,
It doesn't matter.
that whole incident moved the head though, no? Because he stops early. Lewis moves down the inside. Obviously, Max is compromised. Then
No,
he blocks off
but
Alonso. I hear it,
it's a
but
concert. It's a Constantine. If
I
he
know,
Constantino
I know,
effect.
I know,
by
I know.
him
But
breaking
still,
Yes.
so early, because no one expected him to break that early going into the corner.
because obviously he doesn't think Lewis is going to go down the inside, does he? So
It
he's
doesn't.
just
It's not a
unaware.
matter whether he
Gets
thought
him
Lewis
Exactly.
knackered.
was going to go down the inside as early. Because if you listen to Lewis said he braked early and I braked later.
Yeah, obviously Lewis caught him napping. 100%. That was a good move.
Yeah, it was a good move. It was a brilliant move, actually.
It's not so much it was a good. It's the fact that it's how early he braked going into court. He probably braked.
It doesn't. I don't
Hold
know
on,
why is he breaking early a problem? He can break
because
any time he wants. Let the other
Kingsley,
person
it's
pass.
the start of the race and the field is still
Mm-hmm.
jumbled up. There's still cars within
Mm-hmm.
close proximity of each other. So if you normally brake 3 meters going into that corner, and on this occasion you brake 8 meters. That's 5 meters early that you
What if he
hold on. That's
what if
5
he was
minutes.
worried about
That's
his
5
brake
meters
temperature?
earlier
He
than
wanted
you
to find
normally
out if
would.
it will hold.
It's going to create a problem because it's going to
What
create.
if? What
Huh?
if? What if he wasn't sure about his brake and then decided to brake early just in case he brake late and he runs out of the track.
He wasn't sure
say
about
every
his
other
brakes.
Yes.
He wasn't sure about his brakes.
No, I'm asking, what if he was, because it was the first lap, so you want to be sure that your brake is up to 10 before you brake. If he brakes late and then run out of
it
the
goes
track,
into the gravel.
I mean, his brakes were probably up to 10 by that point anyway. It was up to a temperature that wouldn't have caused him to have any issues.
If the driver in front of you starts somersaulting, you don't run into them. You cannot just say, because he brakes early, that's why I did, that's why
You
I
have
did.
to react.
You are supposed to be watching what's happening in front of you.
So hold on, Kingsley, hold on. So then you're saying Lewis was at fault for Jeddah then?
Oh no, that's different though. That's braking
without braking. You're comparing apples and oranges.
That's different though. He's braking when it's not the braking.
Because you just said how's that different? You just said
that's a main straight though.
You just said he just said he just said you need to be paying attention to what's happening in front of you.
Yeah, he means when you come to the braking zone.
What?
When you come to the braking zone, you have to be careful. If you're behind someone and you're following,
Lewis was coming in.
You have to brake a little bit earlier.
But he was coming into a braking zone the same in Jeddah. But you see, you're going to make
still quite far off there. It wasn't really the braking zone.
It wasn't so much of a braking zone. It was a straight line. But that's a different thing entirely. I'm not comparing that at all. What I'm saying is the start of this race, you're watching what your driver in front of you is doing. You can't say because he brakes early, that was why I ran into him or something. If you were watching,
Charles wasn't directly behind Max.
He wasn't. He was behind Alonso practically because Stroll was using the inside line, so he was basically behind. Alonso.
Exactly. So by Max braking that early, everyone else had to adjust to basically do the same, and that creates a concertina effect because it's the first lap of the race. It's not like there was such a large separation amongst the cars. That's what created.
Okay, so what's the point? Are you blaming Max for the incident?
Yeah, I said yes. I said because he braked so early going into the corner, it created a problem.
That's a stretch. It's a stretch. You can't blame him.
Why not?
You can't blame him. No, I can't blame him.
I'm blaming him.
The fact that he brakes early doesn't mean anything. If he's braking early, then pass him from the other side. That's it. You don't have to brake him.
A Formula One car doesn't have brake lights.
It doesn't. But you just got to react.
Of course, they don't. But when you're coming to a braking section,
you have to. You got to be aware already.
You
can't just be going full throttle.
You have to be aware. You don't come in all gun blazing.
These guys know that corner, and each of them knows that the normal braking point for this corner is 3. It says 4 meters into the corner. They all know.
But some people can brake. Some people can brake at 2 meters earlier or later,
Kingsley,
for example.
But Kingsley, you just work with me a second here. They all have an idea of what the braking zone is in that corner and what how far you need to brake to slow down enough to make the corner. They all have an idea.
Yeah.
So if the general thought idea is 4 meters into the corner, and you then there's someone in front of you who you're not expecting to brake brakes 8 meters in, that's going to create a problem. Because you're then gonna have.
It's not the person's braking. It's not Max's problem if he brakes early or brake late. You are supposed to look.
They don't have brake lights, Kingsley. So
I
they can only
also,
react to one that slows down. And the thing is, by doing that, then everyone has to react because if you're braking 8 meters early for a corner, that the braking zone is 4 meters. Everyone's going to have to react to that.
But you're also forgetting George is in front of Max as well, so he can't just go into that corner and just.
No, George was well clear by that. George was well clear by that point. George was already about half a second, 6/10 ahead of him by that point.
That's quite fair.
So George being there didn't play a part. I just think he braked early and it created a concertina effect where people now had to start taking evasive actions. Sorry, who's that? Hey, mute your mic.
I think it's E.
Yeah. I'm blaming Max. Sorry. You have to blame him for something. I'm blaming him. I'm blaming him.
I don't blame Max.
Yeah.
As much as I don't
he should have gotten a penalty for that. They should have
a penalty.
Yes, retrospectively they give him a 50-second time penalty.
You're just angry. Okay.
Who says I'm angry?
Yeah,
Dude, I'm never angry.
Go to the back of the grid next race.
That was quite a good move from Lewis. I don't know why Max is complaining about. He didn't leave me no space. What are you talking about?
Because Max a bitch.
No,
you got done.
Max was always good.
Because Max is a bitch. Because Max is a bitch. That's why.
I would say
they didn't even note the incident at all. I think
it was fair. More than fair.
It wasn't noted at all. Let alone.
How could you investigate? That's a clean move.
Yeah, but Max is a
Yeah,
bitch,
but he was.
so that's why he's
But
complaining.
everyone complains they get overtaken, though, innit? Like, you know,
What's that?
you have to blame something else. You don't blame yourself, innit? That's what top drivers do.
Yeah, but we were
of
told.
course.
You never blame yourself.
But we were told you're supposed to defend the inside.
Fair. But I'm
Why
not
did
gonna
you
lie.
not defend the inside line?
Even if I was Verstappen, I'll do exactly what he did. No, obviously not. I don't know if he broke earlier or not, but I wouldn't expect Lewis to make that move, innit? Because I don't know.
Yeah, he wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, caught him napping, innit? Clearly, you normally.
I mean,
but I think for Max, he knew that once they go into clear, he has
Yeah,
the
to get
car
them.
to
Yeah,
win
100%.
Mercedes.
That's why he was so
he
careful
wasn't really
with the T1
he
as
wasn't
well.
really taking risks
Yeah,
at
that's why he
all.
was so
Yeah,
careful.
he wasn't
He
taking
didn't.
If this was 2021, he would be more aggressive
100%.
than that, I think.
Well, not even 2021. I think 2020 was okay, but 2020 when he didn't have the car to win a race, he didn't have such a dominant car. Then he would start.
No, 2021 he would have. If that was 2021, Max would have driven the way he. I mean, he would be running Russell and
it's kind
Lewis
of
out
funny
of the
because
track.
if you notice what he said, right? He said because
Yeah.
he said he had more to gain,
Yeah.
more to lose
Yes.
than
Don't to
than
lose.
the guys behind him.
Yeah.
So he didn't fight it. It was just kind of funny
He didn't
because
fight
when
it.
Lewis adopted that approach, people said Lewis was weak.
We're saying he's not
Yeah, he's not
aggressive. He's
aggressive,
lame.
and I'm thinking, well,
He's not getting Max
why
into his
risk
heart.
something when you have more to lose? And I get.
And funny enough, and Lewis actually mentioned it. Like, if he crashes, he's losing more. So why would he risk that when he knows that the race is
Was it
what?
Brazil 2019?
Odd laps.
Was it 2019 Brazil?
Yeah.
Comes back to mind.
Yeah.
Oh.
So at the end of the day, he also complained about the red flag too. So Max was
Oh
always.
yeah,
Max
of
always
course.
complains.
I'm not gonna lie.
I mean,
I thought when the red flag came out, I thought, yo, he might lose the race here because the two starts that he had were poor. Shit, he gets a shit start. Like,
I was just. But funny enough, he actually got a good. Lewis didn't get a very good start in that final one. He
covered him off straight away.
Good start. Yeah, he was the best one he did.
oh
But yeah.
All right, Kingsley. Sarah asked me a question. The
Okay.
restart where Max was.
Yeah.
It looked like he was out of his grid box. Go. What do you think? Sarah, send back in your request because we needed to talk. We need your input on Mercedes' strategy today because I thought it was shit. Come, Sarah, jump in.
What? Mercedes strategy was shit?
Kingsley, play along, man.
Oh, okay. No, it's not Sarah. It's who says? I think it's Mo. It's Mo that
Mo's always complaining about something, man.
Yeah,
Mo would complain. Mo would want it to be sunny and then complain when it's sunny.
In fact, Mercedes can have a 1-2. Mo will find something wrong.
They didn't get a 1-2 properly.
Yeah, like their pit stop was 0.6 seconds slower. Okay, as regarding the boss, I don't think he was out of his starting. If you check his right tire, I think the line you're actually looking at is not the white line per se. Is although you look inside the bracket, is the yellow line that extends from the right of the driver's front right tire. So you can see that his tire, as long as a part of that tire is in line with that yellow line, then you will stay basically within your
Kingsley?
space. What happened in Jeddah was the square white bracket was so narrow that cars could actually see properly whether they were fitting in, and that was why they were getting penalty. I remember it was this race, they actually had to extend the white bus so that the drivers can actually see that they're inside it. But the line that defines whether the car is outside of the bracket is the yellow line to
Kingsley,
the right.
I'm not going to invite you back into my space again. Because you sound like a Max Verstappen defender. You're supposed to be saying. You're supposed to. Don't talk to me now about being honest. Kingsley, you're supposed to say he should have gotten a penalty. He should have been black flagged. And I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear about.
You should have sent me a DM, and I will go
you've been
along
here
with
long
it.
enough.
I thought it was a genuine question
we're
from
Max
Sarah.
Verstappen hater club 100%. We don't do neutrality when it comes to him.
By the way, I don't know if you guys saw. There's growing respect between Lewis and Max now. By the way, I don't know if you guys saw.
Oh yeah, because Lewis can't challenge him no more.
It's quite nice stuff going on there.
Huh? There's no growing respect there. Max can talk.
There is.
No. What? No, there isn't. No, there isn't. The moment Lewis is able to challenge Max, it's gonna go back to him being a bitch.
It's gone. It's gone out of the window.
It's gonna go back to exactly what
it's going to business as usual.
He's gonna show that discontent.
The camaraderie you are saying is just because he has a car that can beat anybody on the track. The moment Max is challenged by either of the Mercedes, forget it. It's gone. That's
I don't know where you
never
come from
goodbye.
about respect. Respect where?
Nah, there is no respect. It's a facade. There's no
That man
respect.
hates every fiber of Lewis. He just hates Lewis's presence. I don't know where you're coming from about respect. There's no respect. Excuse me.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
No, well,
In
hold
a
on. I think deep
way,
down he does respect Lewis for
Oh no!
everything he's done.
Shut up!
No, come on.
No, he
it's,
doesn't.
it's no. He
100%.
is
Yeah,
right. He's
100%.
right.
There is no way
He's
he doesn't
right.
respect
He's
him.
possible deep down. He
Yeah,
actually
there's no
respects
way.
No, he
him,
doesn't.
but he doesn't want to
No,
show
he
it.
doesn't.
Obviously, you play this
No,
hard
No, he
character and stuff,
doesn't.
but obviously deep down
No, he
let me tell
doesn't.
you why I feel. Okay, why do you think Luis rise him the way he
What?
does? There are two ways you can respond to somebody you're afraid of. Is that you try to hide it and feel you want to pump up your chest, but you just hold your hair and say, yes, you're better than me. So I feel the reason why Luis always gets under his skin is because he deep down fears
No, he
him, and
doesn't.
that's
He
kind of
doesn't respect him. He thinks because Max genuinely thinks Lewis is undeserving of his success.
Whoa, he's
He
never said
doesn't.
that though.
Oh please.
Whoa, he's
I
never
Yeah.
don't,
said
I
that.
What
don't.
you think he needs to say it
You know,
outright? So he can
by
think it?
the way, Alonso has sprayed more disrespect to Lewis than Max has, by the
Man,
way.
I don't. They're both
Oh yes, I agree
Alonso's
with
the
you.
one that always
Yes.
says this guy only knows how to start and finish
No,
himself.
yes,
He's the
they're
one that
one
always
in the
says
you're
like,
right.
same.
You're
They're
right.
one in the same. There's not really much difference between the two of them. They're both pricks.
No, but there was a question they asked Max about Lewis, and he said, well, of course, he's beating his
yeah.
teammates. So in that case, you can say, yeah, he's a better driver, and that's true. The person you can measure yourself against is your teammates, and Alonso never believed Lewis deserved what he has gotten. He always feel there is a big British media conspiracy against him, or something happened somewhere where he's always making excuses.
I don't.
17 years later, he's always
I
still
mean,
making excuses about what happened.
Alonso's legacy has been decimated by the fact that Lewis turned up into Formula One. That's what killed his legacy.
Yeah,
Because
Lewis just
Alonso
destroyed him.
was touted to be the man to take over the Schumacher reigns.
From Michael.
You
Yeah,
know, he
yeah,
was supposed to be the man that, took Formula One to the next level,
yeah.
domination. But
Beat
then
Michael
got
Schumacher's
his
record,
ass
everything.
spanked
Yes.
by a
In fact,
rookie, went back to Flatville
yeah.
with his tails between his legs, and ever since then he's been trying. Why do you think he's around? So he's trying to win a third title. That's never going to happen. It's never
It's
going
not
to
going to
happen.
happen. Just forget it. It's not
I
going to
think though
happen.
he has to be like one of the I don't know what the word is, but like he's probably one of the smartest guys on the grid, right? I don't know if you guys saw today, but when Sainz spun him out straight away, instead of thinking about anything else, he said, "Oh, they have to give me back the lap. They have to give me back because you haven't gone past the first sector because
Yeah,
he did the Silverstone." I was like, "What?"
Thanos
Because
said he
He
has
is
he's
the
time on
clutching
his
most.
at
hand.
straws. That's why.
He's always thinking. He's always got his thinking cap
Said,
on. He's one of the smartest man.
Thanos said he has time on his hand to remember
Yeah,
all the
because
races,
what
so
was
he
he
won't be
doing? He was
driving.
just. It's not like he was
But
competing.
He
Kingsley,
was
he
not
knows
winning
everything that's
anything.
going on
So.
though. He's always switched on.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, but
the point.
actually,
Because he
for
has
him to
all
be
the time in the
specific
world to
about
do
the
that. He
race,
wasn't challenging
Fair.
for anything.
he's,
So in his
no,
spare times,
on a
he
more
can
serious
find
note,
these things out.
for him to remember the specific race and the year, I
But
think
that was
I could
last
give
year
him
it
commendation
happened.
with that.
It's not like it was 10 years ago.
Yeah,
It was just
Yeah,
last
fair.
year.
But for that
the
to be the
presence
first
of
thing,
mind to
and
remember
people normally
what
start
happened.
swearing like go mental like then
Yeah,
you say that, but he just straight away.
Yeah,
he was telling his pit wall, go back, tell them what happened. We've seen precedents before. They can't do that. And yeah, in a way, it's actually played
yeah.
into
Well,
what he did
screw
after.
Alonso. His car should have blown up. That's what should have happened. He shouldn't have finished the race. Talks too much.
I don't like the guy at all. He seems to suffer from short term memory. He says one thing today, the next day he says something else.
He praised Lewis in his interview
Yeah, he
though.
said he
Got to
drove
give him
well.
that.
And then the
Sorry.
day
What we
before,
have
he
to do?
said
What,
Lewis was
Paddy?
only winning because it was the fast car.
Paddy, what did you say we have to
So
do?
no,
Yeah, he said
actually,
the
I'm going
day
to take that
before.
back. So no, in his interview, he said, "Yeah, Lewis done an incredible job," which I thought, "Oh wow, really?
And okay,
He just said that."
I will quote
I
the
thought,
final
"Wow,
part.
that's unbelievable for him to come out and
I
say
will
that."
quote the final part. He said Lewis did a very good job. And the last part, he said, in the 58th lap, he only made one mistake in turn 13 of so. I'm like, why do you have to bring that in? How many mistakes did you yourself make? You made a mistake from the
But
start.
he's right though. Lewis did drive well, though, isn't it? Like even
Look,
there was a
man,
time where
I don't want no praise from. I'd rather take praise from my work, the devil, than have Alonso praise me. Because that's
Yeah, but
empty
the
praise.
reason why he's praising him is to make
Exactly,
himself look
Alonso
even
doesn't do
better.
anything.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's the ulterior motive. He wants
nah,
to
you
make
guys are
it look like
overthinking it,
exactly.
he
man.
has a better car. That was why he beat him. The day before, he said Lewis has weaknesses. That in a normal car, he has been exposed. And then Lewis beats him to fourth place in the qualifier, and he said, people are just saying Mercedes is not fast. That car is actually very fast. I'm like, no.
Nah, I
You just said
think
the car is a
today's
normal car.
comments, you guys are overthinking it, man. Like maybe
No,
just
we're not
actually genuinely
overthinking
thinks that Lewis
nothing
could have
because
won.
No, we're
I'm
not
not.
overtaking
I'm
it.
not taking. I'm not taking nothing Alonso says towards Lewis as praise as him actually meaning it, because
No, he
because
doesn't mean it.
historically he has said far worse shitty shit.
Worse
I mean,
things.
and then he
Yeah.
has to jump to Twitter to apologize. Remember what he said?
Yeah.
Remember
Belgium last year. Yeah.
Remember what he said at Spa last, and Lewis had to put out that tweet to kind of like, yeah, bitch,
Yeah.
sit your ass down. I'm still your daddy.
Shut
Yeah,
up.
that was a
Shut
bit
up.
deep though. That crossed the line.
Look, I know.
Don't say stuff like
Alonso is for Alonso.
Hmm.
Alonso is for Alonso, and when he made that statement about normal car, people like, oh, he's only saying that to get his sponsors more recognition. I'm like, what? When has Alonso ever
No,
given
it's
two
not
shits
possible.
about his sponsors? And furthermore,
Sponsors, he doesn't.
Aston Martin is the feel good story of the season so far. They get
He
enough.
basically called the Red Bull engine a GP2 engine, a car he was driving. The guy doesn't care about sponsors. He cares about himself and his
I
own.
don't know, man. I don't know. All right, who's this? Who's Teague? You don't have a profile picture. You're here to troll us. What's up, Teague? Or you
Nah,
follow me, so
nah,
you
nah,
can't be
nah.
a bad
I'm not
person.
here.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not here to troll.
Okay, what's up?
Yeah, I love India. I'm loving the Alonso criticism. Honestly, I am not a fan of Alonso, and I think that he's still bitter from 2007 when he would have been beaten by Hamilton, who was a rookie at that point. So, like, I don't know. I don't know why he's still bitter at this point, and I realize that he's quite destructive as a driver. He comes into a team, and if he doesn't get his way, it could be like you see the consequences of it. He's constantly complaining on the radio. He always whining. He's very negative in interviews. You could see you start to see it. So I don't know why he is still on the grid. Honestly, he's a really good driver, but in terms of having him in your team, like you have to start thinking, oh well, when would the problems start to show up?
Okay, put it this way:
When would the problems start?
driving wise, cool. You can have him on the grid because
Yeah, good
we're not
driver.
gonna deny that he's not one of the best drivers out there. So you can have him on the grid. But as a person in himself,
He's a
is somebody I do
completely
not like.
flawed
I
human
don't.
being.
His
Yeah.
personality is not. It's not something that you can gravitate. What do you call it?
Gravitate
Gravitate
towards. Yeah.
towards. It just
Exactly,
there's
but
something about him that just riles you. I don't know.
It just rubs you the wrong way.
Something
Yeah.
about him just screams
yeah,
racism, and I don't. Yeah.
He is pained that Lewis's career is a version of F1 career he wish he had, and that eats at him every day because every time he sees Lewis is a reminder
yeah.
of his failure in F1 beyond the
You,
32 title he has won, and that's just where his hatred
And
for Lewis comes from. Everything Lewis does, he
not
tries
only
to make
that,
him
I
better.
feel how it is.
did we hear what he said about Seb?
Oh yes,
Yeah,
that's okay. I think that was I
fucking
think it was
idiot.
a tongue in the cheek moment, but he actually said it.
Yeah,
I think it was a tongue in
Alonso down
cheek
the tongue in
kind of
cheek,
stuff.
dude.
Oh no,
He meant
it
that
was.
shit.
What did he say about Seb? I
He
missed that.
said something about.
Oh, he simply said he doesn't think Seb would have developed the
yeah, like
car as fast as it is right now. Yeah, I don't think he said that to mean it that way, but it was a direct quote. I can see why people think he mean. I don't think he meant it. He was
Why
just
would
okay,
tongue
he
in cheek
clearly meant
moment.
it that way.
why
You know what I mean?
why you mean you
What?
don't think he
Probably
meant it?
Clearly, clearly.
if it's Alonso, if
It,
it's
if
Alonso, he probably
here's
meant
why
it. But
here's why I think he
he's just
didn't mean
not a
it.
nice person. He's not a nice person. When they talked about him not being on the grid, it was saying like what advantage would he bring to a team? He would get some good performances, but as soon as his teammate starts performing well, you're gonna start to have some serious problems. Like let's be real here. Like Lance Stroll, he's a good driver, but is he a driver that is like championship material?
Uh,
No. Like if he had another championship material driver in there, it would have been problems, and then it would have been problems that would have gone through the entire team. So to me, like I think he's a good fit for Aston Martin right now because he's the best driver on Aston Martin. But like if Aston Martin wants to move up, like then again they're not gonna move up because Lance Stroll is gonna be stuck there in that
I
position.
mean,
So maybe
Lance
that's the
can't get
best fit for
fired.
him on the grid.
Lance can't get fired. So
He can't
oh,
get fired.
Thanos, you asked
But
me why did I say he didn't mean it. Here's why. There is no way Alonso will believe that him coming into this car this year is what has developed it. This
Really?
car was already in
Really?
development by the
Really?
time
In 2007, in
said
2007, when he joined Mercedes, McLaren,
Mercedes,
he
yeah.
said, "I bring what was it? I sign and I bring half a second in performance with me." So why
Yes.
you think he's not going to take credit for where they are now?
If he was talking about himself as a driver, I don't think Alonso believed
Really?
that
What?
he's the one.
Kingsley?
Yes.
Kingsley?
Wait. No, no,
Kingsley?
no, 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 no. Thanos, listen now. Let
Alonso
me
is
finish.
one
Let
of
me
the
finish.
most arrogant men on the grid. He may
Kingsley?
not put it
Let me
across
finish.
in
Let me
every
finish. I
single
don't think
interaction, but
Alonso
he's
believed that
very,
he is
very
the one
arrogant.
Okay, two
pulling.
people
I
talking
don't
at the
believe
same time.
Alonso. Yeah, I don't think Alonso believed that he's the one pulling out 7/10 of a
Really?
second in that. If you listen to if you listen to his conference, his radio, he always say the car is super, the car is massive to drive, the car is good.
Yeah.
That means he's not. Yeah, because he's not pulling a 1 second ahead
No,
of
it's not.
Lance Stroll, for example.
He's gonna take take responsibility for the direction it's gone in and its leap in performance. That's what we're saying. We're not talking about anything else.
No,
He's gonna
no,
want to
my
take
point.
credit for it.
If you think Alonso thinks that
Yes, I do think that
after the
because
first
he's
3 race,
arrogant.
it is him that brought.
He's
If Alonso,
arrogant
okay,
because he's arrogant enough.
and then
He's
okay,
arrogant
I don't
enough.
think
He's an
I don't think
arrogant
it's
enough
that
person
delusional.
to actually do and believe that. That's why I believe he
I don't
made.
think it's that. I don't think it's that
So,
delusional to think that
Kingsley,
after
I'm
three
starting.
races,
You
he's the
starting
one
to
that developed
concern me
that
now.
car.
You know, I'm getting very concerned. First it was Max. First it
I
was
don't.
Max. Now it's
I don't.
Alonso.
I don't
Look,
believe.
man.
I don't want to think he's that arrogant to think
Look,
that
man.
3 races
Kingsley,
after he's the one that developed
you
the car
starting
to
to
this
concern me.
point.
First it
No,
was Alonso.
I
Now
don't think
Max.
he's gonna say it.
No, something's going on. What's wrong with you?
That
No.
I don't think he's in the space where he could say it right now because in terms of performances he hasn't like I feel like later down in the season if you get more consistent performance like another set of consistent performances, another set of podiums, he's
Yeah,
gonna
he can
start
lay
talking
claim to
about
that.
himself.
Yes.
But right now he's not gonna say it. He's not gonna say it because it would
Yes.
be
No.
ridiculous to
On a
say it.
more serious note, listen to that. Just read it. I don't think he was
No, I
serious.
think
He
he's
he
sick.
said him the right. No,
I'm not giving Alonso no benefit of doubt. If somebody committed a
he
murder and
said
I
it with
saw the
the
person who
right.
committed it, and they say it's Alonso, I'm gonna say it's Alonso. Sorry, I'm not giving him no benefit of. If he's accused
He
of
said it
murder,
with the
if
right
he's accused of
mind.
murder and they even found the person who did it, I'm gonna say it's Alonso. I'm not giving him no benefit of no goddamn doubt.
Okay, I
I
see
would
what
say
you're
that
doing
Max
now.
helped him as well. That's what I would say. I would say
I'm
that
not
Max
giving
helped him.
Alonso no benefit of no doubt. He's arrogant.
No,
He's
in this case,
arrogant
I'm
enough
giving
of a
him the credit.
person to actually mean what he said.
It was an eye roll moment, Thanos. It wasn't something
Kingsley
he actually
is
meant.
arrogant. He's that arrogant a person that he meant it.
Well, if he actually meant what he
Even it was
said,
an eye roll, he meant it. He
yeah.
meant that
Yeah.
shit.
If he actually believed what he said, then he's more delusional
But
than I think. I don't think. He actually, yeah.
It's kind of definite that he's delusional. He's not one of the nicest persons on the grid. He's very arrogant. It's clear, and
Yeah.
he's a bit immature in my
I
opinion.
don't
Because as
think.
soon as he doesn't get his way, he just toss all his toys
Yeah,
up the
but
pram
the
and
situation Alonso is
as he
in
see
right
fit.
now, I don't think Lance Stroll Senior is the sort of person you'd want to piss off. That man looks like a supervillain. I don't think. I don't
Yeah,
Lance
think.
Stroll
I don't
himself?
think. I don't. I think if there ever comes a point where the two of them actually collide, it's not going to be favorable for Alonso because that man looks like he does not.
You can see that. You can see that the way Alonso appeals to Lance Stroll, he's doing this mentorship, friendship. He's trying to build a relationship because he knows if he gets on his bad side, he can just tell his daddy to kick him out of
No,
it,
I
and
don't
he
think.
doesn't
I
want
don't think
that.
he. I don't think he can tell him
No.
that. I don't think he can tell him to do that. That's not going to
No,
happen.
because he could actually tell his dad, look, I don't want Alonso in this team
Yeah, I
anymore,
don't
and I
think his
don't know.
dad's going to do that. Alonso just had 3 straight podiums. There's no way he's going to tell him that. There's no way he's going to tell him that.
But Alonso is actually going out of his way to make Lance Stroll this. He's asking, oh, hi, is he okay? What I mean, it's too nice, and that's not an Alonso on a normal day. That's what I'm saying. He doesn't play nicety, but in this
It's
current
performative. It's
dispensation,
all
he's just too
It's
nice.
performative, dude.
That's what I'm saying. He wants to be in the good grace of Lance. That's what I'm
Exactly.
saying. It's
Yeah,
just too
which
nice,
is my point.
you
He's
know.
not gonna. He doesn't want to knock go head head on collision with Stroll Senior because that man looks like
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
just. Yeah, he'd probably eat your kids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's not gonna mess with Alonso being typical Alonso. So maybe Aston Martin is the best spot for him.
Well, it's the only spot for him.
Maybe
It was
it's
the only spot for him.
It was the only
yeah,
spot.
but I mean, like it wasn't a case where he just it was yes, you could say their drivers are moved to any spot on the grid because it's an opportunity. But yes, it's an opportunity for Alonso, but at the same time, it's still a good fit where Alonso can't be full Alonso.
It was the only team
So
that gave him more than a 1 year contract. So it was basically the money.
This is which is why I think if he's going to disrespect Seb, it's not allowed, shouldn't be allowed, because if Seb hadn't decided he was going to step aside, Alonso would probably still be in
There
the
was no
Alpine.
space for Alonso there.
He was probably going to still be.
And with a 1 year contract on his head.
He
Yeah.
would still be. Actually, I don't think he'd have been in the Alpine. I think they were going to replace him with Piastri because they weren't willing to keep.
No, they gave him. They offered him a 1 year.
Yeah. Okay. Then when they really would.
Yeah, they offered him a 1 year. He didn't want. He wanted multiple year. And then when Aston Martin came with more than 1 year, he just took the opportunity.
yeah, honestly, like when I see Alonso, like once I see him being successful, I just feel bad for Seb because he was like, damn, you left right before this team started to improve, and I think they started to show a little bit of pace last season as well. But then he decided to
Yeah.
leave, so it was like, oh man, and because I like Seb, like I'm a Lewis fan, but outside of Lewis, I just love Seb. He's one of the nicest guys on the grid.
Yeah, the grown
Well,
up
was
said.
one of the nicest guys on the grid. So like I enjoyed having him around in the sport. So like
Yeah,
seeing him leave,
if
it just
Pep knew that
it's
this car
heartbreaking
was
for me.
going to be this competitive, I don't think he would have retired yet.
No. I don't like Seb isn't an individual that wants to be at the back of the grid or
Yeah.
fighting for the or trying to fight for podiums here and there. Like he needed a competitive car, but Ferrari just wasn't the space for him. Honestly, it just wasn't the
No,
space.
but let's be frank. He actually messed up that 2018,
You,
2019 second. Yeah,
you said he messed up.
yeah, he messed up that. Seb would have won that championship, at least one of them, basically. With
Yeah,
Ferrari and his illegal engine, he should have
No,
won
he
one of
could. He
them.
wasn't going to win 2019, but he should have 2017 or 18.
2018 is what
17
I'm.
or 18.
2018, yeah.
You know what I mean? He probably should have won one of those
Yeah,
championships. But
yeah.
I guess any other driver he probably would have. But you know.
No, not every rider. Maybe
no, no,
Louis.
no. I don't think so. I don't think so. Because
I
you guys
guess
were
any
talking
other
about
driver.
Ferrari and I was
Any
listening.
other driver in
Um,
2017, 18, Seb would have won that
Okay,
championship.
yes. Against any other driver,
Yes,
yes.
he
Okay,
would have
okay.
won.
Yes. He would have
But
won,
it's
yeah.
just
It was
unfortunate
just
that
I think
yeah.
it was against Louis. Yeah.
But anyway,
one it was against Lewis. Two, like he didn't really have the support internally from
Now,
Ferrari.
did you know some of the, have you not seen some of the high profile mistake he made? Come on,
yeah.
it's not.
Yeah, he made mistakes, but the thing about it is that for you to win a championship, in my opinion, this is just my opinion. For you to win a championship, you need the team behind you.
But why wasn't the team was?
And
But the team was
The
behind
team,
him. Why
the
did the
team
team
was behind
start to
him
move from
100%.
behind him?
the team
In fact,
the
they were
team wasn't
sacrificing
the,
Kimi's
the
race
team
for
wasn't really
Seb.
behind him because when Seb came in, Seb would have came in. I can't remember all the individuals who were there when he came in, but a lot of those individuals got fired
No.
No,
after after
Aris
Seb.
was still there when Seb was there. I don't.
So I don't think Seb had you. So Seb was fighting internally against
Who is he fighting
the
against?
No,
politics of Ferrari and externally in a championship. So
I don't agree with
Who
like,
that.
was he fighting against internally?
so,
Because that team basically
Exactly.
they brought him in to be.
He
He
was.
was
In
supposed to
fact,
be
they were
Michael
actually
Schumacher Part
ruining.
Two.
They were ruining Kimi's race for him. They were actually. You could tell that it was Seb. It was all in on Seb, and Kimi was just there as a supporting cast at the end of the day.
yeah, he was.
No,
But
I
I
don't.
don't know. I just don't think that he had the support
No,
internally that he needed. Like
I think the
it
support.
started well,
Nah,
but then it went downhill
I
after
think the
that.
support started to wane
he
from
had enough
Seb.
support to win the
It started
championship.
to wane
Yes,
from Seb after what happened in probably Germany.
Germany. Yeah, Germany was
I
where
think then it started to
then.
wane, and then you go into 2019 where he basically just started to spin every and
Yes, starts spinning
anywhere. You know what I
around.
mean? So I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I blame the car for that. I don't blame
Oh
Seb
come
for the
on!
spinning.
Oh god!
Seb.
Who's driving the car?
Seb
Who's driving the car?
Seb is a very emotional driver.
The
Who's
car
driving the
had a
car?
mind of its own,
Who's
Tano.
driving the car?
The car had a mind
So
of
what?
its
The
own,
car is Knight
Tano. It
Rider.
has a mind of its own.
Seb is a very emotional driver as well. So like when he is out of it emotionally, like you can tell when his head isn't there. You could really tell when his head isn't there. So something could set him off, and then you can have a poor performance. I don't think that he's like that headstrong as a driver.
I don't know.
That's just so.
I don't know. I don't know. Well, that's if you feel, then that's a big problem, there, isn't it?
It's a big problem, yes. If you cannot
Yeah,
come back from
it's a big
advantage.
problem for Seb. Like you see it in races, you see it in the interviews after. You could tell when Seb is in a really good mood, and you could tell when Seb is in a bad mood. He speaks very well. He's very intelligent, so is something that is difficult to read. But you could tell his overall mood. You could tell.
Seb's the first German I've seen that's actually funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a way, in a manner of speaking.
But either way, I don't think the situation with Seb was. I think the team started to kind of like wane from him after what happened in the 17 and 18, especially 18. That's why they went out. That's why they went out and they got Charles.
Yeah.
Because they needed to like, we need to start put a succession plan in place because
building for the future, succession plan. Yes.
This dude doesn't seem to be it. Because I mean, we've given him equipment. Granted, in 2018, Ferrari, I remember they brought that at one point. The second half of the season was 17 or 18. They literally had to take off all the upgrade parts that they brought to the car because the shit wasn't working, and they couldn't figure out why it wasn't working. So Ferrari in itself wasn't blameless in this whole departure.
No, they weren't blameless, but it wasn't as if they didn't have the equipment. Some of the mistakes Vettel made.
I don't know. For Ferrari,
that took him out of points. Yeah, so in a way, it kind of affected the direction of the championship.
Seb cost himself more points than Ferrari themselves. I mean, the races we can think of, I can think of probably off the top of my head, probably 2 races where Ferrari let him down. Malaysia 2017, I think it was, where both Ferraris had had some engine issues. And that weekend, Seb looked like he had the pace to win the race, and he went into qualifying, and I think something failed. Malaysia, and I think it was then in Japan, Suzuka, he had another engine issue again. So there were moments where Ferrari let him down. But if you look at in terms of points lost,
and that Malaysia race, he actually came out fourth. He qualified last and then came fourth in the classification.
He would have won that race had he not had those issues in qualifying. He had an issue. Yeah.
Yes, was it quality? Yes.
So to be fair to Ferrari, I think Ferrari was far more competent then than it is now.
Far more what?
As a team.
When has Ferrari been
competent?
The last time Ferrari was competent.
No, I mean I said far more competent.
There.
I say like compared to the other teams on the grid, Ferrari will always be.
You're comparing Ferrari against Ferrari now, yeah. Okay.
But if you're comparing it now to then, like they were far better. So like.
They were better then than now, yeah.
They're far better. Like some of the fuck ups that you see now, you wouldn't have seen back then. Like some of the things that Ferrari does know, you would like. You'll be so lost. Like, is this a team in Formula One?
I mean, you
get less of those moments.
You're late to the conversation. You're late to the conversation. We've actually discussed them because we just think it's a team. It's a dysfunctional team. It's a team that their biggest problem is they need to change the culture
themselves,
and they don't seem to be willing to change the culture. And for the culture to change, they need someone who's going to come in who's willing to change the culture. Not come in and not come in and paper over the cracks by moving a few people around and think, that should fix it. And that's not going to fix it. It needs more than that.
I agree there. I agree. What it would add is that they need to give that person control as well.
But that team would require somebody of strong will and a certain pedigree.
Yeah.
So who's that? Who's the person?
Pedigree is the word you are looking for, actually. Even if you have strong will, you don't have pedigree, I don't think they will listen to you. But if you're coming with a lot of pedigree, that should force them to rethink certain things. If you
look at the current grid right now, there's only 2 people who you could think could go into Ferrari and actually
Exactly.
change Ferrari.
TOTO and Christian.
Yeah, those. No, I mean,
TOTO
but
and
see,
Horner.
yeah, that's it. Who else are you gonna look at? There's no one there you can look at.
And Toto cannot leave his team, so only Honor can actually
Because
go
they
there.
not they
You
didn't
know,
work. Because I remember, someone said there was I remember, I think in 2020 I read an article that said that Christian Horner's job was on the line if they didn't win a championship.
in 2021
Win the
championship, yes.
one championship before the regulation changed, and there was apparently thought that Ferrari were trying to get him on board as team principal.
Yeah.
So who can really go into
If he got
Ferrari?
on board as team principal, so that would have been.
Who? So the question is, who can go on board, go into Ferrari, and actually change the Ferrari culture? I think
Ross
this.
Brown.
I've said it again. You're late to the space. It's too big of a job for Fred Vasseur. I just don't think he has the gravitas to do it. And like you said, Kingsley, pedigree. What pedigree is he bringing
Yeah.
in? He managed
Bringing into
a lower level team for the best part a couple of years
yeah.
that had relative to no success. So how are you expecting him to come in and turn around what is an institution? And you expect
That's a difficult situation
you're
because
expecting him to turn around that institution within a year.
It's not gonna happen. Not gonna happen.
yeah, and then you got two young talented drivers as well. Like that's
They
something that's
both
difficult
both
to deal with.
I think you can just say one. I don't think Science.
both of these drivers'
Who's the
talents
second
are
driver?
being wasted at Ferrari right now.
It's
Yeah,
only one talent that's been wasted. I don't think it's two.
I don't know. I don't
I
think
don't think
science
honestly I don't think that
science
is a
is
good team for
is a
for
Perez
sure.
level driver.
Exactly. So you can. It's Charles that I'm actually worried about, not Science. Science has already proven he has a ceiling somewhere. Like you said, he's the Perez level kind of driver. It's not. Charles is a different strat of driver, and his talent is being wasted at Ferrari. That's the driver there actually.
So science, Charles is in a screwed up situation. But part one of the space
Oh,
this morning, Kings, where I said 2025, Charles might be out of Ferrari.
I can see that
I don't
happening.
expect
If
Lewis to renew his
Lewis
contract
will
for
determine that market, I
2026.
can see that
I think
happening.
Lewis is done.
But he needs to.
Lewis is done with Formula One after 2025. So Charles is going to be on the market. Lando's going to be on the market.
Stranger things have
Yeah,
happened,
Yeah,
Sam.
Stranger Things, but this isn't a movie.
but
This is
I do
reality.
think
I
I do think the problem with Charles is that that team is so inconsistent. They don't provide a good car every
Yeah,
week.
but Charles
They
doesn't really
mess up the
help himself
But
strategy
either,
every
does
week.
he?
but Charles is not blameless
So,
here too. He's not blameless.
so no, but I mean, what I'm saying is that I think that he just needed a little bit of extra development. He needed to be in a car that's consistent so that he could work on his own consistency
But
and figure out what he needs in order to be consistent. I don't think that he could find that at
I
Ferrari.
don't think
The car
so.
that he put on the wall in Baku, what year was that? It wasn't as if the car was not consistent. He has mistakes in him. That's a given. It wasn't.
I
That's
think
not
that
the
was
car's fault.
20.
Granted, that Ferrari has that problem. Charles himself, as the driver, has his own mistakes still there, lurking to the point that if Charles is, I said this in the previous space that the day Ferrari did their unveiling for the car, the way Charles was driving that car, I was actually scared for just an unveiling because I was thinking he's going to bin it. He's going to bin it. You're not always sure what Charles is going to give you because there's at the back of your mind a mistake lurking somewhere that's going to just surface from. And he has to work on that first before we start, complaining about Ferrari. Yes, they have an issue
But you
as a
know
team,
what?
but
I think
Charles
if he
too,
had
he has an issue.
a stable platform, a stable
Yeah.
car that is consistent throughout, you'd probably say. Obviously, he has that one mistake in him that he's gonna make. He has that one
Yeah,
crucial mistake he's gonna make in the season.
Crucial is
I
the
mean,
word. Yeah.
he has
Yeah.
a France mistake in him. So you expect he's gonna make one of those. But outside of that, I think Charles has all the ingredients to be
To be a
to
world
be a world
champion.
champion. It's not even a.
Absolutely
I mean,
agree. I
He,
agree.
he,
he's
he is quick.
he's
He is
lethal
quick. He
over a
just
lap.
needs the consistency.
He's
Yeah,
lethal over
I
a
agree.
lap. And I think if you give him a
Yeah,
car, because 2019 he had seven straight poles. You
he was
give him a car.
dusting
You give him a car.
Vettel up
Exactly.
and
You give him a
down.
car that's consistent. That's has the pace. He's going to deliver. I think because
Yeah.
as he don't like when I say, but I think Charles is better than Max, but he's just not in a position to display that.
I don't think
Really?
so.
I think he's better than Max because
No.
I don't agree.
and I'm saying this. I'm not saying this because of my Max hate, but I think that
I,
he's better
I
than Max
dislike
because
Max. I don't think
he's a
Charles
better.
is not on
Let,
Max
let him go.
level
Let him go,
yet.
kid.
I don't
Let him
think so.
finish. Let him finish.
Yeah.
No, I think he races better overall. I don't think that Max knows how to race people, honestly. Um, and
The only
they will
person Max
complain
doesn't rate
throughout.
well is
The,
Lewis. I don't think he rates other people differently.
no, there's so many individuals that have complained about Max. Like Max just takes the car, puts it in a position where either you have to bail out or we're gonna crash. And that has been him for his entire career, and drivers have complained about it. The problem is that we're seeing it. We would have saw it more with Lewis, because this is a championship fight. So Lewis is not gonna back out. Like at one point you would see Lewis back
If
out or Seb back
if
out because
you
it's like, well, it's not worth it. But
if
now
you
you're
check
gonna see like
Max's
less
crash,
compromise.
if you check Max's crashes lately, it's not against other drivers, mainly against Lewis. So if you, for example, I remember Spain vividly when George ran, just caught into him in the lead and then took the lead. He didn't defend it that much. If that was a different driver, Max would basically, if it was a Lewis there, he would drive.
No, but he
I
has
can
gotten, he's definitely gotten more mature for sure as
no,
a
it wasn't
driver,
maturity.
because now
I'm talking about
he
that
is
same year.
thinking
In
like a
that same
championship
year,
driver.
okay, look at the race last year in Brazil, for example.
Hmm.
The only person he could crash into was Steve Lewis. Just imagine that. And then he said afterward, at least he didn't win the race or something to that effect. I can't remember vividly. So my point is, yes, you can say the way he drives, but I think when he becomes aggressive to the point that is borderline illegal, it's against Lewis, not against any other driver. Other drivers, he has great areas to move around. But on overall, I don't think Charles is better than him right now. I think Mans is still ahead of Charles.
Yeah,
Maybe if Charles had a car that can perform.
because Max has a car right now and a team functioning at such a level, it's you're not
Yeah,
gonna say Charles is better than him right now. But I think talent wise and everything, Charles has
he
it in
has it. Oh
abundance.
yes,
So
abundance.
you
He
so
has it.
you give
Yes.
him if Charles had a car like the Red Bull, you'd see what Max is doing is exactly what Charles would be doing, and probably be doing it would have made it look far more easier.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
only that, I think that in terms of if it was Charles against Lewis in a championship fight, we would have seen far less crashes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
absolutely. I agree. I agree
Charles
with
is a
that.
more mature driver,
And
and I
probably
think
Charles
that
will not
that's
have
what
won the
makes him
Charles
championship.
better
would have
than
still run
Max.
him off track a
He's
couple of
far
times.
more mature than Max.
Charles would have run him off
Yeah.
track a couple of times like he did in Monza 2019. But
Monza.
but
Yeah.
either way, you definitely see less crashes. But
Yeah,
Charles' problem is just he's in a team right now that it's dysfunctional. It doesn't have an
is
identity that you can say that they can
The
build on.
problem with that dysfunction is that this thing has been there for what 16 odd years
Oh,
now. So it's not as if you look back and say, okay, there was a time they were very good in recent memory, therefore that's why I'm doing X, Y, and Z. So it wasn't as if the driver. What I mean by that is the driver already knew this before they were committing those long-term 5-year deal, whatnot. Because Ferrari doesn't have a history recently to look back on and say, okay, they can ever actually deliver over a season a championship winning performance. They don't have it
how
in them.
old is
So
Charles?
in a way,
but where else would he go? Like where would Charles
Charles
go?
going
That
Mercedes in
like outside of
2025. At
Ferrari, where would he go?
2026, he's going to go Mercedes.
even if Charles didn't sign a long-term deal at Ferrari, I don't think his position was under any threat at all. Similar thing to Norris, for example.
Like the grid, like up until Lewis leaves, there really isn't any opportunity for him to
But
go
he
to a
can't go
top
anywhere
level
because
team.
he's tied into his
He's
contract for,
tied a
for
contract now.
Yeah, but I
So
2025.
mean,
what's he
like
going to
even
buy
at the
him
point
after?
where he would have signed out, even at the point where he would have signed out contract, like where would he have gone?
Well, nowhere.
Nowhere. Yeah.
There was nowhere for him to go. So like that's the point I'm trying to make. So he would be like Ferrari would have been the best decision for him. You're gonna have to see if he can move over to Mercedes, but the way how George is behaving currently at Mercedes, I don't know how Mercedes would deal with uh Charles and George situation.
Well, I mean, they dealt with.
They'll give them
I think they're in a
they'll
better
give them equal
I think they're
opportunity.
in a better position now to deal with it with two top drivers. I think 2016, what the Nico Rosberg era was, it was new to them. They didn't know how to deal with that. I think they know.
Yeah, he caught them
I think they're
unaware.
more
Yeah.
experienced. They can handle that situation now.
Yeah.
So I
I
don't think
think
they're
so,
worried
but at
about
the
that.
same time, the way how they're handling Lewis and George, I don't know, it is not giving me a whole set of confidence, honestly, because
Wow.
I honestly like, believe that the way how George is behaving, it doesn't indicate that there was a clear conversation between him and Toto or whoever else would have sat down and discussed the contract with him that hey, like Lewis is gonna be a number one, or Lewis is gonna have priority.
Mercedes doesn't do number one.
Yeah, and the thing about it is that I think that that's something that needs to be clear. Like George is definitely the
Yeah,
future of
There's
Mercedes, but
nothing.
I
but
think
There
that
is
right now,
nothing to
the,
clear. There is no
yeah,
number
but if
one
their
driver.
policy
They
is
don't
no
clear
number
that.
one driver, they've already
No number
been
one. So
very
there's
clear.
nothing
yeah,
to
I
clear
know
about
that
it.
their policy is no number one driver, but I think that that's gonna hurt them
How?
Why?
How?
in the long run
How?
because like
How?
I genuinely believe the way how he's behaving right now, and you could already see that there are cracks in the relationship between him and Lewis.
Not based on what? Based
Nah,
on
Like
nah. I
what?
think you're reading too much into it.
you could see it the way how Lewis is behaving in interviews. Like I think the last race, they asked him about George and his podium, and the way how he responded. To
I
me,
think
there you
I
can see
think too
No,
some.
much is
what he
being
said.
read.
I remember what he said there. He said they asked him about the podium, if he's happy about it. He not said yes, but it has nothing to do with him. That was not, and it's true. He didn't affect anything to
Yes,
make the
yes,
podium happen.
yes, it's true. But
Yeah,
the way how he like, I don't think that he would have answered that question in the same way if it
he
was
was already disappointed in that
if it
race.
was Bottas.
No, he would have still
Disappointed or
said,
not, I
He
don't think that he would have
definitely
answered the
wouldn't
same way
have.
if it was Valtteri.
If it was
I,
Valtteri, he wouldn't have said that.
He would not have said that. So the thing about it is that we can't we can't look at Lewis and expect him to behave in the same way that he would have behaved during the Rosberg era because he's a more mature person now and he's far more polished as well. He was polished before, but you could tell that he has perfected his craft in terms of interviews. But at
I
the end of
believe
the day, you could see that there low cracks forming in terms of their relationship. It was
Nah,
always just a professional
I
relationship from the
believe
jump.
if that
But I think
if
that you
Bottas
could
was
tell that
saying
they're
I believe if Bottas was saying that team and they have this kind of shitty car, the way it happened that day, Lewis would have said the exact same thing. That's
I
just
don't
it.
know.
I don't
I
think
think
so.
there's too much being read, and I don't think there's no crack in the
Yeah, there's too
relationship.
much
I
being read
mean,
into it. Yeah.
we're listening to radio conversations in a very pressurized environment, and sometimes I don't know. I don't want to come as sensual, but
I don't know. I think I don't think I'm reading it too much. I think that the relationship is changing,
I, you,
and
you-
I
I
don't know.
don't.
I think the
I
relation.
think
I think
no, no.
at
You
present,
can't say that. It's not changing. What has changed
I
exactly?
think at
What has
present they're
changed
not challenging for a championship. So I don't
exactly?
see.
They're not challenging
So I don't
anything.
see why there needs to be any
Well,
tension
exactly.
between
It's
the
not
two
like
of them
two of them
because
are fighting for pole position and wins now. They're not fighting. They're fighting for fourth and fifth at best, or maybe third or fourth.
they
So
are. But and like as you can see today, there were a whole set of complaints now that the car has been competitive, like even slightly more competitive than it was before. So I don't know. I'm seeing something here.
I think the complaint was overblown by what people were hearing. If you listen to George in that conversation with his driver, it was clear what he was saying. But the way it came out, it was as if he was saying Lewis is pushing him. He didn't have a full picture of what was happening behind Lewis. He wasn't told that. He was just told the gap to Lewis every time, and they were telling him to look out for his front left. And then all of a sudden, Lewis is on DRS zone and he's challenging him. And then he had to tell Marcus, look, don't tell me to manage because my teammate is pushing, and then I should be pushing. Just leave me alone. And in a way, he's right actually, because if he had a full picture of what was happening around Lewis, I don't think he would be saying that. He would say, okay, he understand why Lewis was pushing because Mass was on his rear at every point of that track, so he had to push the way he was pushing. So I don't think anything has happened to our relationship until they have a car that is competing for wins and pole position. Then you can then say, okay, is there actually a rift there or not? But right now, I think it's a stretch to think there's something untoward with what is happening between them. I don't think it's a stretch. Something like that is happening.
I don't think that you have to wait for
Hello.
a champion to be challenging for the front of the grid for that to happen. I don't think so.
Yeah,
Lewis cannot be
You see
fighting.
tensions between
Lewis
drivers
cannot be
when they're
fighting.
struggling at the bottom. So
Lewis cannot be fighting George in fifth and sixth position and be making a fuss about it. That is just too. It's too
I
low a
mean,
position to be
even
killing us.
last year, Lewis, I can't remember the race where they said something. He's like, I don't really care. I think they asked him about the qualifying and George being
Yeah,
ahead of him in the championship. He's like, I don't really care. It's
I
not
don't
like
really
we're
care
fighting
about it.
for wins or
We're
anything
fighting for wins.
like that.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
to him, it's
yeah,
kind of
but
like it's pointless.
to me, I'm seeing, I'm honestly seeing a shift in terms of the attitude of Lewis. I don't know if it's maybe
You're
it's
reading
something
too
Lewis
much.
is
else.
an
You're reading too
Lewis is
much
an
into it.
elder statesman. He goes about his business in a
Yeah.
different manner to
He's
everybody else.
earned the right to say whatever he think. I think you're reading too much into the body language and all that. The guy is not competitive. Lewis is. I mean, anybody will be pissed off.
Lewis
But
focuses about
you don't need a competitive car in order for there to be
yeah,
some sort of tension.
but you also have to but
You
yeah,
could have, like, this is a new place for Lewis as well,
what new
so it
place?
could
Oh yes,
be.
you need, in Lewis's case, you need a competitive car because that's what he's
When you
been
say
used
new
to.
place for Lewis, what do you mean?
Exactly.
I mean, like, a car performing
Kingsley.
on this level,
The
because
guy,
this car
the
is
guy,
just not competitive
Yeah,
at
but it's
all.
not the first time he's driven a car that's not
he
competitive.
drove a McLaren that was useless than this one. So
He
it's
was
like,
at McLaren for what? 7 till 12,
8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's 5 years of plus or something like
mm,
that.
Yeah.
5, 6 years. So I mean, it's
Kingsley.
not new. Who's that? You keep saying Kingsley.
Yeah,
It's
I
Anne.
see some hands up, so I was step back.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, let's go to the hands.
Hi.
Let's get in the hands.
All right, go on, Anne.
It's hello. Hi.
Hello.
I agree. I mean, George should. Hello, George should. Learn a lesson. Today he said about Hamilton being chased by him. It's not something that if has to learn
And
that
we're working.
it's going to have
Your
it and
connection
he's
is
going to
not
quit.
that great.
The connection is a bit.
Your connection is not
It's
that
not
great.
good.
You might have to
Yeah.
drop out and come back in.
Yes. Drop out and
All right,
come back again. Yes. Go
Clinton,
ahead.
what's up?
Hey, fellas. Thanks for having me on. A couple of takeaways. First of all, Lewis Hamilton really did look like the Lewis Hamilton everybody remembers. The race and the challenge he was having with Alonso was one of the best moments of the season, not just for him, but I would argue also for Alonso. And if you see the interview with Alonso afterwards, in the post-race, Alonso said, and I'm paraphrasing him here, Lewis was driving like the champion that he is. So that was pretty cool to hear Alonso say that.
Really?
Late to this
Really?
conversation.
The
We don't
bar
Yeah,
like
is
that.
really low.
I don't
The
believe.
bar is really low, man.
well,
The bar
listen,
is on the ground.
Yeah.
like Alonso, I
The
know.
bar
It's
is
a
on the
low
ground.
hanging fruit.
Let
Uh,
him get his word,
Yeah,
man.
so
Let him get his
I
word.
thought Lewis looked good. I think unfortunately though, uh, that this really is Red Bull's championship to win. I mean, if we look at Carlos
to
starting in the
win?
very back of the pack,
To
like to
lose.
lose.
To
That's
Sorry,
lose.
I apologize. Yeah. If we look at Checo, how he just sort of sliced his way through the field and eventually finished fifth, and everybody
Yeah,
knows how
but
Verstappen did. I mean, the Red
let's
Bulls
add
are.
some context to that though, man. I think he benefited more than anybody else from the safety cars.
from the safety cars. Yeah.
Let's put into context because he started from
Yeah.
the
He
pit
wasn't
lane.
really making much
I
progress.
think
Yeah.
had there been the standardized race, no safety car or anything like that, he probably would have naturally he would have finished in the top 10, but wouldn't have finished
Top 10, but
P5.
not that high
Wouldn't have
up.
finished
Yeah.
that high up.
Not that high.
So
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
was the biggest beneficiary of the safety cars.
Well, I mean,
I
Checo
agree.
ran the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah.
So again, I'm not
Was it? Was he or was it Max?
No, Checo was awarded the fastest lap of the
The
race.
fastest
Okay.
lap. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, he finished fifth. So it really is. I mean, the Red Bull cars, unfortunately, are kind of in a league of their own. I wish
For
that
now.
wasn't the case.
For now.
Yeah. For now, they are.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I thought it was
Was
good,
it just me?
and
Steve,
I
hold
am
on.
getting a little bit
I'm
tired
sorry. Go.
of I'm getting a little bit tired of some of Russell's backhanded, whining, sort of just his facial expressions, his cadence, his pitch, and his voice. It is actually starting to annoy me.
That's how he talks. Oh God.
Yeah, I don't know. I've picked up on it this season, and I noticed it from time to time last season. But listen, he wants to win, so I understand that. And you know what? Great for Lance Stroll. To me, he's kind of the surprise of this season. If anyone had said to me that Lance would be sort of racking up points the way that he has during the summer break, I would have laughed, and I never would have believed it.
Why?
But, because I always had a little bit of doubt about Lance. But he, for me anyways, he seems to have really kind of stepped into his own here this season. Anyways, I'll place myself on mute while listening to everybody else.
I think Lance gets a bad rep because of the daddy situation, daddy billionaire situation.
I agree.
But I think Lance is not as bad as I've defended him before and said, look, I don't think he's as bad a driver as people make him out to be. I think he's better than Tsunoda. I think he's.
So you can't be comparing. You can't be comparing Lance and Tsunoda. I think the only reason why he's in F1 is because his father.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So he just has the unfortunate situation of being linked with his dad being a billionaire and buying a team. Yeah. But if you're looking on talent, I think he's better than Tsunoda. I think he's better than Zhou. Guan Yu Zhou. I think
everybody's better than
he's better than Sargent. So. You
can't reach Sargent right now. You can't reach Sargent.
Okay, fair enough. He's a rookie, but I think Stroll is better than people give him credit for. But he just has that unfortunate tag that his dad bought the team that he's driving for. So obviously they're going to say, well, he's only there because his dad bought the team. But you have to remember when he what age did he join Williams? How old was he when he joined Williams? I can't remember, but
forget that. I mean,
he didn't perform that. He didn't perform that badly when he was at Williams. Sure, I think
even when he was super young, he was part of the Ferrari driving academy.
Yeah,
so he's always been a great driver.
Yeah, the thing is, I think now he has a better car. You're actually seeing him perform at a better level. But you can see his talent isn't good enough to win championships. But his talent is good enough to keep him on the grid.
You know he's like to me Ocon.
Oh no, hold on, T. I don't know. I think Ocon might be a little bit better.
Ocon is a little bit better, but like when I think about Ocon, I don't think like he can win a championship. Like I just think that Ocon is a good driver to have in your team on the grid, and he could get you some points here and there, and he may get you a podium once or twice. But I don't think that he's like championship level. So that's what Lance Stroll reminds me of. But I think he's kind of underrated in the sense of the daddy money situation.
Yeah, people aren't willing to give Lance Stroll the benefit of the doubt simply because of who his father is and the fact that the team he's driving for, he has a seat for life until he decides he wants to go. All right, hold it. All right, Sean C, what's up?
Oh, hi, Thanos. Hi, Kingsley. How are you guys? You all right?
Yeah, well, I'm all right.
Yeah, hope everyone is okay. And, did you guys manage to have a good sleep after? Or
sleep is for the week, man. Sleep is for the week.
It was morning my time, so it was easy.
Sleep is for the week.
Yeah. Anyway, a few things I want to touch on or ask on or talk about really. Somebody sent a tweet about the average race pace to Red Bulls today. It actually seems as if Ferrari was second quickest car today on race pace, just 2.25 away, followed by Aston Martin's 2.55, and Lewis today was in the fourth fastest car, just 2.75 away, which just shows you how good it's done today. Considering you.
Can you share?
Oh yeah, I saw the tweet. I saw the tweet.
Yeah,
but I think that's a bit hard to judge given
to read it
given that we had so much stoppages and so on.
Stops and starts and stops and starts and stops and starts. Yeah.
It did show though at some stage, where Carlos was really coming after Gasly and stuff. I could see that
No, the moment
Ferrari
he passed
pacing, man.
Gasly, he couldn't even move forward.
This is it. So I don't know if Alonso's Delta A affected him as much as Hamilton Delta A was affecting Alonso. Does that make
But
sense?
Alonso didn't get.
No,
Only once did
it didn't.
Alonso get within DRS zone of Lewis, and that was
Of Lewis, yeah.
after he got passed by Max. I think 2 laps later he got within DRS zone. I think the closest he got was about 8 to 9 tenths, but then immediately that went back
Yeah.
up to over a second. Didn't get any
Lewis
closer then.
was just what after Max passed, Lewis was trying to manage his tire. I was on Lewis's on board most of the time. He was trying to manage his tire.
Okay.
And then when he told him that Alonso was in his DRS zone, he had to just opt his space. And you could see Lewis always respond when Alonso is coming to within 1 second of his time delta. So Lewis had him covered because the only thing Lewis was afraid of was if the tire was going to last to the end because the distance was a bit much higher than that.
Oh, Lawrence said Lawrence
It was satisfying
hold
to
on.
see him
Lawrence
beat
said
Alonso.
going back to
Just
George
want to put that in.
going back to George slightly. Lawrence said the cadence in George's voice is entitlement.
Oh, that is too much. Okay, that's a stretch, man.
I mean, they say he's a Tory, so Tories tend to be entitled to act entitled anyway. So, but anyway, go back, Sean. I give you back the mic.
that's all right. That's an interesting one, by the way, with George Russell. Now, I just hope the fans don't give him too much stick. I know he's been saying some weird stuff lately. Like I know today he said something like we could have won the race.
Yeah, he did. I don't know.
How he
I think
expects
he was.
to be not Verstappen on that.
I think he was. I think he was thinking he could win the race if he was racing by himself. That's the only race he was going to win.
No, he hasn't seen Max space yet. I think because he jumped Max from the start.
I see.
He was thinking, oh,
I see.
he cannot. If he watched this race
He
again,
would know.
he would know
No
he
way.
doesn't have a chance.
No way.
There was no way he was going to
Max
win.
like I said, Max was going to pass him and Lewis on the same straight with DRS.
Absolutely.
On the same straight, yes. He has a pitch to do
double
that.
overtake, yeah.
With DRS. Yeah, with DRS. Max would still passing with DRS, even if he had DRS. That car was that fast. Yeah.
The last bit I wanted to just touch on, just coming off, Lewis and George and Max and all the rest of the guys. I'm slightly worried for Nick DeVries. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, he hasn't looked good so far, man. He hasn't looked good at all. I mean, I expected him to come in and kind of like put a marker down on Yuki, but so far Yuki has had him covered. So he hasn't looked good so far.
Just one point.
I mean, but it's not just the point. 1 point, is it? Yuki has been ahead of him in all the races so far.
But that today's race he was affected by that clip with I think Ocon was it where he lost his front wing part of it.
Yeah, but even so, he got out qualified by Yuki, didn't he not?
Yeah,
so Yuki,
it's just 3 races. Let's cut him some slack.
No, I'm not giving him a hard time.
I know it's only 3 races.
It doesn't look good for him so far.
Yes.
I expected him to come in and kind of like show Yuki a clear set of heels, but Yuki is showing that
I still believe over the course of the season he will come out good.
You can only hope so now.
Well, I mean, he has to.
The car did though. The car isn't particularly a good car, so could not be a factor in there.
Yeah, but even if it's not a good car, you're still supposed to be trying.
You need to work with what you got. Exactly. Yeah.
You're still supposed to at least try and beat your teamate. Be some form of show something. Because so far he's consistent. Three races, and he does, and it's not like he's within touching distance of Yuki. I need to look up the results in the.
It was just today,
11th. I'm gonna look more closely at it because it could be quite possible that he might be tossed out.
Yeah, that's my.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think.
If he's really off the pace. But if he is really off the pace and then he continues to be really off the pace, then he might not last. So
yeah, I think you're right. I think although recently though America has not been doing that kind of firing and hiring of drivers.
So Yuki has finished. Yuki has finished 11th. Yuki has finished 11th in August. 11th.
No, 10th. He finished 10th today with
Oh
signs
yeah,
and
Yeah,
lot of
okay.
10th.
But
penalties.
Yeah,
He got
yeah,
10th.
got okay.
Yeah.
But outside of that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
okay. So
It was 11, 11, 10.
and
He
Nick
got
has
10th. It was supposed
finished.
to be, it
Nick
was going
has
to be 11.
finished.
He
He
got
finished.
penalty.
Nick finished 15th today. In Saudi Arabia, he finished 14th.
Did he finish 15 or he DNF?
Where is it? Nick the Freeze. Collision.
I thought he DNF
Collision on
today.
lap
Yeah.
56. So,
Yeah, he
okay.
DNF. He
Oh,
didn't
In
finish. Yeah.
15th.
He was DNF.
In Saudi Arabia, he was 14th. And in Bahrain, he was 14th. So, and in those races, Yuki was, what, 3 places ahead of him in P11. So
Yeah.
far, I
Yeah.
mean, Yuki's
It's
actually,
not that bad.
no, but you've not seen anything from him to say, okay, so far that you can say, okay, yep,
This is the guy that has
Yuki's
been
gonna have
in the
some
team for
problems.
3 years, for 3 seasons. Yeah,
but if anything, I should be rooting against him because um I'm from Barbados and there's a Barbadian driver in Formula Two and he's doing
What's his
pretty
name
well,
again?
Zane Maloney. I don't
Zane
know.
Maloney, yeah.
Zane Maloney. He's really good. So
I mean, he just
and he's with Red Bull.
he's
So
one of the Red Bull driver, junior program drivers,
yeah,
right?
he's with Red Bull. Yeah, one of the young drivers.
Oh, okay.
He just signed and then went into Formula Two. So I should be
Red,
rooting.
Red Bull
Yeah.
has a lot of, there's a couple of drivers in the academy at the moment, so it's not
Yeah,
just.
sorry.
but
Yeah. I know that is not. I know that is not definite for him, but it would be really nice to see him end up on the grid. I know it's a long shot, but yeah.
I mean, you can't really say
I
it's a
think it
long.
would
I
lead
mean, if
to.
he does the job in F2 this year, I don't see why it would be a long shot. You never know.
There is a
We've
driver that is currently not driving for them right now. That's
Qu-
obviously
qu-
could drive for Red Bull.
question to you then, Thanos and Kingsley, before I mute myself, guys. One, where do you see Danny Rick coming into next? I know he said he's looking to come back 2024. And last bit, I know Carlos Sainz today touched on how this 5 second penalty was the worst decision he's ever seen in F1. Can you guys just educate us, some who started watching 8, 9 years ago, uh, some of the bad F1 decisions made? I know, obviously,
all
I
right.
would say.
We are not that. We are not
Kingsley,
that old.
you can take the science one. Ricciardo one. I see him at a team that's looking for a new guy to run their TikTok account. What?
Oh God.
Any team that wants someone
That's
to run their
me.
TikTok
That's me.
account,
But it's true.
they're gonna hire Ricciardo because, I mean,
I think at the back of Ricciardo's mind, he thinks when Perez's his contract is up, they might
okay,
want to put him there. But I
okay.
don't think Red Bull wants to do that.
I had a conversation with someone yesterday, and they said something to me, right? And this is going to be controversial, right? They said to me that a Mercedes, one of the reasons why there's talk that Ricciardo wants Lewis's seat, and Lewis is delaying signing his contract because he wants to see how the car progresses.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
No, I don't think Louis, the other day I was saying, what if Louis stops at the end of the year? But you said we have to be, Louis always keep his
Yeah.
word. I think I think there was an article that was attributed to TOTO where he said it's just a mere formality that they're going to sign. There's nothing, maybe some dotted line, because there was a place where I read that Louis wants to get it 2 years and then has to get an ambassador role for another 10 years with Mercedes. And those are where the fine print are, because the money involved
I'm not
is.
reading none of those speculations because
Yeah, it might not be.
what we've come to
It might
realize
be
once
rumor.
Lewis comes for contract negotiations, everybody becomes a financial accountant
Expert in
and
financial. Yeah, you're
and
right.
talk about how much
Everybody has the inside scoop.
and talk about he's asking
Yeah,
for too
yeah,
much
yeah.
money. It's too much money.
For
You
too
have
much money
George.
and all
Why do
that
you
stuff.
need to pay him so much money? Yada 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 yada. Whatever cow fighting bullshit. Also
But let's
shit.
be realistic. If Lewis is negotiating a contract with Mercedes at the moment, it's not a okay. I'm good. Let's sign. He has to be looking out for himself. There's still money involved at the end of the day. Otherwise, there's no
I mean,
negotiation going. It has to
he's
be
gonna want his value. Total can't shortchange him.
exactly. That's my point. Yeah, he has to. Yes, that's it. So I don't think it's the money thing, or maybe he's delaying. I just think with the nature of the car, they have not actually found a time and space to do the
And I
whole
mean,
sit
and
down and
if you
do
look at his
fine print.
last 2 contracts that he signed, he pretty much ran them
Yeah.
down to until they were basically done because
Yes.
In 20,
It's gonna be an end of the season thing.
yeah, because in 20 for the because he went into the 2021 season without a contract.
Yeah.
So it was a bit, but it was a bit of a formality for them. I'm not
Formality,
really
yeah.
worried. I
No, I'm
genuinely
not
don't
worried.
believe Lewis is going to say, "Yo, I'm staying around," and then turn around and do a Nico Rosberg. He's not going to.
Oh, Toto said it
He's not
himself.
going to do. It's not
Yeah.
going to do Mercedes like that. I think he has that. He has
No,
that
no,
much
no, no,
that
no.
level of respect for everybody within the
Respect for
team.
them, yeah.
He's not going to
Toto,
do them like that. So I'm not even worried. But that
yeah.
the person who told me that says he's. I'm not going to. A person who knows people within the team says that to me, and I'm like, yeah, I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening.
If they are leaking that kind of information with the fans, I think this. Toto said himself that they have come to a place where they trust each other enough to know that you cannot just pull a blinder over each
Yeah,
other. So I think what he means by that is he's not expecting Luis to do a Bottas
Rosberg.
in Nico Rosberg, for example, at the end of the year and say just pull the rug under their feet like that. Luis is going to sign a contract, but he wants to. I think is the negotiating power for Lewis right now to probably force this team to double effort on maybe working on the car because let's be realistic, they are also scared of losing Lewis if
Yeah.
they want to develop that car to a stage where he can compete for championship. They need the guy.
And
So
and
in a
and they
way, it
look
might be.
and they look and see who they have as the reserve driver. It's like, oh fuck no, hell no, Lewis, we're gonna sign you to that. There's no we're gonna put Mick Schumacher in that seat. Are you goddamn man? No, no.
Isn't that what Honor said? Honor said it.
Honestly,
Honor said, who do
and
they have?
honestly,
If Lewis leaves, they don't have any other person. And he's right. If he leaves, they don't have any other person right now that can actually help them, with that much
no.
of that. I
And
don't think
honestly,
Lewis is going to
the
walk away
way
from the
I feel
team.
right now, I think that they should just shut up about the contract talks
But
and
they but
focus
they
on
but
trying
they're
to
not
put
saying
together a
it.
proper card.
But they're not the ones talking about
And
contracts.
and I mean, like other people on the grid as well. And I think that Toto just needs to just be quiet a little bit and just focus on the
But
card.
Toto hasn't been saying anything about Lewis's contract. They ask him questions.
Not the contract. I mean, talking about the performance and that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
but I mean, I don't know why people have a go
Uh,
at Toto. I mean, Toto is a team principal. He's telling you like it. He's not. I don't think he's some.
He's not
Can he?
worried.
Can he at sometimes seems a bit contradictory? Yes, but I think he has been honest and upfront.
Sometimes, Dana?
Yes, sometimes, not all the time. But
No. Okay, you have been nice.
sorry, what?
I say you have been
Sorry,
nice
what?
to Toto.
I
Toto,
don't know. I don't.
Toto
I don't do
lately,
nicety. I don't do
you have
nicety.
been nice.
I don't do niceties, man.
Toto,
But
Toto lately has been all over the map for crying out loud.
look,
He
I
has
think
been saying
yeah, he doesn't feel it doesn't feel like the same Toto to me, honestly.
yeah, on the same day he's
Like
saying two different things. I don't
Toto
know.
always kept his cards close to his
I mean,
chest. I
it's a
mean,
I
new.
like
think
that was
This is a
always the
new
case
thing for
with
him now.
Mercedes, and it feels like
oh yes, the pressure, his humor. If he wasn't feeling it, I would think he's not a human
This
being.
is a new
His
thing
humor,
for
he's
Toto
feeling the
now.
pressure.
You're talking about
Yeah, it's a
he
new thing.
came
I'm not
in
criticizing
and
him.
he elevated the team to a point where it's all he's known is success.
It's a sex,
So
yeah.
now he's in a
Yeah.
position
I'm not blaming
whereby
him at all.
they need
I
to
just
recover and get themselves back to where it's a new test for him. But I mean so far I don't think he's doing badly. And I know people talking about he should step down
not.
and all this nonsense about he's in it
nah,
for
that's a
money.
stretch too
What?
far.
People said he was
Nah.
Saying
step
he's
down,
in it for
madness is that?
money. He's soft. He's not. I'm like,
It's Cameron that said
oh,
that. I said it's
Cameron's
Cameron
an
and
idiot, man.
the other
They're
guy that
probably
wants
Red
he
Bull
should leave.
Cameron's
fans.
an idiot.
Let's be
Don't
real. They're
mention
probably Red
Kingsley.
Bull
Don't mention
fans.
Cameron in my space, man. That dude's a fucking idiot.
and,
Anyway,
They're probably Red Bull fans because they got a lot of Red Bull fans. You know, a lot of
yeah,
people that watch Drive to
his
Survive, and
yeah, he was praising Massey's speed today, like it was the best thing that
oh,
happened since sliced
oh,
bread. I'm like, it's Cameron, and I'm like,
Cameron's a
dude,
prick,
did
man.
you see?
Cameron's a
He
prick,
said,
dude.
well, watching Mass, you would realize that he's not the car. Look at where Perez is. I'm like, Perez is passing people with DRS. He's blowing past them. And what have you been watching? And then he was just kind of disingenuous about
He's a
those stuff.
dick, man.
That's another
Man,
thing.
he's a dick.
but honestly,
And
I want to hear Jay's take on it. Was Perez a little bit slow in terms of cutting through the field
He
to you?
wasn't.
Like because considering the pace of our Red Bull,
We don't
like.
expect Perez. We don't expect Perez to be on the same pace with Mass, for example. But the
Like,
argument
I
they were,
don't expect
yes,
him to, but I
the,
mean, like, it was a little bit with a car like that. He really should be
the difference.
like
Okay, let's see. What was the difference
should
now? If Mass drove that car from back, probably he would finish third at the most.
finish where?
Yes, he would finish third at the most if he drove that car. because of or maybe second, whatever the number is. But the point is, you would also think that the gap between where he finished now, where Perez finished, the same gap they will have. Perez finished fifth. Max would have had a couple
Yeah,
of
listen,
step forward.
Perez actually did really well. This criticism of Perez,
Exactly, he did
he
very
ran the
well.
fastest lap of the race. He started in 15th. He sliced his way through the field. And here's the thing to remember, right? We talked on this.
He started from the
hold
pits.
on,
He started from the
hold on,
pits.
hold on. There's more than that too, right? So the other issue is with all of the stop and goes in that race. What does that mean? That means trying to get your tires heated up, right? So you got to get the tires into the right temperature zone, right? And that was a problem for cars, but
not for Red Bull.
Well,
Red Bull don't have that problem.
No,
He didn't start 15.
Red Bull. No, I
First
think
of all, he
I
didn't
thought that
start
Max had some
15.
Verstappen
issues though.
himself said today
I
that the
saw Max
difficulty
had some
was
issues.
trying to get the tires into the zone with the stops and restarts throughout the whole race. So
Really?
there's some truth to that as well.
He had
And the
issues for
reality
sure.
is,
No,
let's
no,
be
he was
honest,
just, that was not it.
if anyone else was in that Red Bull car other than Checo and went from 15th to 5, people would be like, hey, this guy ran an awesome race.
Yeah,
He didn't start 15. He started from the pit.
He started from the pit, and come on, like I said,
From the pit, he didn't
he
start
was the
15.
biggest.
He
He was
started
the
from the
biggest
pit
benefactor of all the safety cars
of the race
and
safety
all of
car.
that. He
Yes,
was
he
the
didn't start from
biggest
15th.
benefactor. I think at the race ran at normal, he probably would have finished in the top 10, but not P5.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have finished P5. But anyway, we jump. I see Crystal wanted to say something. I don't want her to chain of thought to go. Crystal.
No, it was just back to the Daniel Ricciardo. I wondered if you saw. I can't remember who was asking him. Somebody caught him on the grid, and he was saying, "These colors look great on me, right? It suits me." So I actually think he's going after Perez's seat.
Yeah, but Perez has a 2-year deal.
Yeah, that doesn't mean much, does it?
Well,
in Formula One, that's eternity.
Yeah, so Perez extension. When did he extend for? Was it this year and next year, or was it next year and 2020?
This year and next year.
So his deal is up at the end of next year.
Yes.
So this guy's gonna sit out 2 years.
For 2
Or is it
years.
25?
And then you're gonna
No, I
he wouldn't even remember how to
think
drive a car.
Perez will see the contract through.
Really? Why not?
I think they have better affinity to Ricciardo. I think they would prefer Ricciardo.
Are you serious?
That's what I think.
But okay, what if Perez finishes P2 in the championship? Because Red Bull has never had a 1-2 finish in the drivers' championship.
Exactly.
I think the environment is getting a little bit hostile. They would prefer what they know.
Yeah,
why did
Ricciardo
Ricciardo leave the team in the first place? It was hostile. I mean, if you think it's hostile now, wait till Ricciardo comes.
Yeah, but it's a bit of a reality check now, isn't it? And no, he cannot compete with Max. You would take that as somebody in Daniel.
You put Ricciardo in the Red Bull, and he's going to outperform Checo every single time.
I think so.
I mean, okay. But if Checo finishes P2 and Ricciardo comes in and finishes P2, has he outperformed Checo?
Exactly.
Because
no, but I think the environment is getting so hostile. They would prefer Ricciardo.
I think if you don't want an hostile environment, you would have put Ricciardo in, because Ricciardo is going to come in with the intention of in the same manner.
He wants to win. Yeah. He thinks he has the speed. Yeah, he has the speed. It will be more disruptive than what they have now. At least they have him before. It was the hostile reason why he left for Renault in the first place.
Oh, I don't know. I when he said that, I was like, that's very interesting. Why would you say something like that?
Yeah, it's really interesting. But anyway, that's
the only because he says he wants a top seat. So the only place he can So there's only 2 places he can viably get a top seat: Mercedes or Red Bull. I don't see him getting a seat in Mercedes because Lewis isn't going anywhere for the next 2 years. And I think even after that, would you make a play for Ricciardo, or would you make a play for Charles? I'm going to go Charles, because Charles is going to be what? Charles is what now? 24, 25 or something like that? I don't remember how old he is. So within the next 2 years, he's still relatively young. So Ricciardo is what, in his 30s? 30s now?
30s.
I mean,
yeah.
Ricciardo is not, look, that dude is not serious. I think
He's
I
not a
think he's
serious
more
fellow
comfortable
anymore.
making TikTok videos. So just let him keep doing
Come.
that.
Well, you know what? I disagree. I think if you watch Ricardo in tight chicanes, and if you see him
Oh,
in really tight turns, he's a pretty good passer in those situations.
But
And
okay, being good in a tight chicane and really tight turns. I mean, we're going on performance, and the last 2 years, he's been absolutely dog shit.
shit.
oh
Like,
yeah, but I mean,
It's
who
shit.
was going to do well in
I
that
think
car?
that aside, they just prefer Ricardo, the whole team. So
yeah,
I
because
think that
yeah,
would give
because
him
he's the
the
court
edge.
jester. He comes in and he's always smiling and cracking jokes and whatnot. So
And
obviously, you're gonna prefer someone who's gonna have make the environment kind of light and jovial. But I mean, really, who's that?
well, let's see. I think it will get louder and
Cameron, are
louder.
you in a
I think
supermarket? Clinton, are you in a supermarket?
I swear to God, he was
I
drawing it.
sorry about that. I apologize.
He's in a yeah. Mute your mic. Mute your mic. Yeah, sorry. Go on, Crystal.
Grocery shopping.
I think Daniel Ricciardo will make a play for that
Oh
seat,
yeah,
and I don't think it's that an outside of a chance that we think. I think he would pip Perez if the season continues to go the way we think it's going to go,
but which is
which is Perez will do everything to try and battle Max.
Perez is not
If they
even
have
gonna
to fight
better
that
Max.
battle, they
He
would
doesn't
rather
have
fight
the
that with
speed
Daniel.
to. I think. Here's what I think. I
Is
think.
Perez really a threat? That's the
He's
question.
not.
He's
He's not.
not, but if
He's
he
Threat to
not.
Max?
continues with the hostility, they
I,
would rather that with Daniel than have to deal
but
with it with
Crystal.
Perez.
Okay, hear me out then. If Ricciardo was somebody they wanted to go back to, why they didn't make a play for him? When did Perez sign with Red Bull in 2021?
Before Daniel was released.
Yeah, so they could have bought Ricciardo out of his
I think
contract.
he was an unknown
oh
quantity. I,
Who
I
was
I I still think that they were even shaky about it, but
who was
from
unknown quantity here? Ricardo.
they're giving him the chances in the background, like Christian Horner saying that in the simulator he's picked up habits. They are going to put him back to where he was or where he
He's
was
not. Is
ish,
he their reserve driver?
and they will give him a second seat, in my opinion.
Ricardo is not even their reserve driver, is
no,
he?
it's not.
He's their third driver, not
No,
their
he's not.
reserve.
No, it's not. I don't think he's the third driver.
He's not their reserve driver at all. He's not their reserve driver.
He's not the reserve. He's a third driver, whatever that
Exactly.
means.
No,
If
I
I don't
think
know
I
why
think the
why
whole
what's the
Ricciardo
one
thing
chance
is a
here?
bit embarrassing for him personally because he left.
It is, but he'll get away with it.
Yeah, why?
Yeah, people like him, so that's why you will get away with it.
Exactly.
But I think that if they bring him back, it probably would be like on a 1 year contract.
Yes.
If they do, because he's still gonna need to find pace, and while he's finding pace, I don't think that he's going to be that much of a threat to Max. Another thing that's important as well is that in terms of the car, like Ricciardo needs a very specific car to be able to perform, and the Red Bull happened to be when he was there at Red Bull. That Red Bull happened to be the car that he needed in order
Right.
to perform. When he
Mm-hmm.
got a car that was not the car that he wanted, he had a lot of difficulties driving it, and we saw it at McLaren. We saw it a little bit at Renault when he was at Renault. So it's like
So basically, he's not
A
adaptive.
good a good driver is supposed to adapt to different cars.
yeah,
That's just
in terms of being adaptive, I would think as quick as he is, I think that he's one of the least adaptive on the grid.
But how
Yes,
quick is
but
Ricciardo?
cars carry through the same characteristics as previous cars, so he wouldn't be starting from a zero base. He will probably be starting off pace, but good enough.
Yeah, but I do think that once he starts to become like a serious threat, like he would be on a contract that's so short that they could just say, yeah, let me find somebody else. So I think that he would be on a short term sort of contract.
I don't know,
But
man. I
Yeah.
don't think Red.
so why change Perez when you actually getting the same, we're going to get the same result from him? That's what I don't understand.
I don't see them
Because
changing
they
Hold
Perez
are
on, hold
not
on,
because
T. Hold
they
on,
tension
T.
they are
isn't
not
enough.
T.
getting the
Hold
same
on, T.
Sorry,
results.
sorry,
What
sorry.
they're getting is a very dominant car that Perez can drive.
Mhm.
You said what again? I didn't
If
hear that.
it happens that Aston Martin and Mercedes can actually challenge, you will see Perez will fall back. He will be the first.
Yeah, but
Oh
yeah,
yes, I
I agree
agree.
with
I
that.
agree.
But I think
So
Yes,
you're
that,
not getting a P1,
Yeah,
P2.
but I
You're
think
not
even
getting
if you
that
had
anymore.
if you
yeah.
had Ricciardo, it probably the
Ricciardo, it
situation
will
would still be the
probably be
same.
like that. Yes.
Because I think
Yeah.
I don't think Ricciardo is to the caliber of
Charles, for
Lewis,
example, or George, for example, or
George,
Lewis at this
and
time.
Charles. I don't think he's of that
Yeah.
caliber. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, we've seen he's not, but I think he would fare better than Perez.
I mean,
I don't know because
I agree.
Ricciardo is what 7 race wins to his career. Is it 7 race wins?
Oh,
I
I
can't
don't
remember
know.
how many races he's won. And if you look at the circumstances he has won all of those races, only one of those races he has won.
I'm going
Based on
outside and I'm trying to listen of you, but I will reply you when I get my home. Thank you.
I didn't hear any of that.
I don't know what that was all about. But if you look at,
I think he was on a call or something. I didn't know he was on mute.
I see it as a bit. If you're gonna if Ricciardo is going to give you the same results as Perez, why swap them up? You're in a position. Red Bull's in a position now whereby they don't need the services. Perez is doing the job that they need him to do. So why are you going to change it?
Yeah,
It's not like
I agree with that
it's
as
not
well.
like I mean, he finished, was it 1-2 in, what was the first race? Bahrain? 1-2 Bahrain, 1-2 Jeddah. It would have probably been 1-2 this weekend again had it not been for his mistake yesterday.
I agree, but that's the car advantage as opposed to Perez. And I really like Perez. I prefer him over Ricciardo.
So why it wouldn't be a car?
I'm not in denial that I actually think that if things got closer, it would be Perez that drops further back. And maybe, just maybe, if you get Daniel Ricciardo to where he was, even if he's further back, he will still be in the fight, which gives Red Bull strategic options.
But okay.
Perez never did that.
Okay, here's my thing. If Perez is going to be the one that's exposed if a Mercedes and a Ferrari gets back into contention, right? So he's going to drop back. And you're saying Ricciardo would potentially drop back as well, but he'd still be in the fight to give them a strategic advantage. I don't see the difference. Ricciardo is going to fall back, so he's going to find himself in a similar position that Perez would have fallen back into. So, does that?
I think
possibly. I just think he would fare better. He would be there more times than Perez.
But we saw him on McLaren. He couldn't even put a dent on Norris, for
example.
He
was terrible on McLaren.
Exactly.
And he was terrible in any other car, but he was not terrible.
Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Take the chance on that. McLaren? Come on, guys. McLaren is a joke. Even the drivers they have now can't do anything at McLaren. So to
it's a joke, but you measure yourself
because he didn't do well in McLaren.
You measure yourself against your teammates.
But what about Boy Wonder, who's at McLaren now? How's he faring?
I mean,
I'm not talking about Piastri. You measure yourself against your teammates. His teammate was Norris, and in every race he was exposing Ricciardo left,
he was
right,
getting
and center.
qualified by second.
I'm not measuring him against Sainz or against Red Bull. I'm measuring against his own teammate. The same car. It's not a different car. The same car. So you can't just say the McLaren was shit. Yes, if it's shit, if we are coming out 10th or 15th position, that is where Ricciardo should be finishing. He wasn't even near him.
So I don't.
He wasn't getting most wrong with that car.
Huh?
He wasn't. Ricciardo wasn't getting most wrong with that car when he was driving them.
I mean, Ricciardo exposed himself as being. He was. You know what? I don't think Ricciardo is not as good as people think. Because if you look at his performances when he was at Red Bull, majority, especially the races he won, only one of those races he ever won on pure pace alone, and that was Monaco. Every other race that he won, he inherited the position based on probably a failure of the leading car. His first race
win. Monaco, he doesn't have issues.
No, yeah, but in Monaco, I mean, Monaco.
But he was able to hold on.
Monaco showed his win in Monaco showed you exactly how rubbish that track is. That you could go without the ERS unit and still win the race.
He was losing 30% or so.
And you can still win the race. But if you look at his first win, His first win was Canada, Canada 2014. How did he win that race? What happened? We all know what happened with both Mercedes. Hungary 2014. Again, what happened? It took some misfortune for somebody to win. He has never really won a race on pure pace, with the exception of that Monaco race. I don't think he's that special. I don't think he's that much of an upgrade on Perez. They're pretty much similar.
No, I mean, those years are quite difficult because those years were dominated by Mercedes, so it'd be hard for anybody. And when he didn't he win Mexico, or maybe
I
he
don't think
beat
he won in Mexico. I don't
to
think he
pole
won.
and the Verstappen one? I can't remember.
I don't think he ever won in Mexico.
Long story short, I don't think it will come down to ability. I think he's marginally better than Perez, marginally, in Red Bull, and that will be enough for him.
I don't know. I don't know. And the thing about it is that from his performances outside of Red Bull, it just shows you that you need to give him a car that he likes to drive in order to get the best from out of him. Like, you got to do that for every driver, but for every driver, there's a level of adaptability, and I don't think that he has a lot of adaptability. Like,
he's one dimensional.
We're going through a pretty.
He's one dimensional.
Yeah, we're going through.
If he believes that he cannot adapt to other cars, why did he leave Red Bull in the first place?
But he left Red Bull. He left Red Bull because of the situation at Red Bull. It's not
So
because he
what
thought he
has
could
that
adapt to
situation
another
changed?
car.
Has the situation changed?
I don't think that Red Bull has changed in any way. The team is still
Exactly.
centered
So
around Max.
No, but
The
his
culture is
priorities will have
around Max as
changed.
well.
What would his priorities have been?
Wouldn't you rather fight for the odd win here and there, knowing that you won't win a championship? Because that's pretty much gone down the
which is
road.
exactly what would
then he
have
should have
happened if
stayed
he
at
had
Red Bull
stayed
then.
back at Red Bull.
Yes, but
if
he still had the ambition because he thought he was great.
So now he would lack that ambition.
But reality sets in.
But
You're not that good.
But Crystal,
you will struggle to get back into a top team. So you take the deal of playing your number 2 and being good enough and stealing the odd win.
Yeah, but
that could be the case. It could be.
Yeah,
I agree that it could be a change of
but why
mindset.
would his ambition change now that he's in a championship winning car? Why would his ambition change? I mean, his ambition would actually be even that higher now because he's in a car that genuinely can win a championship.
Can win championship, yeah.
I think
maybe his ambition wouldn't have changed that much, but the reality of the situation would have changed.
So
before he thought he was
I think it changed.
The reality is,
so you're saying he's going to come in a car that can win a championship basically with the mindset of I don't think I can win a championship. I just
rather than thinking he's entitled to it, he will play the team game a bit more. He wasn't prepared to do that. Which is why he moved.
Well, then he shouldn't be on the grid then, because if you're going to just come on the grid and accept that, I'm not going to win a championship. I'll just take the odd wins here or there. Then he shouldn't be there, especially in a car that can win a championship.
In a car that can win championship.
My question would be like, isn't he at a different stage in his career? The fact that he came back to Red Bull was surprising to me because of the reasons that he left. Because the first thing I gotta ask, why did he leave Red Bull? Then when you answer that question, then you gotta ask, like, why would he come back, knowing why he left Red Bull? There's no space for him on the grid. Like, who's gonna pick him up? Because people know that people have seen him know for what he is, a pretty one-dimensional driver. He cannot adapt to another vehicle, and especially in this era where there's a regulation change and they had issues with porpoising and all of those other issues that you need to deal with, you're not going to be able to get the car that you want. So you want a driver that's adaptable. The only team that has the luxury of taking him on and putting him in a vehicle and getting the most from out of him is Red Bull. And I think that if I can see that, then I think that other people can see that. And I think that he can see that as well. I think he sees it. So when he comes back into that car, if he is offered the opportunity, I think the mindset is going to be totally different. It's going to be from a place where, I just want to I just want to get some more wins in my
No,
career. I don't think he's going to
I
be
think if
tussling with
I
Max
think if he
as
gets I
much and
think if he
whatnot.
gets in the car, if the car is as good as if he gets anything like the car Perez has, his ambition is going to be, well, I actually can win a championship. Why settle? Why then limit yourself and saying you're not going to try? He's going to. I think his mindset would be, yeah, I can win a championship because this is a car that's good enough to win the championship.
I don't
think
think so. I think his barrier is going to be Max because the entire team is built around Max, and you can see the culture. That's why you don't even like Red Bull at the moment. The entire culture is Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen can do
But that's
whatever
why
the
he
hell he
left in the
wants,
first
and
place.
Red
So
Bull are
why
getting away
he
with it.
left?
And that
He
exactly. So
left
that's why he
because of
said
those
that's why he
reasons. So
started
why
with the
go back
questions. Why
now?
did he leave?
So why go back
So
now?
him going back now is him accepting. To
is an
me,
acceptance of that.
is
Yes, I agree.
acceptance of his role. So like he knows his position now. By virtue of accepting it, he knows that he can't go anywhere else on the grid.
So he's
So he
been
knows that
neutered
if
then.
he's placed in a car,
Then
Yes,
he doesn't.
So
effectively.
the basic.
He doesn't belong
So
to
the
F1.
big.
Then he
So you
doesn't
saying
belong
the
to
basically
F1.
cut his balls off and bring it back and say, well,
Effectively, and if the
yeah,
chips fall in the
yeah,
right place, he may
he's coming
well
with
win a
with
world
his tail between
championship.
his legs. He's coming with his tail
Okay.
between his legs and accepting whatever Red Bull is going to give him, and I think that would make him a better prospect than Perez. But to me, I just don't think
Yes,
that
and
Perez
if the
believes
chips
that he
fall in
can
the
win a
right place,
championship.
Red Bull will favor him because they like him. Perez is not
Yeah,
going to see that favor. If the chips
no,
fall in the right
and,
place,
and
say they have another 2015 season where they're blowing up engines every here and there. If it falls in the right place, he can win a championship. But there is nowhere else on the grid that's going to offer him that opportunity. So I think he will take a play for Perez's seat.
I think Red Bull would rather bring someone from their junior team. They will be taking long
There's
term
nobody
about
there.
protection. Yeah.
no, I don't think that they want to bring anybody for the junior team. The thing about Red Bull, as I said, is the culture surrounding Max. Anybody who comes into that team has to bow down to Max Verstappen because that's what the team is built around. It isn't a driver. I don't even think that they need a driver that could be challenging for podiums or anything like that. So that's why I think Perez fits. I think that the only issue that you have to consider with Perez is if Perez gets his own ambition, and you're starting to see that a little bit now. But like I don't know, Perez getting the most from out of that Red Bull? I don't think so.
why? What?
So
What
I
do you
don't
mean
think
you
that
don't think he's
even though
getting the
there's
most out of the Red Bull? He just finished. He finished
I don't
1-2
think
in the first two races.
I
like
don't know. It's
but I
unclear.
mean in terms of being consistent throughout a whole season, I don't think that he's
They
gonna get that. I
finished.
don't
They
think Perez
finished
is gonna
1-2. Didn't they finish 1-2?
this is the season has no started, so yeah, we're seeing some good performances. So like he may prove me wrong, but I don't know. He's starting to get some ambition, and I think that's
So
probably
hold on, hold
what
on.
Crystal
So
is think
basically,
is
because
No,
talking
in
about.
hold on.
2022.
So
2022. How
what
did
I'm
they
getting
finish?
from you guys are saying is Red Bull don't want a driver that has ambition. They
Yeah.
don't want us. They
No,
don't
because
want.
ambition is gonna be a problem.
So
No,
they don't want.
I personally think that there is no driver on the grid that will not have ambition. They would just rather put up with it from Ricardo than they will from Perez. And I think that's key.
But okay. But then
But
what?
I don't
But
think
then
like I agree
what?
about ambition,
Then
but
then something must have happened within the team for them to be going.
Excuse me, can I say something?
I mean, we saw the end of last year and it was pretty, they covered it up well, but the sounds were not great between Perez and Max.
All right. Oh, hold on.
I see he wanted to say something.
Hold on, T. P. You wanted to say
Um,
something. Go on.
um, um, I'm listening all of you having conversation for a while, so I'm a little bit confused that you can talk like a roundtable discussion, right? Have no one to be facilitated, right? So actually, when I join the space, there will be host and co-host to how to say to facilitate the conversation like that. But I'm a little bit that when I, I should join the conversation, I'm trying to observe you, but a little bit confused.
Sorry. Do you want? Is this something you want to say? Is there a point you want to make? Do you have?
He's just made his point that we should facilitate the space better.
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened there. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened there. I didn't pick up
He
that.
said
I don't know what happened there.
he said he wanted a co-host position. Why did you not give it to him?
What? It's not a pick. It's Kingsley. You should have given up your job there, man.
But you can make a second co-host. You would have had
You
me
can make a
as
second.
co-host.
You can
Man.
make a co-host as well. So wait.
Oh, I have that
Yeah,
power. I didn't know I
yeah,
had
but
that power. I thought it was just me.
don't let it get to your head though. Don't let it get to your head. Don't get over.
don't abuse it.
Yeah,
Use it
don't get
wisely.
over. Don't step out. Don't step out of line.
I'll step out of your
Don't step
bed.
out of
I
line.
didn't know. I didn't
But
know.
seriously though, the whole Ricciardo thing back to Red Bull is I think I don't know how he doesn't view this as being embarrassing for him.
It is
And
embarrassing in every shape or
the
form.
fact
Yeah.
that they're using the wheelie mode to do demo runs and to shoot TikTok videos because you try and tell Max, we're going to use it to make a TikTok video. Max going to like, yo, don't let me send my dad for you. What
If
are
they
you talking about?
wanted him to be a driver for them in the future, the first role he would have gotten was the reserve driver position. There's a reason they didn't give him that. So, and they're just trying to. I feel because of his connection to Red Bull, they needed to create something
Yeah,
for him. He didn't want to. Yes,
they
so
threw him a bone, basically. They threw him a
yes,
bone.
they want to create something. Just be around the winning team. Let them see you on the grid. Probably another team will see you on them. I don't think Red Bull genuinely want to give Ricciardo at 33 a seat in
How
that
old
Red
is
Bull.
he?
They'll be looking.
How
Yeah,
old is he?
he's 33. He's
Oh
33.
shit.
Yeah,
It's a
there's no way
gamble.
Red Bull.
It would be a gamble
Yeah,
to
the
give him something.
Red Bull would rather go to their youth, their academy. They already have a driver that Red Bull doesn't even care about the constructor. They care about the championship, drivers' championship, and they have mass for that winning it. Every other person can go to places and on. So if they would rather do, I don't see Red Bull giving Ricciardo a seat in
Yeah,
that
they're not
car
good. I
just
don't think they're
because.
gonna turn. I don't.
By the time
I don't,
by the time Perez's contract is up, he'll probably be what 34, 35.
yeah,
I mean, why
I
would
don't
you?
see Red Bull.
I
I
don't
don't see
see
Red
that.
Bull turfing out Perez next year to bring Ricciardo
No,
in.
no.
I mean, it's because they're gonna have to pay Perez out, pay him out, and then
Exactly.
they're gonna have to pay
Yeah.
Ricciardo. So I mean, and you're gonna pay more money to get the exact same results.
It's that same thing.
Because if you're
Yeah.
paying Perez 15 million, then you're gonna have to pay him 15 million to get him out of his contract. Then pay Ricciardo what 15 million. So you spend 30 million to get the same 1-2 results.
Yeah.
I mean,
Personally, I
It isn't
think
worth. It isn't.
the
It isn't.
affinity they have for Ricardo, they would. That's what I see
but
personally, because they didn't have to throw
okay,
him a
but
bone.
then ask yourself this question, Christoph. When he was leaving Renault, why didn't make a play for him to come back to Red Bull instead of him going to
We don't
McLaren?
know that he didn't. Okay,
Horner was still. Horner was
let's
still
just say they
salty. I don't
didn't.
know.
Huh?
Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, because they were
I
basically
don't know. I
changing
can't
drivers,
speak.
their second driver at that time.
Exactly.
They were changing
So
Albon, they were changing Gasly, they were changing everybody. They would have made a play for
because
him, right?
Perez came to Red Bull in 2021, right? 21?
Yes, he did the
2021.
first season.
Okay, and
Yeah.
Ricciardo did. When did Ricciardo go to McLaren? Oh shoot!
He did 2 seasons with them.
2021. No, he was in.
Was it now
He was
move?
in Renault
Was it
in
now move a shock
2020.
move though? Like him
He
moving
he did the
from Red Bull.
21 season with them.
21
So
with
But
Renault,
was
right?
it not
21,
like a surprise
22
move?
season he
Yeah,
did with McLaren.
okay.
yeah,
So
yeah.
basically, so Red Bull could have made a play for him at the end of 2020 then. Because remember,
Yes, 2020.
It's
He was
But
he
was
was
possible,
in
he?
but
Renault at the time.
Did
Yeah.
he have the intention to move at that point from
but
Renault?
he did. He
he
went to
remember he
McLaren.
joined
He moved the
McLaren.
next year to McLaren. Yeah, he had intention to leave. He moved the next year to McLaren.
He moved to McLaren during COVID,
Yeah, which is
so he moved before
2020.
the season even
Which is
begun.
2020.
That's when
Yeah.
he still had his confidence, because actually Renault didn't go too badly. It
Yeah,
didn't
because
go great, but it didn't go
things were going
badly.
good for
Yeah, he
Renault.
didn't go too badly. Yeah, he finished fifth, I think, in that
Look,
2020
Yeah,
he
and
season.
he got a podium. Like, he was still riding
yeah,
high.
but
Yeah.
Ricky,
That's why he didn't
but
move
here's the
back.
thing.
It was after McLaren.
But at that point, Red Bull were changing drivers, as you said, like they
Yes,
had
they
Yes,
were
it,
swapping
like you
driver like
that's
change your
right.
underwear.
underwear. right? Why?
But that's my point. He was still riding high, so he still thought there was more to be had than what
are
Red
you
Bull had
saying
to
now
offer.
that he doesn't have a
No,
vision
but
now?
hold
Is
on.
that what you're saying?
But
That he doesn't
Crystal,
have that?
here's the point I'm trying to make. Even whilst he was at Renault, the Red Bull was still a better car than the Renault, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it was still a better car than the McLaren, right?
Yeah.
So if he could see that Red Bull are changing drivers and he wanted to go back, why didn't he not try and make a play to get that Red Bull seat back? Then
because he still thought there was more to have.
but
I think he was probably in a
more
same
to have where?
position
More to
as
have
More
where?
to have from
But
where?
wait,
Because
you're
to
both
to
you're
go
both
to
correct. You're
McLaren.
both correct.
McLaren was useless at the time.
Honestly, there isn't much difference between what happened to Norris and what happened to Ricciardo. They both thought McLaren is the next best thing to hit the jackpot. No one foresaw Aston
No, we're
Martin
talking about
ever
Red Bull
making
now.
place
Red
like
Bull was
that.
better than
McLaren has not
McLaren.
shown anything.
They were better, but they just like.
But the question, it still comes back to the question as to why did he leave Red Bull? It's not that he left Red Bull because Red Bull had a bad car.
That has been established why he left. It was
So
why
yeah, but
not
I
go
think
back when there was
that
an
we leaving
opportunity
it
So
to go
that's
open.
why
back?
he
Why
moved
not?
to McLaren, because you
I
had
think
to
that's you
be in
leaving
a
it
team that
open.
was on the upwards and become the number one driver. He wasn't going to get that any of the top three teams, so he took the gamble and thought it was McLaren.
That's right.
Pretty much
Renault,
off the
correct.
showing of what was happening in
look at it this way. In
2020.
Renault in 2020, he finished ahead of the McLaren. Why would he go back to a team that he was finishing ahead of?
He thought
But
that
that's the
it would.
thing. But
They were on
I think it's
par.
a short
He
move.
finished ahead, but they were very level.
Yeah, but he still finished ahead. So which means he had a better car.
They were very level, and you could probably argue that it was because of Ricciardo that Renault finished ahead. So he thought he could probably make the difference and push the team. He still had confidence in that point. Now he's at zero.
But Crystal, the McLaren was still on the up, but it wasn't on the up to the pace where it was going to overtake a Red Bull.
No, but you could think that it was a workable solution.
But he was going to a customer team. He left the factory team.
Hold on, Crystal is right. He wanted to be the number one dog, and he left Red Bull. And I'm guessing, because I don't know him personally, that he felt dissed at a certain point. So he went to the French team, and then he saw an opportunity with McLaren and went for it. Yeah. And then McLaren,
I believe so.
yeah, McLaren.
He thought he'd be the number one driver.
And McLaren dogged him
now
out.
he has agreed that he's no longer a number one driver.
The number one driver.
Okay, now you're saying he doesn't believe he's a number one driver
His
anymore.
psyche took a huge blow from McLaren. Like a huge blow from McLaren.
I mean, if you got beat the way he did, I mean, more than your psyche.
Yes, and he doesn't have time anymore, like you said. So now you just
he should have just taken a hiatus from Formula One for 1 year to reset his mind.
Yeah, but he had to stay. He had to stay close to it. So
no, he could have left. That would have given him.
He didn't need to stay close to it. Alonso didn't stay close to Formula One when he left.
Yeah, he could have just left, go somewhere, clear his head, because the way Lando dismantled him, staying in F1 without driving a car.
I feel like it's more than Lando though, because
it's Lando. You measure yourself against
but
your
that team,
Lando.
there was some peculiar things going on with the way it ended. Like we didn't hear a lot of details of how much he got paid out. So there must have been something going on before that.
He was paid to leave the team.
Yeah, but he could have drawn. We don't know how much he got paid out.
Whatever his contract was valued at.
But his contract had no out clause though. So
yeah, so the team
it's kind of weird.
So they bought him out of his contract.
So they paid him. They bought him out of his contract.
How much?
That's more
whatever the contract is
than
valued.
Even
so if the contract is worth 20 million, he could say, "Look, I'm not going to leave. You want me to leave? You're going to have to pay me my 20 million and send me on my way." And they thought, well, rather than keep you, we'd rather pay you to go.
Buy you out
of the bought him out of his contract.
He sounded so humble when he talked about it. It sounded like there was some kind of compromise made, and he was
Look, I'm not even. I don't even care about the money. What I care about is that week in, week out, he was completely decimated by his teammates. There was a reason why McLaren didn't want to keep him, honestly. And for some reason, something didn't happen in that thing. He almost forgot how to drive a car. Lando will be in Q3. He will be living in Q1. I mean,
the man is one of 20 individuals in the world who drives a Formula One car regularly. I find it hard to believe that he couldn't
put something together. If I had to go on whim, I would think. I think he got dogged by
How
He
can
McLaren.
you
didn't put
find it
something
hard to
together.
believe when you
He
actually
didn't put
saw it?
something together.
It happened.
Dex,
That's the
saw
thing
it
with these
happen.
teams. Look at what's happening to Perez.
What's
You
happening to
see,
Perez?
What happened to him? What happened to Perez?
he's getting treated the way they want him to recognize he should function as the number two driver. At McLaren, there was so much inconsistency in terms of performance that it didn't make sense
But who was
sometimes.
the inconsistent performer in McLaren? That's
This
the
is
question you're not
Daniel.
answering.
This is Daniel Ricciardo, who is not a shit driver. He's
oh,
not.
come on,
He's a
Dex.
bang
He's not a
average
shit
driver. He's
driver.
not a shit, but he's average.
He was shit at
He
McLaren.
was not.
We
He
can
was
say
not
that.
good at
You
all.
can
But that's the
argue
thing.
he's not a
He's
shit
not a shit
driver.
driver.
He's average at
Yeah, but at
best.
McLaren he
He's
was.
average at
And
Yeah,
what's
best.
the reason for that? I don't believe
yeah,
it's just
Dex.
100% him.
So then who is it then?
Oh,
No,
I
no,
put it
no,
on
I
him.
don't think he's a
If
shit
you're
driver. I
Come on,
just think
come
that
on, dude.
he's one dimensional.
If your teammate is
is
in
beating
Q3
you
on a
left,
regular
right,
basis
and
and
center,
you're dropping off
yeah,
Q1,
and you're leaving the
you're
Q1,
qualifying
nah,
sometimes a second off your teammate. Whose fault is that?
Yeah,
it's your fault as a
What
driver.
are you
You can't
talking
blame
about?
your
I
other
think.
We
team.
I
talking
think.
about strange things have been going on. We
Yeah,
saw it before of our eyes. What 21, 22 races? He was shit for the whole of them. He had, not for the whole of them. There was a couple races where he finished ahead of Lando, but he was absolute garbage. You got
Dex.
the team said rather than keep you for another year and
We
deal with,
would rather
and you
pay you and
stink up
get
the
you out.
place. We're gonna pay
Hmm.
you to leave.
Yeah, it could be the way that
They
McLaren
couldn't take
made
the
him.
stench
Yeah,
anymore. His stench at the team was too bad. They had to get rid of him.
Hey,
So they
Thomas,
paid him to
you're
leave.
too bad, man. You're too bad.
I
no,
couldn't
What?
say
Because
that.
the
Dex.
stench in the
No, but that's
place.
the truth. That
I'm
was the
not
truth,
lying.
really. At
He
some
stunk up
point,
the place, so
Ricciardo
they
mind
bought
was
him out of
just
his
not in
contract
it
to
He
get rid
anymore.
of
wasn't
him.
good, and they paid him 8.5 million. Dex, just to answer your question, 8.5
Okay.
million
We don't
US
know.
to
We
leave.
don't know how much they paid him. We're not going to
That
speculate. We don't
yeah,
know.
they
Well,
they
that's
just
just
I know
speculation. That's just
newspapers
speculation. Yeah.
speculating. That's
We don't know how much
but
they
yeah.
paid him.
Look.
But
I
Look.
think that Red Bull brought him back as a mind game for Perez because they keep changing number two drivers like that. And if
yeah,
Perez gets too
but
uppity,
hold on.
Don't,
But
they
Perez
want to
don't
has
get him
forget.
been.
out.
But Perez has been the best driver they've had in that
No, just
second
mind
seat.
The
games.
best
Just
number
mind
two
Since
they've
games.
had.
hold on,
Yes.
Perez has been the
Yes.
best driver they've had in that second seat since
In a
Ricciardo
while.
left.
Yes.
That's
Since
it.
Ricciardo left.
Yes.
I think,
So
Yes.
That's
But
true,
sometimes he
but last year
wins,
was not
or
good.
sometimes he he causes.
but Dex, I think the reason they might have got Ricciardo is, Toto was talking to him prior to him signing that contract with Red Bull. Mick
talk him to do what?
to take the place where they ended up signing Mick, I believe. I don't know if
Really?
you guys.
No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah, they
no,
were
no,
talking.
no, no.
No.
There was no.
I think they were. Honestly,
No,
there's
no,
some
no,
reports
no,
about that.
no. No.
And Horner jumped in.
The only team that was even trying to hold him was, I think it was Haas. That was still a rumor. And then he just turned it down and said he doesn't want to drive at the back of the
No,
grid
there's no
anymore.
way Toto was going to sign him to. No,
No,
hell
no,
no.
no, no. There was
To
no
do
way.
what?
A reserve driver.
I mean, unless he wants to carry Lewis's helmet back, but that might be too much for him. That would be disrespectful to Lewis.
Oh my God.
You can't have
Yo, man,
Ricciardo touch Lewis helmet. That's
you're too
disrespectful.
bad, man.
Thanos is not being
You
nice
can't
today,
say
is he?
that.
I mean, come
What?
on
You
now.
can't.
What you
It's
mean?
funny. It's
The guy
funny as
said
heck.
no at the
Look,
beginning.
man. Look, man.
Mike,
You guys are trying to play nice with. I'm not here for be. I'm brutally honest with my truth. I know what
No, no, it's the
Ricciardo.
reality. In as
The
much as we
guy
want to be
stunk up the
sentimental about
place.
it,
Yeah,
it's the
no,
Look,
reality.
he
The guy was
wasn't good though against
beaten.
Norris. He was
he
really
was
getting beat to
The
the
absolute
guy
point
was
where I
garbage.
felt
beaten
sorry
black
for him.
and blue.
Yeah.
If your team if someone is going to say, you know what, rather than keep you, I rather eat the cost
Pay you out
Yeah,
of your
that's
and
contract.
bad.
have you go somewhere else and do whatever the hell you want to do, just as long as I
That's
get
bad.
you out the door.
You you
You
you are that
you're
bad.
that bad. I
Yes,
don't know what you mean. Like,
you're
oh,
that bad.
we saw how bad your teammate cannot be qualifying in Q1 in Q3. You're jumping out in Q1 on a consistent
Q
That's
one
basis.
really bad.
I don't mean it like it
consistently,
happened on the other occasion. It happened a lot.
consistently,
No,
and they
I
were ready to
Thanos,
agree,
I
pay him.
think you
but
need to get Diddy
the
on
fact
the stick.
stands
I
that
mean,
he
let's
is in
hear
a
from Diddy.
simulator. He is in a simulator, and they are helping him getting back to where
They're helping him
he
get back
was
to
ish.
where they're helping him get back. They shouldn't be helping you to
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
anything. He's 33.
They shouldn't.
He's
They
not a
shouldn't be. But
rookie.
that they're putting that energy in, I do think they would take
But
him
they
back.
have to. But they have
don't
to
worry.
try and change
Remember
him,
this
because
phase.
they have to try and change him, because if he's doing the simulator work, they don't want him to stink up the simulator work. They don't want him to carry that same stench from McLaren into the simulator and then mess up the entire thing.
Maybe that's why they gave him the third driver and not the reserve driver. So they're not actually using his.
Hey, take win with that.
I will leave it. I will leave it at
phrase
this.
for the
I will leave it
weekend.
at this.
Stink up the
Another 2
simulator.
years. In another 2 years, Perez's contract will be up, and then we'll see what Red Bull does after that.
I don't think Perez's contract will be seen through.
Well, you know what,
Yes,
Crystal, the same person I was talking about who said Ricciardo, the whole Lewis might holding off and Ricciardo to Mercedes might be possible, said they don't think he's going to survive. He's going to, the same thing you're saying, that he's going to take Perez's place in the Red Bull. But I don't see the point. I don't see why you would need to replace Perez if Ricciardo is going to come in and give you the exact same thing that Perez is giving you.
Okay.
Because
Here's the idea.
Nicer to
Here's the idea. Sorry.
Why
did you get rid of Albon? They could have groomed Albon.
Ricciardo is nicer.
We're talking over each other. But let me just answer your question quickly, Crystal. I know people say I don't shut up and let people talk, but let me just answer your question. You say because he's nicer. You're not in this business for being nice. You're in this business. It's a results-based business. So if Perez is not nice, but he's giving you the result, and you're going to bring in someone who is nice and giving you the same result, you're going to bring in someone who smiles a lot, just because he smiles more.
They're paying for the night.
Just because he smiles more.
They pay for the night.
So you're going to pay. So you're paying for a smile.
Technically, yes, they are. But secondly, I do think they are not. They are getting the results, but as a result of the car being so far ahead.
But then it's okay. And if the Red Bull is still far ahead, is Ricky?
Then it doesn't matter who they have.
Yeah. So.
And they would rather Ricciardo.
Oh, come on.
Okay.
I would say I would think Checo is the guy to have, because Max knows he's got the measure of him. So why would you want Ricciardo, like you said, who's going to trouble Max?
Because they prefer.
Because Ricciardo's already been
his personality will be enough, and his longevity and previous relationships with the team is enough. I do think that's enough. It wouldn't be for anybody else, but it is for Ricciardo in Red Bull.
I don't think he has that much pull in Red Bull for that.
He doesn't have that pull.
For them to. He doesn't have that pull. I mean, they've monitored him. They've seen how he has performed in the 4 years since he left the team, and he has basically gone backwards. He hasn't progressed. He has gotten worse.
And
so you're going to bring him back in and retrain him like a puppy and teach him how to piss again?
Yes, and I think they're doing that.
To add to that as well, do you remember when Daniel Rick actually left Red Bull? Some of the horrible stuff he was saying about Max Verstappen, and when Max, I think, was talking about it a year or two after Daniel Rick left, that they ended up being friends. They ended up getting well after Daniel Rick left. I seem to remember a race. I think it was in Spa, where I think he actually got taken out by Max Verstappen. Do you recall that one?
It was Hungary. Probably Hungary.
No, it was
and he was on radio saying, "Is that who I think it is?"
No, it was Hungary.
So loser or something like that. Yeah.
Okay, it was Hungary.
Yeah, and called him a sole loser and stuff like that. So the relationship was tense. He hated Max towards the end of his tenure with Red Bull. They ended up getting on well a year or two after he left. So I would actually think Max Verstappen played a part in bringing him back to Red Bull, saying, you know what, he's all right, we'll get on, bring him back, because that's his team now. So I just don't see Red Bull saying, you know what, Checo, we're going to replace you with Daniel. For what? Checo is a good number 2. It's really good.
I think the relationship is better between Christian and Daniel, and Daniel and Helmut.
Because Christian needs a court gesture. He needs someone to entertain him, to make him laugh and so on. Because that's enough
for some people. That is enough for some people, and I do think they would rather them to be back as a team.
Man, I don't know, man.
Checo is a good number 2.
It's a cultural sport. I don't think sentiment plays into some of these things.
Because they didn't want Checo either.
Wait,
really?
who was?
They were just at their wits' end.
Who was the team that kept bringing Daniel Kafia back?
Why wouldn't they want Checo? Why wouldn't they? Why you said they didn't want Checo?
But what's going on with this
For
notion that
Tauri.
Red Bull are favouring
It's
Max?
just
Hold on, hold on,
Exactly. This is Red
hold on,
Bull.
hold on,
UGA2.
hold on. Go on, Crystal. Why you think they didn't want Perez?
But when Kvyat
Hold
Max
on,
was
hold
actually
on,
They
too
hold
signed
on,
him
bad.
at
guys.
the end of the
Hold on, guys.
2020 season.
Let
Did they?
Crystal have the mic. Crystal, why you think they didn't want Perez?
They signed him at the end of the 2020 season, just as he had just done enough when he won Sakir, right?
Well, I mean, it was rumored that he was always going to go Red Bull because Red Bull didn't have a
Because they had no choice.
yeah,
They
but
wanted Norris.
he was the next best option available at the time.
Yeah, the next best option does not mean it's your first option.
Fair enough. So who was the first option?
Norris.
Oh yeah, he's gonna regret that one. He's gonna regret that one.
Norris was their option, and then they signed him long-term deal.
Yeah, well, I mean, Norris. The thing with him is he flies with Max Verstappen jet all the time, doesn't he? They're quite close, aren't they?
I have no idea.
He does all the time.
Yeah, they fly together most of the time. He's always in
They
his
live near
aircraft.
each other as well, and with Lewis in Monaco as well, don't they? So,
Tax
yes.
dodger.
Well, to be fair, most of them live there, don't they? Rosberg, Nico, Lewis.
They all live there. They're all tax dodgers.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, you have to understand why I said what I said, but carry on.
Yeah. I don't know, Crystal. To be honest with you, I think Checo is just a good number 2. Let's be honest. He's not going to beat Max more than 3 or 4.
I didn't say he was bad.
No, the notion that they will replace him.
Okay.
I don't see why.
Okay,
why would
Crystal,
you replace him when you got a fast car?
Okay, Crystal, put it this way. So they replace, say they replace Checo with Danny. And he comes in and perform like his 2022 McLaren season. What would you suggest they do to him?
There's that Lewis
because
oh my God!
Actually, because that's what's going to happen. Because Max is going to embarrass him. Max is absolutely going to embarrass him. You're as good as your last race. Max is going to embarrass him. So what do you think they should do, Chris?
Max will be 2 seconds ahead of him.
They will pay for his smile, Thanos. They will pay for his smile. They will say he smiles a lot, so we can leave him behind.
Well, then they're screwed. But
but at least they're going to be screwed smiling, right?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
That was a good one.
I genuinely believe that they're actually training him back up.
Oh God,
that could be for no reason. That sounds like
or
that could
so embarrassing.
Crystal, you make him sound like a puppy. They're going to train him back up.
Yeah, like the training.
Well, he is.
Basically
that could be for no reason, or that could be for their gain. But either way, they're going to do it so that they have options. And if it's possible for him to show any signs anywhere near the pace of Perez, I think they would give it to Ricciardo over Perez.
Well, I mean, they have the sim data, so they'll be able to compare it.
Exactly.
But I don't know. I just think.
So if he gets close enough, I think they would give it to him. They would rather take the chance on Ricciardo.
What's close enough?
Close in a sim, and then
I don't know. I don't know what close enough would be.
So they'd rather accept close enough than someone who's actually ahead. Because
I don't actually believe they like Perez.
Oh, good.
And that might be very cynical of me, but I don't believe they do.
Oh, God.
But to be honest with you, though, Crystal, if you want to look at past champions, Lewis, Max, Seb, Alonso, going back, however.
Dude, don't mention Alonso, man. The last time Alonso, I mean, there's been what 3 American presidents since the last time Alonso won something. Don't mention Alonso.
Okay, no Alonso name. But if you look at those guys who have won championship, they are quite serious on their job compared to what Danny Rick does. I mean, no disrespect to him. He sounds and looks like a nice bloke.
I met him once.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. He looks like he's a nice person. But if you look at the guys who actually go on to win championship, they are serious. They're not playing this. They're not playing this clowning game, jumping up and down the paddock, running out with the water and doing TikTok videos. And I don't know. I just don't think he's.
I don't think he's trying to win championships anymore.
So why race then?
So what's the point? What's the point of you being on the grid?
It's the reality of the situation versus ambition, which we said about half an hour ago.
Why do you think he doesn't want to win championship, Christian?
And not that he doesn't want everybody on the grid will want to win a championship, but the reality of the situation is he going to beat Max if he goes back to Red Bull? Probably not. What team can he get into if it's not the Red Bull, the Haas, or lower? Wouldn't you rather be in Red Bull
he
and
must well
fight
just
for
go
the
out
odd
of
win?
F1. If his ambition is not to win the championship, then he must well just take the Haas job or go out of F1, for example.
Every one of the 20 drivers' ambition is to win the championship. But the reality of the situation is very different.
That's what I'm saying.
The reality of the situation
if he already
they
accepted the
this year
reality,
is
if
they
he
are not
already
here to win the
accepted the reality
championship.
that he cannot win the championship with Red Bull, even if he's given the seat, then why stay in F1?
But also, Crystal, the reality of the situation for most of those drivers is they'll never get a car that will give them the opportunity to win. So if Ricciardo is going to get a car that gives him the opportunity to win the championship,
why not
and his
go
and
for
his
it?
ambition and
to
his
win.
ambition still and his ambition is his ambition
not
is
to win the
not to win a
championship.
championship,
For
it's
Ricardo, I
concerning.
think it's a better roll of the
Huh?
dice. It's a better roll of the dice than Haas. So if somebody offered him play number 2 to Max, you will take it, because if luck goes your way, 25-75,
But that's why he
there
left
is
first
more of a
place,
chance
isn't
of
it,
you
Crystal?
winning.
That's why he left.
If he already accepted at Red Bull, he's not going to win.
That doesn't mean you cannot have the ambition for it. Every single one of those drivers has the ambition for it. You go where you have the best chance. If you tell me that, well, not me personally, but if you tell Albon you can drive for Mercedes, knowing that they're probably not fighting for a championship this year, well, I won't tell you next year, but it's possible.
No,
You would
it's
still
not
take
possible.
that
It's going to
over a
happen next
Williams.
year.
Be
Okay,
real, yeah, it's gonna happen.
I believe it too. But my belief on the reality can be two
So
different things.
you
Like
basically like a Ricciardo then.
Oh yeah.
Effectively,
You believe you can win a championship, but realistically, you can't because you just got. No.
the reality of the situation and what it will take
But
to
you
get
just
there
said,
will probably tell you
rather
the
be.
odds are not
You
that
just said
great,
something
but you
about.
will
You
take
just
it.
said something about rather be a second driver to Max, whatever.
Then driving for a Haas.
Then,
Yes.
but isn't that what he kind of did when rather than be a second driver for Max, he went and drove for Renault, which if you in the gravity of it, when you compare the teams, it's kind of like a Haas. Renault is kind of like Haas to Red Bull.
Yes, yes, you could say that.
Yeah,
But I think
his reality changed afterward. That's what Krista says. So he realized now he doesn't
But
have
why
that
didn't he
ambition
not
anymore.
realize that before? Because Red Bull was a customer
ego.
team, and it was spanking Renault, which was a factory team that he went to.
Yeah,
that's true.
So
That's true because they did.
So he knew the situation that none of the teams, the only team that he could realistically go to that would give him an opportunity to win was either. It's only 3 teams you can go realistically that will give you an opportunity. No, 2. He's already at Red Bull. Mercedes or Ferrari. He went to Renault.
Yeah.
He tried to get Ferrari. Don't forget that. He tried it. They chose Sainz.
But he didn't have to leave Red Bull. That's the thing. Because he was offered a contract. It's not like they didn't offer him a contract. He was offered a contract.
After Baku, he kind of needed to leave Red Bull. Come on.
But they gave him a contract now. So he did.
But he needed to leave.
Why?
Not that the team wanted him to leave. They obviously did not want him to leave.
He needed to leave, but I know he needs to go back.
He just in other words, he's chickened out. He just chickened
So
out.
he needed to leave, but now he needs to go back. Well,
Yeah,
he is
for
back.
Effectively, that's the reality of the situation. So the grass is not greener, and he learned
I think
that.
he learned that. He didn't find he found a desert. I mean, the Sahara was more moist than the situation.
It was a wide.
He could have gotten water in the Sahara than he did where he went.
I honestly believe he should just get out of F1 to clear his head.
Well, he's done the right thing to take a year off. He's done the right thing.
If he comes back, he will have 2 years max, and I think that's the end of his career.
I mean,
but he will go back.
I think his career is already ended.
His career is pretty finished, honestly. It's
pretty much ended because he's
finished.
I mean,
he doesn't have a career anymore. he just want to collect paycheck, fine, then he doesn't
He
have
will
a
be
period.
back on the grid next year, and if it's not with Red Bull, it will be with Haas.
So then,
placing
okay,
Magnussen.
but hold on. But then that's even going to be more insulting to him because
it would be worse.
Did he not get an offer to drive for? Was being offered a seat at Haas and he turned it down.
He was.
And he
He wasn't
rejected
saying
it.
no.
So he's then gonna go to. He turned it down to then
Haas.
go back to. Oh my God, this dude
God.
is like a.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And that's the reality of the situation. That's why I think he will go back to Red Bull.
I think his reality sucks. He could just
the reality of the situation is Ricciardo doesn't seem to know his ass from his
he
forehead.
doesn't know the reality of the situation.
It's called living on privilege, and hindsight can be a hell of a thing.
What privilege though? What privilege does he have?
Of thinking that he was greater than he was.
I mean, the media. I think the media kind of did full his head of BS.
And that
because I think there's a thing with I don't like with Formula One media, and it's
the late breaker.
Yeah, no, it's not that. It's the idea that someone comes in and they give you a couple good performance, and they immediately brand you a future world champion. Like, no, that's not how this shit works. You can't just brand someone a future world champion just because you see a few good performances out of them on the other occasions. That's not what it takes to be a world champion. World champions are built differently. They're not normal human beings. Ricciardo is not that. He's not built like that.
Hey, well said. Well said. Yeah.
Well,
I agree with you. I think you're 100% right, but that doesn't stop him from thinking he was.
Yeah,
and buying into what everybody else was telling him.
I'd be concerned if he didn't think he could be world champion, because then I'd be like, then what's your purpose? Because even Logan Sargent thinks he can be a world champion.
Yeah.
Hey.
And talk about Logan Sargent.
What
did he say today on radio, by the way, guys, that he was told not to say over the radio? I'd missed that part.
Oh, he was basically saying the car is shit.
Yeah.
They say you can't say that over. Choose your words, choose your language carefully, dude.
Choose your language carefully, young man.
You can't be saying that. You remember, it's your first year. You might not be on the grid next year.
Lewis can say that. That's fine.
Yeah.
Lewis and Toto can say that.
Not even Lewis can say that. Not even Lewis. Nah, man. If Lewis says the car is shit, there's no safe space for him to hide, man. You mad with these vultures out here?
They'll have. But Toto did say the car is not good.
Toto owns the team.
Yeah. But Toto's in it for the money, right? I mean, that's what I'm being told. He's in it for the money, and he wants the big job at Formula One. He wants Dominic Carli's job. Like, I find that whole argument so nonsensical. It's like, what?
Doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Why would Toto want the head job at F1? I mean, that doesn't really do anything for him. Or does that raises his profile?
Exactly.
That doesn't make him any money. If your argument is he's in this for the money, then he'd want to see his team win. He wouldn't be.
That's where his shares are, isn't it?
So, but anyway, Ricciardo, I wish him all the best. Just tell him just keep making them TikTok videos. I think the guys at Red Bull enjoy them. They need something to lighten up the place, lighten up the mood and so on. But those are bust, man, and I don't know why. Like I said, I had the pleasure of meeting him in 2014.
Yeah.
And I remember asking him a question: what does it feel like to beat? Because he beat Seb in 2014, and I was like asking, what did it feel like to beat a 4-time world champion?
Yeah.
And the grin on his face from ear to ear was like, yeah, you could tell.
He was happy.
But he was happy. But I mean, I don't know. I think
Kvyat beat him in that 2015 season.
Sorry?
Or 2016. Didn't Kvyat beat him in that 2015? Or was it 2015 or 2016 season? I remember he was behind him.
I think he might have been.
Yeah, Kvyat was ahead of him, and then they've removed Kvyat and brought in Massa in the following season. I think.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. Also, you guys didn't answer. The color science and controversies in F1. Touch on that briefly, please. And I'm quite curious to know.
Yeah,
that's what I wanted to ask.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Satan.
Kingsley's gonna say the penalty was just deserved.
I said, maybe you were late to this space. The previous space we had, I actually said that Carlos was wrong. I think the penalty was deserved for him. I don't know why. The Thanos was saying there was nowhere for him to go. He has brakes. Just match your brake and
But
stop. If you hit the rear of it, if you hit the rear or touch the rear of another driver, even on the road car, you're
but
wrong.
Kingsley, I'm not gonna do this with
Yeah.
you again. He didn't ram him up from the back.
He spun him around.
Oh my God,
He touched him
Kingsley.
and spun
Kingsley,
him
me
around.
not gonna have we're not gonna have this. Me gonna beef if you carry on in there. He didn't. The contact was made front, right rear, to
Yeah.
left
Who's right?
to left front.
Who's rear? Who's rear? Who's rear? Who's rear?
Alonso's right rear hit Sainz's left front tire.
Maybe that's how you say it. It was Sainz front left that hit Alonso's right
No,
rear. It's rear.
how can Sainz front? Oh my God!
If you're already ahead and somebody's touching your rear tire, you're already wrong.
You know, oh my God!
It's your rear tire, your back tire.
Kingsley,
It's
I
the one
want you
that
to
sits
go.
side to
Kingsley,
side.
I want you to go and find the incident and watch it on board, and then come back to me because you're gonna make me.
I have Formula One app. I could actually
Okay,
watch it right
go
now
and
and I
watch
can
it. Go
tell
and
you
watch it
too.
and then come back because you're gonna see. You're gonna see there was an overlap with the cars. Sainz didn't drive.
No, there was no
Yes,
overlap. He just
oh
spun
my
him
God,
around.
he
Yeah.
didn't. Sainz didn't drive into Alonso. The right front, right rear made contact with left front. It threw Alonso up in the air. When he landed, he spun. There was nowhere for Sainz. You say he should have used the brakes. How was Sainz?
Yes.
They were on the straights. They were on the straight.
Yeah.
They exited turn 2.
It was the turn. It was the end.
No, they
He actually
exited
spun Alonso
turn
around at the
2.
turning at
They
the exit.
exited
Yeah,
turn
at the
2. It
exit.
was an acceleration
Which is
zone.
the corner. It was a corner. It was a corner, and that
No.
was why he picked him up out
Anyway,
of the ground.
I'm not gonna argue with you. You are wrong and I'm right, and let's just leave it at that.
Okay.
We're not
Yeah, I agree. You do dictatorship,
exactly.
so
So
I
I'm
don't
right
have
and
to
you're
argue.
wrong. Let's just accept it as
Yeah,
that and don't question me anymore.
it's
All right.
okay. Yeah.
So you okay with that, Sean?
Yeah. So just to touch on what his second point to say, it always seemed that they open their eyes when a penalty is applied to them. For him to say that was the worst decision he's ever seen in a long time.
Abu Dhabi happened. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. The irony was not lost on me too.
I guess he's the one with short memory. So.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, that was that. What else? Who we gonna talk about? Who we can dog on?
Massey. We're just talking about
Oh yeah, touch on Massey because I really think Ted has got the Red Bull fans riled up as well on their timeline lately.
He always gets
What
them
you
right.
want?
They
Calling for
don't
his
want to
head
talk
as a
about
spit.
What you want me to say about Michael Massey? That I haven't said that. Like I purposely, I would like to see him run in front, go and play dodgems with the busiest highway in the world.
According to
I'd
Sky
like to
Sports.
see him. Yeah, I'd like to see him play dodgems with the busiest highway in the road. I hope he gets hit so I can stand over him and laugh.
Sky Sports said he's a human being. He's got,
Really?
he's got feelings.
Oh no, man, that was the worst thing that I've actually
He's a
heard.
human being.
As if Lewis is not the guy that was actually wrong. Is not a human being, but the man that made the decision that turned everything upside down. Oh, he's a human being.
Let's think about his mental, health and stuff like that.
Yeah, now his mental health exactly. Let's think about his mental health.
I hope
It's
his
crazy.
mental health. I wish they'd lock him in a padded in a room in a straight jacket that's not padded. The walls is made of steel, and he just runs in it.
I think he requested a pass for the paddock, and the FI will probably say no. And he said, "If you don't give me, I'm going to the press." And he said, "Okay, you can have it."
He's going to be what?
Because he's going to the press to talk about his
no, man.
NDA.
Michael Massey. I've already said it. Michael Massey's presence on the grid in the paddock should not have happened. I don't care what his role is in the support series. Fuck off. No, we're not letting you in.
Nobody goes back to the place
whatever
where
you want to do via Teams. Teams, Microsoft Teams.
Yeah.
Do your thing via Microsoft Teams. We're not letting you in the paddock. No, I don't give a shit. I mean, even if it was his mother's funeral, don't let him in.
He was coming in hugging his best buddy into Whitley. Talking to all the Red Bull stuff.
The fact that he came in and he walked around like nothing happened, smiling, laughing, like, dude, do you actually know what you did? And it's also coincidental. It's also coincidental that the farce that we had at the end of the race was as a result of
It
him.
happened
It was because
when
of
Matthew
him.
was on the trip. Yes, I mean,
It's
it's the
because
same
of
thing that he
him
goes
why we
through.
had
We
that farce
follow
at the
him.
end of the race. Because if he
Yeah.
had done what he needed to do in 21, we wouldn't have this nonsense here.
Yeah.
The race would have ended under a safety car. Well, it did end up.
On the
It
safety
did end
car. Yeah,
on under.
everybody would just
It did
know.
end
Yeah,
under a safety
yeah.
car. But it would have. You know what I mean? It would have ended in.
Yeah.
No one would be like.
The restart wouldn't have happened.
Exactly.
Yes, that's what you
And
mean.
no one would have been pissed off and said, "Oh, why this
About
or
it.
whatever."
Yeah.
So what we saw today is because of him. It's just so ironic that he's actually there to, like, you can say, "You see, bitch, you're the reason why this happened. You
It seems to be the whole thing follows him
you're the
anyway.
reason for
So
all of this nonsense."
Access journalism is really bad for F1 because the F1 freelancers, they are the ones who in the paddock they're putting up on their post. Oh, it's great to see this man in it. You know what? I just looked at that thinking, oh my god, look at these people.
Look, Ted is good. I should tell you now. Make sure you guys saving up money, because we're gonna have to, when Ted gets fired, he's gonna need support his
I
kids. So we should set up a
Ted is at a point in his
GoFundMe account
career.
because they're
Me
gonna
too.
fire his
I
ass.
think
Have to.
Ted is at a point in his career where he doesn't actually care what
I don't,
what
you know what? I
what
think
they're going to do. Guy is going to do to
Ted
him.
is about integrity. I don't.
Yes,
Sometimes
exactly.
Ted, we say some shit that you want to strangle him, but I think genuinely he's about integrity. And
Yeah, you can see he's not
and
practicing. Yeah.
he's gonna say it, and he's the only person who's consistently
That
been
has the
saying, like,
courage to
"Yo,
say it.
dude, let's just call it
Himself
what it
and
is.
Hibbert.
Call it what it is."
Himself and Hibbert.
He's not going. I mean, him and Johnny. Well, we don't know what Johnny's
Yeah,
doing
we talk
now, but
about Johnny.
Johnny's gone. But Ted is the only one who's willing to, every time you listen to the others talk, they keep saying, "Oh, that error," or they try and minimize what he did,
To be fair,
rather than
Thanos,
coming out and say fairly, "This you."
Nico Rosberg was quite outspoken on
Yeah,
the
but
day it
Nico
happened.
Rosberg.
He said Massa did not follow the rules. That's basically what he said.
That was
on
the day of the incident.
that was
Yeah,
the day
he
of the
said on
incident.
that night, he said he didn't follow the rules.
Subsequently, he kind of backed out of it. I think there was one
Well,
where he
because the
said
Sky Sports team were
a
quiet
lot of things
about
were
it. They were not.
happening.
Karun, I mean, remember this 2021 actually revealed a lot. I know many people did not see this. Guys, some of the stuff Lewis does is not really popular in this type of the world. Like we live in different times right now. Even our prime minister here in Britain cannot go to Saudi Arabia and put out statements that Lewis Hamilton is putting out. He cannot go to Abu Dhabi and put in out a statement that Lewis Hamilton is putting out, especially when it comes to human rights or LGBTQT, whatever it is. Those statements are quite controversial in those in those parts of the world. I've been there. I go there quite most of the time. To be honest with you, even the guys who are mostly running those circuits, they were Red Bull fans. I think you've seen it on Netflix. Documentaries. Yeah, and Karun saying I'm only in on Red Bull and stuff. So
I've never
I
watched a
just
single
feel like
episode of Drive to
there
Survive.
was so much stuck against Lewis that day you just feel like, oh, they've achieved what they always wanted to do, to take that championship from him in the most heartless way they could do it. And that's literally everybody. They all wanted that to happen. And we could see it.
It keeps Michael irrelevant still. It makes him irrelevant to the still because it's a shared record.
Even if Lewis wins the eighth championship, for example, Michael's record is still a record. It's there. I don't think it diminishes it in any way, form or shape or form. The two records can exist together, side to side. You can at least you have Lewis eight championship, then the next person is seven championship. It's easy to do that. I think my problem is there is this concerted effort to make sure Lewis doesn't win his eighth championship.
Benny Eccleston.
And then you hear people you hear people in the paddock saying Benny Eccleston saying he should retire, nobody should break
But then he wants
record.
Max Verstappen to do it. He said he would rather Max Verstappen
exactly.
do it.
So you can see
like, what are
where
you
the
talking
whole
about?
Bernie's a racist. I ain't got time for that shit.
Oh, we already know
I ain't
established
got
that
time for that old fuck.
But is Mrs. sitting on the board of the F1 directors right now, ain't she?
Yeah.
I would not be. I would not be surprised if she becomes the head of FI at some
Oh
point.
yeah,
I
oh
would be
yeah. She's in
surprised.
line too. I think
Yeah,
she's like second or third in line.
yeah. He's vice
Yeah, yeah.
president in one of the. Yeah, so she's in line. She can
And,
do
and
that.
and
I would not be
after
surprised
all
at
that
all.
BS he said about Russia and whatnot, and look what he does to him. He's rewarded for it, isn't he?
Now, Benny, I sometimes I try to excuse some of the things he said because he's a recluse. He's old. He's gonna die. So I really don't take
That's
him
why you shouldn't
seriously that
excuse him
much.
because he's gonna die soon.
Oh, you guys,
Yeah.
man, come on.
So,
If
yeah,
he's gonna
I don't
die
take
soon,
him
I ain't
seriously.
excusing none. Die, up and die, man. Jesus.
He's not
Shit.
a nice person, though, Benny. To be fair, he's
He's
not
not
a
in.
nice person at
Look,
all.
man. You guys don't want me to say what's really on my mind, so I'm just
Yes,
gonna
yes.
digress.
No,
I feel
otherwise,
where you're going on
Elon
this.
will
Yeah.
ban. Elon will ban your space if you say
I'm
anything.
gonna bill. I'm just gonna bill. I'm gonna digress. So I won't say what I really want to say.
What you really
It's not good.
want to
It's
say?
not made for airing, brother.
It's not age
Yeah,
appropriate.
it's not age appropriate.
Yeah,
But anyway,
yeah.
Kingsley, I think I'm gonna end the stream
All
now
right.
because we've been here quite a while.
Yeah, yeah.
This we
Okay,
talked
good.
enough to cover the 4 weeks until the next race. So
Oh wow, is that how long we have to
That's a
wait?
yeah,
long
the next
four
race is
weeks. Yeah,
April 30th, weekend of
Oh
April the
Jesus
30th.
Christ!
yeah. The
Yeah,
weekend of April 28th to
Is
30th.
that the
So
sprint race when we come back to Baku? Then
yeah,
is that the,
Baku.
oh, okay?
yes, yes,
So it's not
yes,
really a
yes.
good place to bring any upgrades, then, is it?
Yeah, I mean, I hopefully
No,
that
no.
race Max puts it in the wall, like in the wall. I
Well,
one of the wall.
Yeah.
that will be.
Or the engine just blow up, basically.
I I just want bad things to happen to him and his car. I don't like them. Sorry.
Well,
I want Red Bull to have reliability problems.
I want the car to blow up every race weekend. It's things I hope for,
I
but
was, I was, when I saw Max on the grass, I was
I
saying,
know.
"Oh
I
God,
wish he'd
this
stayed
something
on there
broke."
for a while, but anyway,
Yeah,
he came back
the
quick.
something broke. Something broke. Oh God, man, it was crazy.
I don't know
Well,
what I did to God, but God doesn't want to grant me my wishes. But
now, on a more serious note, I don't begrudge them for building a very fast car.
But guys,
yes, I
They
do.
are
have
the
you noticed
measure
I
of.
Toto
do.
and Mac guys looking at that DRS? They suspect something there. I hope. I know obviously it's good. I hope it's not the Ferrari like powered, energy supply down
Yeah.
there. But something is going on down there, isn't it? That they all really
If
want to know
Binotto
and
was that,
see.
if
I saw
Binotto was
Lewis.
still
I
at,
see Toto. I see a lot of mechanics looking down there.
if Binotto was still at Ferrari, he would be
Oh yeah.
protesting. This
What's he gonna
Vassal
But
guy is
protest?
too
to put
quiet.
a
What's he
protest, you
protesting?
need to have specific
He
reason.
would not protest per se. He would just say we have to look at just point something there. Toto can't say that because everybody would think, oh, it's Zagreb, you don't have a fast car, you are pointing a accusing finger. And Vassar doesn't look like someone who can say
I
something.
mean,
The guy is too it's too
Fred Vassar,
comical. It's
dude,
a comic.
Fred Vassar don't even want to say there's a problem with Ferrari right now. He keeps saying the
Exactly.
concept is right. They just need to unlock it. They need to build.
He look like a comedian. So
What's
even if he
that?
say it, nobody will take him
Look,
serious. So
it's
that's
like this. To the first sign, the first way to step to actually fixing a problem is admitting you have a problem, and they've yet to admit that they've got a
yeah,
problem. So you know, you know.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Anyway,
whatever it is. I mean, we need to find out what they're doing with that DRS because it is really good. I mean, 2 to 3 turns.
It's
That
efficient.
that
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 GRS
because
is super
apparently,
efficient.
if
Yeah.
they're saying most of the benefits that they have over the other teams is when they open up that DRS. If they open it up, it's over. They're coming like
But
Thanos
but
said.
but then again, if you still check them in medium to low speed, high speed corner, they have balance. Actually, it's not just the straight pace. Basically, I know the advantage increases with the DRS, but if you still see that car in corners, the cornering speed of the car is actually
And
very
their
good. So
deck.
I don't
Have you
want to
seen
see
their
it
deck as
wrong
well,
way.
Thanos? Kingsley.
Oh yes,
It's
it's the best on the grid.
yeah.
It's the best on the grid. Yeah, yeah,
When
it's the
other
best on the
teams
grid.
were struggling in Jeddah and stuff, they were fine and they were fast.
Oh, you know we're on fire. Their tire deck is super good. They don't even have it. Minimum super deck they have.
anyway, guys, I think I'm gonna call it a day. That's us for this race weekend. We got a P2 better than we actually
We
thought.
got a
So,
P2
yeah,
baby. That can get us to the
I
end
mean
of the
Lewis is what
week
now?
off. Basically, yeah.
Fourth in
It's his fourth
fourth
position.
in
Is
the
it fourth? Yes,
championship.
I think
Yeah,
fourth.
it's Max Perez land
Alonso.
that snake Spanish dude,
Along.
and then Lewis.
Yeah.
Lewis is
Yeah.
what 7 points behind Alonso. Lewis
Yeah,
has
which
what
is good.
38 to 45.
Yeah, 38 versus
Yeah.
45.
Yeah.
So
I mean that's gonna go soon anyway. So
oh
I'm
yes,
not.
the Fernando stuff is going. Without upgrade on the W14, we are this close. Once that car gets to speed, Aston
It
Martin
better
will.
get to. I don't want it to get to Aston Martin speed. I want it to get to Red Bull speed. Anything less than that.
That's the
Oh,
aim.
I'm saying I
Yeah.
said
I want
the
Red
Aston
Bull.
Martin will disappear
I
the
want
driving
Red
in
Bull.
here.
I want Red Bull style speed. But anyway, we see what happens.
Wow,
But anyway, people,
can you
I'm gonna
do
go.
that?
Anyway, I'm gonna go. Nice talking to you all. It was a good weekend despite all the nonsense that followed that ensued. But
Yeah, it
we
was a
take
good
it
weekend.
and we move on. So like always,
Yeah.
wherever you are in the world, stay safe, be good. Don't follow me because I don't get in trouble. All right, take it easy. We out.
Yeah.
It's